And I keep getting the same fucking dungeons over and over and over and over and over, and I'm so over it. I was gonna do Eureka, but this isn't how far back we go. It's right here, right? Fuck. Is it this way? I'm missing these. Those I'm assuming I'll die. This one. Okay. Enter prefab myself. That was it. All possibilities. Reach darkness. If I let Hashimoto-san take the prefab, his death would be unavoidable. By keeping him alive, I should be able to create a different timeline. Simply surviving wasn't enough. Dude, his face. That meant I had to try all possible options. It's gonna rain. Good thing I got my car washed. I had to reveal all the things I was ignorant or afraid of. For all I knew, I might have been overlooking some minor yet important details. But first, I wanted to try more impactful changes. Letting Hashimoto-san survive would have to greatly affect the timeline. That already happened once with Mamiya-san's survival. It even changed the Guardians people received. I could still remember the last loop. I'd become the snake, took out the wolves, and decided to live alongside the survivors, most importantly, Rikako-san. Those sentiments had earned an unreasonably cruel conclusion. I can still remember the sadness and despair, but I couldn't really understand it. Why had I forgotten my fear of the unknown? Why had it been so easy for me to decide to move to Yasumizu and live alongside Rikako Uematsu-san? Was I that kind of person? I didn't know why, but it definitely seemed like I wasn't really myself back then. I felt like I'd become a part of something greater, not just an individual. The gears all snapped into place and brought forth that tragic ending. These feelings and guesses coming to my head left me with a clue as to where to go from here. As part of me did feel like fate or something divine existed and that I couldn't escape its control no matter what. But my knowledge, discretion, perception, and intuition wanted to deny that line of thinking. There was no absolute fate. If there was something like that, it was either someone's elaborate plot or just a product of my imagination that seemed like it. I wasn't being a conspiracy theorist here, or a nihilist for that matter. However, I just wanted to reject lines of thinking that stifled my ability to come up with ideas. If I could think creatively, I might be able to find gaps in these seemingly impenetrable bars jailing me here.
Fosaishi-kun, どうかした?
Fosaishi-kun. Is anything wrong?
気にしないでください。
Nothing.
僕は今
But
後
since
ず
I'm
っと
gonna
あそこ
stay
に
there
住む
every
んで
day
すか
from
ら。
now on, I think you
橋
should at
本
least
さ
have
ん
it
は
for
この一
one
晩
day.
だけ。
しかし、
藤吉
I
村
heard
に
that
は
Fujiyoshi
魔
has
ロ
a
ードを
culture
丁
of
重に
giving
もて
guests
な
a
す
warm
文化があ
welcome.
る。その一
If
員
I'm
と
to
なる
become
僕
a
も
part of it, I think I
そう
should
す
do
べ
the
きだと
same.
思うんです。
まれびとしい
Traveler reverence. That fits the general
確かに
location, but not
ロ
the
ケー
state
シ
of
ョ
the
ン
village
的には
itself.
それって
Did you
あ
hear
の
it from
樋口さんから
Higuchi-san?
聞いたの？
Ah, crap. That was info Rikako-san had given me last week.
ま
Well,
あ
I've been
よ
treated
くして
nicely.
もらいました
They
よ。
even gave me a place
こ
to
うして
stay.
久石
You're
君
a
人が
generous
いいの
person,
ね。
aren't you?
え
Huh? Nope, not at all.
ご好意はい
Why
た
not
だいたら
accept
ど
his
うです
kindness,
橋本さん。
Hashimoto-san? I guess I
じゃ
will.
あ、いただこうかな。
I mean, he fucking walked outside last time. It's not like the prefab is what got him killed. It's the fact that he went out at night. Or never went in. After parting ways with them, I went to Kari-san and had her help me get a shabby blanket, some newspapers, and a water bucket. There was only one bucket they could let me use, and it was in a pretty bad state, showing once again how dire Yasumizu's supply problem was. The newspapers weren't the daily news, but some old ones brought from Kami Fujiyoshi as material supplies. I spread them out on the floor and placed the blanket on them. That was my sleeping spot ready. I'd also bought a portable toilet at that convenience store. Now, if nature called during the night, I wouldn't be faced with a difficult choice to either die or piss myself. After finishing up the preparations, I, just like last time, returned to the dining hall. I was given some shishinare again, and somehow ate it all.
あら
Oh, you ate it all? Was it to your liking?
案外
It's not bad,
いけ
actually.
ますね。
It was a bit of a lie. I just came prepared for it because of my experience from last time. I still wasn't used to it enough to declare it good. So what kind of booze would go with this? Then, like last time, I went on to fix the plates. Last time I learned the symbols of the Higuchi and the Omatsu, and when I'd gotten the snake, the Megurura symbol, even if it wasn't too clear. But I thought the mansion had theirs on the gate, so I knew them all. This info could possibly lead me to the church, so I had to remember it. Some time passed, and like last time, the students came back.
ただいま。
We're back,
あ
huh?
れ
Oro? The bright yet tender Yasunaga Oribe. His tenderness was mostly towards his family, though. It was a very human trait, which was a good thing. I felt bad for him getting caught up in something like this. Whether he was an ally or enemy in the feast would greatly affect how it went. I didn't want him as an opponent, that much was certain.
見知らぬやつ
Don't know this guy. The free-spirited and slightly immoral Chikamochi Kamoshida, he left quite an impression on me. As a wolf, he was a threatening individual who could do some horrible things with a straight face. But what would he be like this time? And then there was her, Haru Makishima. Last time she'd been brutally murdered. While the time before that she sided with the wolves as a badger. She wasn't much of a contributor to the feast. I considered her to be a troublemaker rather than anything else. But
そう
I see, so you rose. You have tried again several times, have you not?
はるちゃんは
Haru-chan was so lonely at night that she left the school we were staying at all by herself. Then she went through the mountain path and
わからない
I don't know, the adults said they found her in front of Yasumizu and there were rumors she saw something there.
そのせいかわ
I
か
don't
んな
know
い
if
けど
that's the reason why,
それ
but
で
she
しばら
started
くはる
acting
ちゃん
weird
おかしくなっ
afterwards.
た
People said she was
みん
possessed
な
by a wolf.
狼付きとか噂して
She was the closest person to the mysteries surrounding Yasumizu. She lost her parents to the previous feast, disappeared once, then started talking strangely.
偉大な
To
る
summon a
神を
god of that
表すに
caliber, you must prepare an appropriate ritual. Possession by
相
wolf
応
is
の
not
儀
something
礼
that
に
can
のっと
happen
る
so
べき
easily.
で
The village head insisted that this wasn't any sort of possession, but a mental illness. Heads.
取りつかれるような
However, the fact it was treated using Umatsu's special ability to take in such things made it seem entirely possible that the trouble surrounding her was of divine origin. But there was something I didn't really understand. I didn't know how, but last time Rikako-san healed me of aconite poisoning. I knew it with my own body that this ability was more than just a religious rite and had an actual physical effect. That didn't necessarily mean that it would work on mental illnesses too. Honestly, there were too many things that didn't make sense here.
その汚れ
But there's a corruption not even I can take
私
in.
にも引き取れない
I didn't know the rules. It kind of freaked me out, but for now I had no choice but to set Rikako-san's issues aside. What mattered now was Haru-chan. We're totally gonna go after her this route. She had parental issues, a strange relationship with her granddad. All in all, she was a delicate young girl going through a complicated time in her life, and I didn't quite know how to deal with her. Fooling around with her didn't work, and Casanova-type characters seemed to scare her. I try not to do much and appear harmless. Maybe that'd work.
おかえり
Welcome
あな
back.
た
This
た
is
ち
Saishi-san. He suddenly moved here to
こちら。
Yasumizu.
どうも。
Hello. I bowed with an empty expression on my face.
兄ちゃんアンドロイドだ
It's an android. I had to do my best not to fall over at that.
え、
Huh?
なんで
Why?
だっ
I
て
mean, he's
な
not
んか
acting
人間じゃ
human.
ないおお
Oh,
はるちゃん
Haru-chan's
が
being
僕よ
even
り
more
失
rude
礼だ
than me.
すみません。
Sorry, she watches sci-fi
こないだ
movies
みたいです。
recently.
一応
I'm
人
human,
間で
just
す
so。you know.
と
Hello, I'm Haru
どうも
Makishima.
牧
She
島
wasn't as
春
worried
です
of me as last time, at least. I still had no idea how to approach her.
どっかで
Have we
会い
met?
まし
え、
Huh?
いえ、
No, this is
この
my
辺り
first
に
time
来たの。
here.
ですよ
Thought
ね
so. Did she have memories of my seducing? No, of my previous loop?
なん
What?
だこれ
Kaori-san, do you have a hand towel?
香織さんごめんなさい
Something
ちょっ
similar
と
had
手
happened
拭い
last
かなん
time
かもらえ
too.
ん
It wasn't impossible that someone else had memories of the previous times. Particularly this girl, considering her mind held traces of madness. What?
何
Crap, I stared at her for too long. I had to talk it off.
いえ、
Well, I actually feel like you're familiar
引っかかる
too.
ものが。
Ever been to Kanto?
ないです
No.
そうか。
I see. This must be something special.
何か縁があったんでしょう。どうしたの？
What's wrong? You're all red.
いや
No, I'm not.
そんなことほー
Huh? Was she easier than I expected? Maybe android-like coolness was the way to go with her. Whatever that was.
堀部さん、
I've
こちら
completed
補
the
修が
repairs
完
on the
了した
place.
食
Whatever
器
should I do with
類、い
them?
かがいたしましょうか。
Cool manner of speech, robotic movements, playing with people's impressions was a bad habit I had.
じゃ
Over in
あ
here.
こっ
Wait,
ちへ
weren't you talking differently until
さ
now?
了承、
Acknowledge,
実行、
executing,
どうもありがとう、
appreciated.
メッサーシュミット。
Master Smith.
暗い必殺
Eat this human banana! Oh my god. Mochi closed in on me, shouted some weird skill name, instantly undid my belt, and brought my pants down. What the fuck? What? Some undies you got there. Hey, Chikamochi, there are things you can and cannot do.
いや
Hey,
今を
what
除
else
いて
could
仕
I
掛
have
ける
done
時は
that?
なかったろ
Well, if you looked at this as a joke, this was definitely well timed. My android-like coolness, whatever that was, instantly became a gag. His skill left me so dumbfounded that I just froze in place with my pants down, effectively giving a treat for the ladies and awaiting response. How did the girl see this pantsless android-like cool guy before her? And again, what was android-like coolness anyway? I don't think she liked it.
変態変態変態変態変態変態変態変態変態
Not a positive reaction. Of course not. Mochi's prank effectively gave her the worst possible impression of me. Hato tried to kick my exposed ass over and over. The two boys stopped her, and then she, breathing heavily, fled the dining hall. The guys followed soon after her, leaving just me and Kaori-san.
僕は
Am I in the
悪い
wrong
でしょう
here?
か。
後で
I'll scold them
全
later.
員叱っておくわ
It
ね
was all red ever since then. It was awkward as hell. I distracted myself by getting back to fixing plates. Eventually, we were joined by the old wolf guy, Mako, and Rikako-san. I wasn't quite done with my job yet, but just like last time, I was given a break. So I went outside. The donut bologna rice snows on the mountain. Saichi-san, I see you were hard at work. Getting close to Rikako-san was important for both survival and finding out the truth. I still had some affection for her, as well as memories of our time together. However, last time I'd felt a similar way about Chiemi. I was hit with a big surprise. It wasn't just Chiemi, though. The Feast of the Yomi Purge seemed to bring about a total change in the nature of people. If Rikako-san became a wolf this time, I wasn't sure if she'd instantly kill herself like she claimed she would. In fact, as a wolf, she would know Mako's guardian or lack thereof, leaving the humans at a huge disadvantage. And most of all, if I got too close to her, it would make parting with her a whole lot harder. Even if I lost some of them, I had memories of the previous loops. This was actually a big deal for me. The emotional strain would gradually pile up, and eventually even a guy as warped as me would snap. Thus, I would only get close to people as friends. That was probably the best way to go about this. I have no idea who'd even be alive once this is all over. It wasn't even possible that there'd be no one left. It's an old song about the teachings of Great Lord Shinai-sama, the incantation of this mountain that keeps us alive. Shinai's guardian exists. She was teaching me the song. I actually knew it by heart at this point, and the memories it was tied to made it hard to listen to, but acted like it was nothing. Took an uneasy tone. I looked away and saw Chiemi, snickering as she waited for the right time to pop out. 9, 1 soul per day, not a bind.
切り立った
10, the mist rise away again.
Ah.
Oh, hello.
お疲れ。
Huh?
あれ
She knew exactly what she was doing with this sudden appearance. How mischievous.
狩りでもして
Were
き
you
たんです
hunting
か
or something? Oh no, but you're close enough. I just helped Kanzo G-Chan prepare one of the beasts he hunted down.
なるほど
I。see, that's...
似合ってます。
何ですかそれ
Hell, that kinda
なんか
hurts.
傷つく
Crap. I accidentally remembered what she was like back then and gave a sarcastic comment. If she'd been telling the truth back then, she'd wanted to kill me ever since we first met. That meant that even now she was... Hold on. Did that mean all the stuff I jokingly said about her being a murderer was on the mark? After all, the 2 shotguns were hidden in the room even then. Hold on. The first time we met, our very first encounter was among the rocks near Saranaga. I picked up her flashlight, then she called out to me. What was she even doing there? It was late at night, yet she'd taken a flashlight and gone down a dangerous cliff to a really locally taboo area, Saranaga. She'd also said this. Listen, I just really wanted to kill.
そう
Yeah, I even
言った
returned
ら
back
里
home
帰り
just
した
because
の
I
だっ
wanted to
て
kill someone.
殺しがしたくて戻ってきたようなもんだった
Those
し
might have been
さ
nothing but words to make her seem like the big bad wolf she was. However, it wasn't unlikely that she'd come down to Saranaga because she was doing something worrying. She'd probably been there on this timeline too, we just hadn't met there. Maybe this time she'd actually finished whatever she was doing there? Well, no one had gone missing or anything, so it probably wasn't murder at least. It still made me curious. I was definitely attracted to her cheer, tact, and mystery. But this time I'd focus on exposing the truth of Yasumizu itself. He who hunts 2 hares catches neither. I would only consider her to be a potential hazard.
いやい
Hey,
や
I'm just saying that
ワイ
your
ルドさ
wild
が
image
ハンティング
suits
なイメ
hunting.
ージに
You
合ってる
honestly
って
seem
こと
like
で
a
すよ
feline animal,
ちへみ
Chami-chan.
お
Oh,
いいですね
Chami-chan?
ちえ
I
みちゃ
like
ん
that.
より
Interested in letting
つ
a
いでに
carnivore have a
肉
taste
食
of
獣
you?
にあり
How indecent! Please call me Rikako.
なんだ
What
そ
the
れ
hell? You can call me by my
僕
first
も
name
下の名前で
too.
どうぞ
What a mess of an exchange. Though it still served to decide what we call each other, so that was fine by me.
何イチャイチャ
You're
してんの
flirting now,
Pants
Undie
on.
Man? Suddenly we were joined by Haru-chan holding a stick. Die! I was actually getting chased by a girl because of loose stuff. What was this, a 20th century manga?
パンツマン
Undie Man! Undie Man! Undie Man! I was worried that nickname would spread, and I really hoped it didn't. I couldn't have predicted that I'd run out of time just calming Haru-chan down and preventing the nickname from taking roots in their mind.
夕霧
The
が
Mist!
嘘
No way! No, not the Mist! Was she afraid of the Mist because of whatever happened 8 years ago?
はるちゃん
Haru-chan, calm down! Chami-chan, where should she go?
彼女はどこに
In the spur of the moment, I went and called her by her first name, which I was pretty sure she didn't like, but no one could care right now.
私が寮に
Take her to the dorm. Where will you go?
Ah,
Oh, right, I ended up staying in the prefab. Huh? Why there? What about the hut?
僕は
I'll
明
be
日からず
staying
っ
there
と
every
お供
day
にする
starting
から
now, so I thought I'd have
お
to
客
let
さ
the
んにい
visitor
い
have
場
a
所を
better
譲
place
るべ
this
き
time.
春秋さん
How considerate.
何ごちゃ
Stop
ごちゃ
wasting
やって
time.
るの
Hurry up, Rikako-san.
急いで
Take
理
Mako-chan.
解わかりました
Very well, Mako. It is time to cleanse, shelter, and dream. Okay.
春秋さん
I'll show
抜け
you the
道を教える
shortcuts.
から
Let's go
上まで
together.
一緒に行こう
Haru-chan, can you walk? Mist, mist, no breath chasing. Sound of claws. I looked at Chami. She nodded and I picked Haru-chan up.
さん
No. She was pale, her expression was empty, and her body was shaking, locked in the fetal position. Just what had she seen in the mist? What had she gone through? I hesitantly tightened my grip on her. She meekly grabbed onto my jacket. I had no idea if I could get along with her, but it wasn't impossible. While on the move, I noticed Hashimoto-san heading to the hut I provided him, so all seemed good on that front. After leaving Haru-chan in the dorm room, I said goodbye to her, Chami, and the 2 guys there who were waiting for Haru-chan and Worry before making my way to the construction site.
寮の裏手の小道
You
通
can
れ
get
ば
there
すぐ
easily
行け
through
る
the
から
path behind the dorm.
足は
Don't
滑
step
らさな
along
い
the
よう気
way.
をつけてね
She'd also told me about how to prepare for the feast and was generally pretty nice about it too. It was pretty annoying that I couldn't just tell her that I knew it all. By the time I'd arrived at the prefab, the sun was down. I began by checking how I'd fared. I'd taken only the bare minimum of food and water I had here. I came prepared, but I didn't want to have to use the bathroom until morning. This was the shabbiest sleeping spot yet, but since I was still pretty awake, that allowed me to think a bit more. I'm gonna end up as a wolf. It was time to assess the situation. First of all, there were 2 things I had to keep in mind. How Yudai Hashimoto-san joining would affect the feast, and whether I could find out much about the feast in Fujiyoshi and Harumachi. The former would probably be made obvious by tomorrow. If he died despite all this I'd done, I'd be all out of ways to help him survive. I'd have to start considering if there was something inhuman at work that was actively trying to prevent him from joining. If he did join the feast, though, the guardian assignments would definitely change, just like they had when Mamiya-san had joined. That would be neither good nor bad. However, the info I'd gained the last time, when I couldn't participate at all, and the second time when I participated as a snake were completely different. Naturally, there were a change in human relationships and who benefited from them. And now with this change, I would get to know people I hadn't interacted much with yet, especially Haru-chan. I could only hope that being the Unhuman didn't result in her avoiding me. That reminded me, Mochi was the reason for my new title. Was he the biggest obstacle in my path toward the truth? Nah, he wouldn't admit it, but the guy liked Haru-chan and was jealous that I was getting between them. Oh, so he was the one that killed Haru-chan last time. Was the sad face I saw on him the other day, the day after, just an act? I had no idea, but I could totally imagine him killing her, only to regret it right after. Oh yeah, Yasunaga-kun also revealed his feelings for Chami-chan right before she killed him, didn't he? She'd instantly shot him down, though. It seemed like she felt the same way the first loop, so that was probably true. Maybe I just wanted to think that way. Then again, being liked by Chami meant that she wanted to kill you, so I wasn't sure if I was happy about that. That aside, as a wolf and as a human, he was a player skilled at debate and consideration. His words were rarely far from the mark, and he had influence over his mother and friends' votes. He wasn't self-righteous or some kind of loner, and with a good backer spurring him on, he could be an excellent human player. If he was a wolf, though, I'd instantly know it from his lack of enthusiasm towards the feast. Maybe that would be considered cheating, but whatever. Meanwhile, though Chami had done some bold things during the last feast, she wasn't a very active participant in the meetings themselves. That was probably because, just like Mochi, she played cautiously as a wolf and avoided drawing attention to herself. Taking that into account, Chami's whole hang me act on the first day was pretty impressive. It was bold for a wolf to make such a self-sacrificing play at that stage, but it was at a point where people weren't yet ready to hang anyone, human or wolf. She managed to make herself look like a human without any real risk and kept the act going until the end. I'd heard that Chami had a decently big impact on the feast I didn't participate in. If she became a human, she would surely be a valuable asset to the humans. Personally, I didn't want to be enemies with her again, but I had no idea what she thought of me right now, before the feast had even begun. She herself had told me that she'd always wanted to kill me, which meant that the kindness she displayed for me so far could have been an act. That wasn't a pleasant thought. Rikako-san, too, seemed to be pretty fond of me. That was probably because of her idea that I was a special person who could do something about the feast. I wanted to do something about it, but saw no possible way at this point. I couldn't help but worry that I'd disappoint her again. She was pretty passive in the feast, and her vote often prioritized the local folklore and fairness. She did some pretty dangerous things, though, like trusting me without any real reason to. However, as a descendant of the Omatsu family, she knew full well just how scary the feast was and how to deal with it. The fact that she knew Meiko's position was pretty important, too, and would surely be important now. I wasn't sure about Meiko herself, though. If she got a guardian and Rikako-san handled her well, it'd be all good. But if that wasn't the case, I couldn't expect much from her in the feast, and her votes were based on how she felt in the moment. She would be an uncertain factor and nothing more. Rikako-san let her vote as she pleased, probably to hide that they were communicating, which wasn't great. The old man who cried wolf was even worse, though. What the hell was that guy? A senile old man? It really didn't seem like it. Kanto-san had said he'd survived the previous feast. He never said anything important during the feast, but had a vote worth the same as everyone else's. He also pretended to be the spider last time. Though Rikako-san came out as the spider as Meiko's representative, she was essentially the real thing. Claiming to be the spider despite that was only meaningful if you were the badger. After all, if the badger presented themselves to the wolves once enough humans were out of the game, they would have a latent ally, which would be pretty good for them. And if he was capable of thinking that much, it meant that he wasn't just senile, quite the opposite in fact. But that idea didn't click with the fact that he'd always ended up getting hanged. What was he even after? I had more than enough evidence to conclude he was insane, but that just made spending time thinking about him more of a pain. Now, while Kanto-san's actions and goals were obvious, he was hard to control. He'd been handling the feast based on his experience from the other ones. It was a relatively logical approach, but he wasn't flexible at all. He was extremely overbearing when it came to the flow of the conversation and didn't mind making unnecessary sacrifices, which eventually led to a lack of stability. He also had a weak point in Haru-chan. When it concerned her, he would become dangerous and violent. The other elder, Tei Yamawaki-san, was simply a hyper-traditionalist who represented the younger folks. In certain situations, it was easy to get her to vote right, but in others, she was nothing but a hindrance. She was also Takumi-san's a key person's weak point, and handling that whole matter was difficult. Tei-san's opposite was Yoshitsugu Oribe. He didn't care about tradition and hated the elders, as well as the village heads. He was also the intense type and could easily mess up the feast. It was also possible for him to make peace with his mother and brother and enter the Yasunaga faction. But if left to his own devices, he could break the rules and get eliminated from the game on the first night. Handling him was difficult. His mother, Kaori-san, was generally a passive player who followed Yasunaga-kun, but she had a tendency to do unexpected things. When Uchizuku-kun had died, she tried to poison everyone's food, and she also tried to bend the feast rules and leave a dying message. She was the sole source of decent food here, and honestly, I wanted her and her sons to survive until the end. I mean, I don't think it was because he died, I think it was because Yasunaga was the wolf, and she tried to kill everybody. Then there was the man who understood and loved her, Takumi-san. He was important as a facilitator and mediator, keeping Asamizu unified despite the tribulations of the feast. He had a lot of weaknesses, though, such as his antagonism towards outsiders and the village heads, as well as his tendency to do unnecessary stuff on his own. However, all of it was outweighed by his popularity, charisma, and sheer strength, which were useful every now and then. Overall, he was someone I wanted to depend on. He really had to form a trusting relationship with his brain, though. Now, Kyonosuke no Satoshi was pretty hard to evaluate. He often said things that didn't have to be said, couldn't read the mood, and tended to create conflicts between himself and Yasumizu's people. But despite expectations, he ended up surviving. He actually wasn't wrong most of the time, but his presentation alone often ruined it completely. He was one of the few village heads in the group, so I could at least count on him to prevent any unfair votes towards Kaku-san, but besides that, I just remembered he was a doctor. Couldn't he examine the dead bodies? Why did I have to do it when we had him around? He hadn't insisted on examining a single corpse so far. Was it because he was afraid of dead bodies or something? What the hell? That kind of joke wasn't funny in a situation like this. Besides him, there were the journos. Omiya-san had been pretty much manipulated by Chami, so reading her was hard. If she could keep her cool, she could probably make some decent contributions to the feast. Also, I felt like that her knowledge of folklore and occult stuff would be necessary for my current main goal of finding out the truth. As for Hashimoto-san, he hadn't survived this night even once so far, so I couldn't say anything about him. However, though the first impressions had made him seem like nothing but some fat guy, he did show an impressive capability for logic and reasoning. If both Omiya-san and Hashimoto-san survived, I imagine they would perform really well in the feast. Of course, it was hard for them to pass the barrier all outside of space. How was your walk? Then there was myself. I was the most suspicious here and the one most likely to get hanged. Last time I'd been able to survive because I was a snake and leveraged my role well. It helped me get Takumi-san and Rikaku-san over to my side, as bad as that sounded. However, there was no guarantee that it would happen again. It was best to assume I'd win it. First I saw a cat. There's like 7 wild ones there. In that situation, I'd have focus on helping my side emerge victorious with myself still alive rather than just helping my side emerge victorious. Even if I could loop, there was no guarantee that I couldn't get into a situation where I would be hanged no matter what. That was a heavy thought to have, but I'd have to believe I could make it and keep pushing onwards. I had to keep going. Suddenly, I felt drowsiness come over me. Had I been so busy during the day that I ended up more tired than I thought? It was time to cleanse myself. I took off my clothes, wiped my body, switched into my spare underwear, and that was that. Then I locked the shabby-looking lock and returned to my bed, if you can call it that. What would I do if my door was suddenly knocked down and some scary werewolf monster came in? I tried to keep myself on my toes, but my brain knew that wasn't how the feast worked, so it just relaxed and led me to sleep. I'd be safe today. I wouldn't die today. I'd think about what came next later. I felt a strange pain all over my body. Uh-oh, I'm the werewolf. Next, I felt that something was way too red. I could see the light on the I could see the light of the outside through my eyes. I thought that meant it was dawn, but that wasn't the case. The morning sun had a bitter orange color, but this red right here was darker and colder. It also felt like my eyes weren't even closed. Why was I unconscious with my eyes open? Not only did my body hurt, but it was cold as well. Too cold. I was sleeping on the ground. My hair was on some gravel while my hands felt grass and mist. It was cold. My senses awakened. No, it was more like something that had been cut off had suddenly returned. It wasn't quite the same as a typical morning, and the bizarre sensation took me a moment to adjust to. I was outside. The moment I realized that, all blood left my face. I tried to jump up and then realized my body was sluggish and that my body temperature was extremely low. Had I been out in this cold mist for that long, my mind was in better condition than my body at least. Why was I outside anyway? Had I broken some taboo I didn't know about? Did the prefab count as outside? Would I be taken outside and killed because of it? Maybe there wasn't even need for a reason like that. It could have just been that I'd be used as an example. If Yurei Hashimoto-san did the feast prep this time, no one would die tonight, but perhaps that was a bad thing for Great Lord Shinai. The existence of the penalty, the corruption, was best made through example. A simple mess of a corpse was enough to prevent people from trying to escape or walking out at night. However, if no one broke that rule, no example could be made. But it was actually entirely possible to make an example without anyone breaking any laws. If there was a corpse tomorrow, everyone would just assume that the victim had broken a law. No one would question the Punisher's decision. Well, we hadn't had any unexplainable victims of the corruption thus far. That was my assumption anyway. Rikako-san going nuts made absolutely no sense, but it wasn't even clear if that was the corruption, so I would just leave it at that. Besides that, all instances of the corruption so far seemed to have completely plausible causes behind them, so I'd assumed that the Punisher was fair. But could I trust their benevolence, now in this situation? I was an outsider who was barely known here, and that kinda made me the best person to make an example out of. Had I been too optimistic to assume I wouldn't die today? My throat was dry, which made me feel even colder. My irritation and panic broke my tolerable limits, and I finally regained my senses and control over my body. There was red light all around me. The source was distant, but it lit up the entire mist, giving it a bewitching, unsettling shine. It made me both uneasy and scared. It reminded me of the first mist I'd ever seen, even though it was late at night right now. However, unlike the first time, I didn't feel any beasts nearby. I strained my eyes to look into the mist, and I realized I had someone at my side. Ooh, we're about to find out who the wolves are! Or rather, I realized that there was a humanoid silhouette within the red light. It was a girl. Haru Makishima. As I tried to stand up, I staggered pathetically and collapsed again. I could barely even speak. She noticed me, slowly turned her face toward me, and looked down at me with eyes showing no hint of emotion, thought, or life. She was even smiling a bit. Ooh, was that Rikako? I heard my name. It surprised me, but I somehow turned to the side and saw... Oh, Kaori. Fuck! We're all fucking wolves? Her eyes and expression were also almost exactly like Haru-chan's. God is coming. Was I still half asleep? Was this some sort of dream? Why were they here anyway? But if I couldn't actually see the god that Chiemi, Rikako-san, and Haru-chan talked about, if I could actually see the god that Chiemi, Rikako, and Haru talked about, I would accept it in a heartbeat. I turned to the direction that those two were facing. In red, misty darkness, I saw the outline of a large tree. It was the hanging pine. That meant this was the graveyard. And there were 3 lights, or rather 3 sets of them within the mist. It took me a moment, but I realized they were eyes. The vague silhouette seemed human and yet not human at the same time. Was that God? Why had they appeared before us? Questions filled my head, my thoughts became dull, my sense of logic froze, and my vision contracted. Suddenly, God spoke. Look here, for I will tell you the true legend. It was like a rumble. It was definitely a voice. We will now tell you the true legend. We tried to follow what he said. The wolves is not fully dead. The wolves aren't dead yet. Truly, it is mankind that has been dead. It's the humans that are dead. Mankind, snake, ape, crow, spider. Human, snake, monkey, crow, spider. All creation is the making of Yomi. All that have risen from Yomi. The laws of the mountain says all creation is to be killed. Ye hath been chosen willfully to be the wolves. Make great destruction upon the Yomibito and make pure the mountains of the river. A noble gift we've given you. We will give something to you. You shall learn this and cleanse yourself. You must wear it and cleanse yourself. Do this and the wicked mist shall yield no harm. By cause of the darkness, we shall you and the rock. We will also send you the badger. Tomorrow at night, this time at Lone Yomibito, we shall aspire to be your sword brethren. Tomorrow night, we shall inspire one of the Yomibito to become your ally. This worthy brought your knight to be
無事な
and
の
is
加護な
our
り
help unto ye. The badger
何
will
時
be
ら
a
に
guardian
あ
and
た
is our
る
help to you.
我
So the
ら
wolves
が
always got
こと
to
よ
the
せ
detailed
なり
explanation. They were low in number. Humans received other guardians. They were under pressure to lie at all times, and were surely conflicted about many things. The wolves were actually at quite a disadvantage here. However, they had more information. They knew their allies and enemies and about the existence of a traitor unknown to the humans.
去りければ
Herky, ye shall draw blood of a
人
man
よ
by
り
every
一
night.
人の血を流すべし
Anyway, seriously? Did you have any idea how hard that was?
去らず
Or you yourself would die,
泣きにせら
otherwise
れ
you would
は
be the ones to die first, too,
何
huh?
時夢
It
ゆ
may not otherwise be
え
tied.
疑うこと
Do
な
not
か
doubt this.
夢
It may
ゆ
not otherwise be tied. He just repeated it for effect, surely.
なか
He really wanted us to believe him. So the three of us were wolves? I had no idea if that was true. Hell, I didn't even know if this was real or not. Then the red light became weaker, or my consciousness began to fade. I had no idea. And soon enough it was all dark. I knew I was gonna be a wolf. This is kind of busted. Because I'm gonna... If Mako has a guardian, I'm gonna know it immediately, because they told me what the code was. My body hurt. The familiar sensation made me open my eyes slightly. I saw the bright but shabby inside of the prefab. Through the dirty curtainless window, I saw the mist outside. This was reality, wasn't it? I lifted my upper body, turned a bit, moved my head, pinched my cheek. It all felt real. Then I tried to stand, and I could. Looking at my phone, which was about to run out since this place had no electricity, I saw the correct date and that it was 8 o'clock. I'd slept in pretty late. Remembering something, I lifted the bottom of my shirt and looked at my stomach. What I saw made me freeze. The Lord of the Hunt, the wolf, slay all the Yomibito, cleanse and purify or die. It wasn't a dream, or was it? Cleanse, purify, dream?
そんなもんは
At first we thought the people of Kami Fujiyoshi just made it up to make
あ
fun of
だ
us.
けど
But we found that it was true when we became blessed by Shinai-sama
本
himself.
当じゃと
おじい
On
ち
the
ゃん
day
が死ん
Oji-chan
だ日
died, he showed up in my dreams and
私
told
の
me
夢
about
に
it.
出てそう
Great Lord Shinai told the real story through dreams, making the people of Yasumizu change drastically. They went from those who hunted wolves to those who hated humans. It wasn't clear which side was right. I didn't even know if there was a right side to this, but I didn't feel much. I didn't get any sort of hatred for the humans or motivation to kill. The first time, Yasunaga-kun, Tae-san, and Haru Channel had some sort of cold, calm anger toward the humans. Last time, Chiami had said that she was intent on killing me from the start. As for Mochi, my first impression of him was weird but harmless kid and then somehow became insane killer.
まあ私らにも
We
いろい
had
ろあ
our
って
reasons for doing what we
最
did,
後まで
but
あ
we
がか
had
な
to
いとい
keep
け
doing
ない
it
こと
until
に
the
なって
end,
るか
so
ら
stop it with
さ
the questions. They're
も
a
う質
pain.
問とかやめてよ面倒
However, she'd also said that she was struggling and it didn't sound like it had anything to do with what she wanted. Regardless of what you were like before, you became a wolf by getting the wolf as your guardian. What was Miya-san like in that regard? She had worked as a wolf, but that was either just a survivor because she was urged by Chiami. There was no zeal or loyalty there, so she ended up being silenced. That meant that the real story only worked with the people of Yasumizu. That was the only way things made sense. But in that dreamlike appearance, if that dreamlike experience was true, then this time the wolves are Haru-chan, Kaori-san, and I, right? I had seen them in the mist and red light, and they certainly didn't look right. I wasn't sure if it was actually a matter of sanity or they just accepted the event as natural, a change born from the real story, an event set up from the start. No, I also had to consider the possibility that it was just a dream, and that me being chosen as a wolf had nothing to do with it. I still couldn't be sure if they were the other wolves. I absolutely couldn't just go to the dining hall and ask them if they were. I had to wait until tonight. Suddenly. Saishi, you okay?
春明さん
Haruaki-san, are you
春明
alive?
さん生きてる
Someone knocked on my
春明さん
door. I quickly wiped off the bloody guardian mark on my stomach. It was dry, so it came off easily. I washed my hands in the bucket and unlocked the door. But then the bucket would be all red, so then they know there's fucking... There's blood. You're okay.
よかった
I'm so
春明さ
glad.
ん
Who were the wolves last time? Chiami and Mochi. And... the reporter. I don't think there was any pattern of everybody waking up late. I saw Takumi-san armed with a farming tool and Chiemi, who was so happy about my survival she had tears in her eyes. The fact that she was the same person as that vicious mass murderer, it made it difficult for me to be happy about this development. This was an act. This reminded me of that time. This reminded me that she herself had told me I had bad eye for women. Without any of that, she really seemed like nothing but a gentle, cute young woman. We carefully walked through the mist.
まさか本当
When
に
mist
霧が
actually
立つなん
came, I
て
heard it's a bad sign.
不吉なことだ。
How much have you heard
必
exactly?
ず死人が出るって
Someone always dies when it comes.
誰だ
Who the
よ
hell told that to a damn
ろくでもね
newcomer?
それはまあ
That
ともか
aside,
く
did someone die?
え
No.
いや
まだ
No one's
誰
dead
も死んでないよ。
Good.
もうみんな
Has
いるんだ。
everyone gathered already?
うん、
Yeah,
食
in
堂
the
に。
dining hall. Sorry, we came to
Gome.
pick you up pretty
Haruaki.
late.
みんな霧が出
Everyone's
てパニック
panicking
ってん
because
だ
of the mist. Sorry for
後
making
回し
you
にして
wait.
悪かったな
Of course they'd come for me last. I was at the bottom of the totem pole here. And despite that, I was a wolf. Crap. How was I supposed to survive Kanto-san's "Can you just die today"? Hold on. What was I thinking? Was I actually going to fulfill my role as a wolf? I would actually create those awful piles of corpses? I didn't want to do that. I wasn't beholden to some weird legend. There was no need for me to play along with this insanity. Honestly, I could just reveal who the wolves were on the first day. That'd keep the sacrifices minimal, and no, that'd result in my own death. I had to think carefully. I had to survive. I had to survive and escape the loop. This wasn't a matter of just leaving Yasumizu or Fujiyoshi. I'd actually ended the feast once and escaped, yet the death loop still continued. Hell, the Feast of the Yomi Purge and the general mystery surrounding Fujiyoshi still wasn't over. Honestly, I had no confidence if I'd been in the right mind when I decided to actually move to Fujiyoshi. Felt like all the characters and stage props here were gathered to bring about nothing but tragedy. Until I'd solved all the mysteries here, the supernatural forces here would continue to terrorize me no matter how far I ran. There was the possibility that surviving as a wolf would solve everything. I wasn't opposing to that. Perhaps to come back to life, return from Yomi over and over because of the local Yomi inhabitants. So in order to solve this, I had to become a wolf and kill them all. Right. This could be the right path.
春明さん、
どうしたの？
どう
What's
したの？
wrong? Something bothering
難しい
you?
か。
ちょっと
I'm kind of worried. I'm
いろいろ
actually
不安で。
quite the scaredy cat.
これ
無理はねえよ
Would I have to kill them too?
お
Can
前
you handle blood?
え
Huh?
ど
Why
う
are
して
you
です？
asking?
人
No
は
person
死んで
died,
ないけ
but,
ど、
well,
ちょ
their
っとね。
expressions turned dark. I saw the plaza.
狼様は
There are 3
三
wolves.
人おる
Just like last time, Tei Yamewaki-san was at the Okiba with 3 Yomatsu Okami symbols painted on it.
どういう
What
こ
do
と
you
です？
mean?
後
I'll tell
で
you later.
教えてあ
The
げる
exchange
か
was
ら
exactly
ね
as I remembered. I still knew about all of this, so I had to be careful to stay in character. I couldn't forget that just about everyone here had their first feast today. They didn't have the knowledge or experience, and no one had killed anyone yet. If I went and said something weird, they'd suspect me, so I had to act like the confused newbie. As I approached the plaza, I noticed a strange stench. Though it resembled the smell of death I was now intimately familiar with, this one felt more beastly.
何があるの？
Just
こ
what
の
is that
先。
stench?
見ない方
I
がいい
shouldn't
よ。
look. I disregarded her warning and headed towards the source of the smell. Huh? There's a pile of corpses in the middle of the plaza, though they weren't human. From what I can tell, they were the remains of mid-sized four-legged beasts. They looked like dogs, but their bodies were in such terrible shape I wouldn't have been able to tell if they were foxes, tanuki, or wolves instead. Some had their limbs or heads removed, and there were a lot just cut up really badly. Bloody fur, eyes open so wide you'd think they'd fall out. If I had to guess, there were at least 20 of these here in the pile. It was about as tall as the back of a smaller adult. They reeked badly, but more than that, it was just disturbing. Crimson fur, countless fangs, claws, eyes, that seemed like an original idea for a fantasy monster. Indeed, monster is very apt. It was almost a monument dedicated to the Yomatsu Okami. Perhaps this was the example this time?
絶対
Don't
触
touch
ん
it,
な
we're
よ
throwing it in Saranaga
後で
later.
全部皿
I
の上
wasn't
に捨て
planning
る
on touching it, it was basically a heap of potential diseases. Wouldn't dumping it into a river be illegal though? Screw it, this wasn't the time to worry about stuff like that.
春明さん、
You
意
seem
外と平
strangely
気？
calm.
ま
Well,
あ
if you see dog
犬の
corpses
死体
in
と
town
かは
every
街
now
でも
and
見
then,
るし、これが人間だったら
You
do
see
natta ka
dog
wakaranai
corpses
kedo.
in town every now and then. Not sure how I'd feel if it was a person. Probably wouldn't affect me as much at this point, to be honest. I'd seen too many horrible human corpses.
生きとった
They're
か
alive. Outside the dining hall, there was Kanzumaki Shimashi, gun in hand. Along with him was Fusashi-kun.
お
Good
はよ
morning. At the entrance, there were Mamiya-san, who looked uneasy, and Hashimoto-san, who looked strangely composed. After greeting them, I went inside.
久石春明さんも無事でした。
Fusashi-san was okay too.
これで全
That's
員
everyone then. Hi, what a relief.
よかったわ。
I looked around and yeah, everyone was here. A total of 16. What a party. At one seat, there was Haru-chan. Her face was pale, and her two friends were seated next to her.
ここにいたら
It's safe in
安全
here.
だから。
ご飯食べれそう？
I just
Really?
can't. She'd hated the mist before, but this time it seemed even worse. She also made herself as small as possible, and it felt like she was averse to their care. This seemed like a mix of her fear of the mist and the rejection of the villagers she'd had as a badger.
というか
I'd
休
say
みず
she's
で
just the
一番
greatest
怖が
scaredy
りなん
cat
だよ
here.
ね、はるちゃん。
Scared cat.
昔
She
話の
was always
汚
really
れとか
afraid of all the corruption
昔から
talk.
す
Maybe
ご
she
く
was
怖
just
がって
scared
た
of
し
getting corrupted.
だから
So I don't think
はるちゃ
Haru-chan
んが
could kill
狼で
anyone
も
if she was a wolf.
誰も殺したりできないと思うんだな。
A girl who was afraid of the corruption. It started 8 years ago when she tried to visit Yasumizu and it was covered in mist and saw something. That had to be it. The idea or certainty that the people around her were Yamibiro had to scare her pretty badly. Maybe she really was a wolf. Kaori-san, on the other hand, looked okay. That thought came too soon. A moment later, I heard a crash from behind the counter.
ごめん
I'm
な
so
さい。
sorry, I'll clean it
片
up.
付
あ、
Oh, let me
僕
handle
が
it.
やりま
Hey,
す
I'm supposed to be
と
working
いうか
here. Sorry
下
for not
働きなの
helping.
に手伝いもせずすみません。
Without waiting for a response, I hurried behind the counter. There was broken porcelain on the floor, along with some rice and soup, the same food as last loop, basically. I already knew what was where in the kitchen, so I wetted a cloth, wrung it out, and started wiping it up. Then I spread out a newspaper and collected the porcelain. Suddenly, I felt something touch my upper arm. I turned around, and I saw Kaori-san crouching and staring at the floor with a pale expression. She was shaking, I can tell from her touch. There were tears in her eyes, and her half-open mouth made her look like she was about to sob. Her whole body was basically saying that she couldn't bear this. Jesus!
香織さんは
Kaori-san
気
isn't
分が
feeling
悪
too
いみたい
good.
だ。
Yasunaga-kun, your
ちょっといいかな
Suzuku-kun, can you
安永
come
君
over here? Huh?
母さん大
Mom,
丈
are you okay? Don't
具合
force
悪い
yourself,
のに
Hag.
無理してんじゃ
As
ね
I
えよ。
helped her get up the stairs, Kaori-san looked at me with eyes that seemed both pleading and scornful. I felt like she was asking if she really had to kill these wonderful children with her own hands. This mission was too much for her to bear, and from what I could tell, she wanted to share the burden with me to make it easier for herself. It was safe to assume that the dreamlike experience had indeed showed me the other wolves. Calm down, though it seemed pretty conclusive to me. This was just day one. We had the mist, the wolf symbols, and the pile of dog corpses, so it wasn't weird for a sensitive woman to become a bit sick. Even Chiemi and Hisako-san didn't look so good. The ones who were clearly okay were Rikako-san, who looked like a no mask most of the time, and Meiko, who probably had her eyes hidden. So as long as they didn't act any more suspicious, it was all good.
配膳は僕の
I'll
方でし
serve
ま
the
す。
food. Chikamochi-kun,
Chikamochi-kun,
can you give me a bowl from that
君の
shelf?
おお、すでに置き場
Whoa,
を
you
熟知
already
して
know
る
where
とは。
everything is. You can call
だ
me
が
Mochi, though.
僕のことはモッチー
I
と呼
might
ぶ
have
が
been
よ
the
い。
one in trouble here. I told him to call me Hassan and decided that I had to act more ignorant of things. After we ate, I pretended to be busy in the kitchen. Chiemi and Rikako-san looked like they wanted to talk, but I avoided them because I felt like I might accidentally spill the beans to them. Of course, we had to wait until Takumi-san and the Oribe brothers cleaned up the plaza, and I had tons of things to wash. Last time the feast began at about 9, but now that Kaori-san had gone to bed for a second time, I'd have to happen later. It didn't show any signs of starting even at noon, so we had lunch.
獅子
We
肉
gotta
使わ
use
な
the
きゃね。
shishi, I'll cut it up.
てめえ
You
釜
can't
で
boil
米炊
rice
け
in
ん
a
のか
kettle?
よ。
Screw it,
仕
I'll
方
do
ねえ
it.
な。
I got some
やってやっ
unexpected
から。
help, so I ended up having only to cut the veggies and add spice. We ended up with lots of decent rice and pork soup. I hadn't expected Yoshisugu-kun to know how to boil rice. He'd probably helped out Kaori-san a lot.
はるちゃん、食べられそう。
食べ
Yeah,
る。
and don't call me by my name.
失礼いたしました。
Stop it, Undy man.
パンツも
I hadn't accepted that name, but trying to resist it would have probably made her antagonistic toward me, so I just laughed it off.
心配
I'm
か
sorry
け
for
て。
making you worry.
ごめ
What
ん
a
な
nice
さい。
smell. Who made it?
ちえみと吉嗣くんの手
Yoshisugu-kun
伝い
and I
の
helped
と。
out.
まあ、
Oh my, thank you,
吉嗣
Yoshisugu. I
飯
just
炊いた
boiled
だ
some
けだ。
rice.
食べ
Do
ら
you
れ
think
そう
you
です
can
か
eat? Yes, I'll have some.
いただくわ。
Everyone noticed that her face was as pale as before, but no one pointed it out. Kanzo-san was beginning to become irate, and it was clear we had to begin the feast soon.
これ食ったらや
We're
る
doing
か
it after eating? Everyone, even Kaori-san, understood what was going to happen. No, 2 people didn't.
いや、
Well, I understand that the
上の
road is
道路
blocked,
が
but
塞
can't
が
we
って
get
る
up
の
by
は分
crossing
か
the
りま
stream
したけど、
below?
下は
It's dangerous. I
危ないの。
understand how you feel, but it must be
気持
best
ち
to
は
just
わ
wait
か
for
る。
help.
さっき芹沢さんは救
Serizawa-san
助は来
just
ないっ
said
て
that
言
no
って
one
ま
would
したよ。
come. What's going
一
on
体
here?
な、
No need to rush it.
ま
Ma'am, will you explain it to
おばあ
us?
さん。
Yes?
いい
Yes, I'll tell you about the feast later.
今してく
Do
だ
it
さ
now. I
い
don't
よ。
want to participate in
妙
something
な
I
こ
know
とに。
nothing about.
ちゃん。
Kyo-chan, no need for
まあ
that.
まあ。
Hearing them talk made me nervous, but at least they kept everyone on their toes. Or was that a bad thing for us wolves? The only thing the humans could do against the wolves was lynch, so we had to keep their motivation to do that to a minimum. At the very least, that was relatively easy today when no one had died so far. Kanzo Makishimashi would definitely insist we hang someone, and I had to somehow shoot him down. Of course, I had to avoid standing out in the way that would affect my chances further down the line.
やる
It's
ぞ。
time. Go to the
周
hole.
街道へ行け。
We all lined up, and the eldest went in first. They joined their hands and hid their faces. It was a unique sight, and once again I copied them. Like last time, I ended up at the lower end of the group, but the complete outsiders were even below me.
いいんですか？
Is this really okay with you?
恥じゃな
I'd
い
be in the
と。
way if I wasn't the one at the
邪魔くさい
end of
で
the
しょ。
Wait, if I wasn't at one
僕。
end of the group, right? I couldn't give any strong agreement, so I just gave him a light in response. Teisan declared the start of the feast, and Rikako-san handed out some divine sake.
運転は
Aren't you driving?
しばら
Won't be
く
for a
は
while.
なさそうだよ。
Hashimoto-san drank 3 full cups without anyone urging him to, and Mamiya-san griped that he would be drinking too much, that he was drinking too much. He'd also had 3 more helpings of lunch. It was appropriate for someone his size, so I hadn't even commented on it. With him being the first to drink, the rest of us would have been taken aback. Then Teisan explained the legend of the feast. That sounds like a
犯罪
crime
行為
to
ですよ
me.
ね。
Just like last time, after asking this and that, Mamiya-san eventually took that strong stance on the whole thing.
しかし、
But if we don't do it, we will die ourselves.
だから
But
最
let's
後
listen
ま
until the
で
end,
行
then
こ
we'll
う。
have time for questions so we can share our thoughts.
わかりました。
Okay. Mamiya-san still had a certain expression, but her cold temperament made her seem like a completely different person from last time. After that, Yasunaga pointed out things Teisan missed, like the amount of people the wolves could kill, the extra info on the spider, and whether any of us were in a feast before. Then,
その
how
過
do you
去
know
と
if
い
you have
う
a
のは
guardian?
どうやって
Hashimoto-san, who
通
wasn't here
知
last
され
time,
るも
quickly
ので
pointed
しょ
out
う
more
か。
info that was missing. Kanzo-san then explained that they appeared on the stomach.
なる
I
ほど。
see, so that's why cleaning your body is one of the rules, so
だから
God doesn't
体を
want
拭かせ
to
るの
touch
だ。
sweaty skin.
起きて。
You talk more than I
意外とよく
expected.
喋る
My
ああ
apologies, I'm only quiet when I work. It makes it easier, so I
仕事
restrain
の時
myself.
はああいう感じの方が
At this point, all the rules except for the badger had been revealed.
なんか調
Well,
子
we
狂っ
kind
ち
of
ま
went
った
off
けど
track.
よ
What do we do now?
Go
We got
from
some dead dogs,
実
but
際の
it's
と
not
ころ
like a person
犬
died,
な
right?
こんなも
What
ん
if it's just
神
someone in
藤吉の
Kamufuji
誰か
Yoshi
の
trying
嫌
to
がらせじゃ
intimidate
ねえの
us?
かよ
Bachan said that it happens
昔
often.
はよくあったって
That was news
ばあ
to
ちゃん言
me.
ってた
そう
Well,
い
my
や
Oba-san said that people
私のお
from
ばあ
there
さ
used
ん
to
は
release
ね
shishi blood into the
よ
field
う
water.
上
I do not believe they still do that.
上
From
藤
what I can
吉
tell,
の
most
村
of the
民の
people
大
there
部
just
分は
downright ignore
安水の
Yasumizu.
ことを
There's
無視
barely
してい
anything
るように
connected
見
to
受け
this
られる
anyway.
一部の
Some
狩
from the
猟関
hunting
係
industry
者
have
は
ties to Kanzo
牧島
Makishimashi,
勘蔵
but
師
they
と
seem
つ
to
ながりがあ
respect
る
you.
どうだ
Not sure I trust that. Well,
まあ
Kanzo Ji-chan is
新
just
内
is
さんの
the
も
only
と
one
で
who
狩り
can
が
hunt
で
at
き
the
るの
base at
肝臓じい
Shinai-san.
ちゃんだけだもんね
That was some interesting info.
それはと
Anyway,
もか
good
く
point. The only
そ
one
の通
still
りで
trying to do something
今
bad
時
to
休みずに
Yasumizu
悪
are
さして
school
やろう
children
な
in
んて
the
ね
village head.
またそうやって
Again,
長
with
者
the
を不
unfair
当に中
mudslinging,
傷
the
するの
village
か
heads are far too busy for that.
どうかな
Unfair?
あ
The
の
whole
山祭
mountain
りなんて
festival seems like
休
one
みずに
big
対するいじ
Yasumizu
め以外
bullying
の何
event.
者でもない
I
と
think
ね
we could even take them to court and
訴
win
えれば
over it.
ちなみにしかも
By the way, Chikamochi,
なんだ
why?
ろう
お前じゃないよ
You're
な
not
この
the
一
one
発は
doing this, are you?
お
Oh,
お
that's possible.
あり得る
It was? But too bad.
しかし
I'm
残
flattered
念
that you thought of me, but I
い
didn't
た
do
ず
that.
ら単純
Have you
に
seen that
無理だ
pile
よ
of
ね
dead dogs? How
あ
could I
んだ
even
け
do
犬
that?
を
Good
ああ
point.
そうだ
まだ僕が
When
ロ
I was
サ
still
だ
in
った時
Osato, I had
誕
them buy
生
me
日
a lot
に
of
いっ
guinea
ぱい
pigs
モ
for
ル
my
モット買っ
birthday,
て
and I
もらっ
played
て
around by drowning
池
them in a
に
pond.
沈めて遊んだことならある
Jesus Christ! Huh? What? Sorry, that's just how he is.
最
So,
低
Yeah, I'm not
も
doing
う
it
やんないよ
anymore.
殺す
You're
なら
gonna kill
ネ
something,
ズミ
make
と
it
かゴ
mice
キブリ
and
にしてよ
cockroaches.
うん
Yeah, I'll
ネズミ
kill
を殺
tons
す
of
ぞ
mice. I could tell that the weirdos here were making Mamiya-san uncomfortable, but Hashimoto-san was unfazed as always. I had a feeling that the new info I was hearing here came from the fact that no one had died, so tension levels were low.
とにかく
Anyway, what do we do about the feast? Can I suggest something? He made the first move? I recalled hearing that Takumi-san was the one who moved first the very first time he'd revealed that he was the snake. Last time, one of the monkeys, Kanto-san, suggested that I die. The flow of events had changed, so maybe he didn't have the guardian this time? Perhaps it wasn't a good idea to decide who did and didn't have guardians based on that alone. Just adding Hashimoto-san had changed the course of discussion completely. And this time, Chami was the girl that criticized Fujiyoshi with her city dweller mentality, basically bringing her back around to show how she was in the first loop. Last time, besides the strong words on day one, she stayed passive, only hesitantly making moral objections. By becoming a wolf, she'd greatly changed her approach to the feast. Now there was Kyonosuke-shi. I'd expected him to suggest we use a popular vote, but
私は
I believe
彼
he
に
should
勇
become
気あ
our
る代
courageous
表者になって
representative
もらうのが良いと思うのだがね。
while pointing at me.
そ
Are
れ
you
は
telling me to die?
僕に
そんな言い
I
方
don't want
は
to
し
use
たく
such
ない
strong
が。
language, but I heard that's
君
what
は
you
そう
came
い
here
う目
for.
的で最
It's
初の
hard to
一
choose
人
the
という
first
のは
one,
選
but
び
when the
にくい
first
もの
hanging
だよ。
does happen, the crow can reveal themselves.
最初の一人
I
が
didn't
いて
expect
こ
that idea to come
そ
from
カ
him.
ラスのカゴは
That
名
was
乗り出
basically
る
the
こと
same
がで
approach
きる
as Kanzo-san's. Hadn't he voted for me on the first day too? Perhaps.
失礼
I'm
ですが
sorry, but do you have any
ご
idea what
自
you're
分が
saying?
何をそうですよ
Yeah, how
理
can
由
you
もな
tell
くて
someone
理
to
に死
die
んで
for
く
no
れとか
reason?
よく
They
言い
said
出
on
しっぺ
TV
の
that the
法則
first
っ
one
て
to
のが
talk
あ
is
る
the
って
shadiest one.
こないだテレビ
If
で
he
やっ
was
て
by
たぞ
himself, his suggestion would have no effect. However,
わし
I'm
も
with the scrawny
よさと
Nosato.
褒美を
His agreement was bad news for me. What up, Goldor? Welcome in.
どういうこと
What are you
だ
talking
親
about?
さん
人なら
A human can die for Yasumizu's sake. I can do that too, but I need to watch the feast a bit longer.
なんで
Why the
て
hell
め
do
え
we
に見
need
てもらわ
that?
なきゃなんねえ。
わしは
I've survived 2
What am I
feasts now.
読み
He was
意味の
telling
何
us
を
now?
どうす
I
れ
know
ば
what
い
we
い
gotta do. We gotta hang, and if humans are afraid of hanging, humans will lose.
上松
Matsu, pour him some more.
わけ
Crap.
もう一
Things are moving on just like last time. I played it off with some vague words back then, but would it work now?
あの
Let's calm down. It's
ちょっと
extremely
落ち着きま
dangerous
しょ
to
う
decide who dies based
こ
on
んな
only
一方
one
的な
side
流れ
of the
で
table.
誰かを肝
I
臓さんが
understand
言う
some
こ
of
と
what
は部分
Kanzo-san
的
is
には
saying,
分
but
か
we
り
can
ます
just
が
as easily say that he's a
ま
wolf.
正論は
Wolves can use logic
狼
too.
が
Just because
使える
something
武器
makes
です
sense doesn't mean we should
正
accept
し
it
そうだ
without
からって飛
question.
びつく
Yasunaga, what is right in this
そもそ
situation?
も
Why
何
must we
が
hang
正しい
anyone?
というの
Just getting home and saying my hellos
作らなきゃ
right
なら
on.
ない
Welcome
タイバーの
home.
話じ
Word.
ゃ僕らは
I'm
宴
assuming you
の
just got
外
off
で
work?
人を殺すことを禁じられてる
According to Taba, according to Taba, we're not allowed to kill anyone outside the feast. Breaking this law means death.
今ここに
There's
16
16 of us here. 13 are humans, 3 are wolves.
人宴を
We
や
do
れ
the
ば
feast and randomly kill
た
one
とえ
every
ベテ
day.
ラ
We
ンに
can
一
get
人
rid of the
殺して
wolves
いて
eventually, but if we
最
don't,
終
our
的に
chances
狼
are
が
zero.
宴
We
をサボり
skip out on
続
the
ければ
killing steer in the feast. The wolves will
狼
just kill
は
one each
一
night
晩
and
に
we
一
quickly
人
die.
ただ
However,
僕もわからない。
not even I'm sure if there are wolves
この
here.
中に
If
本
there
当
are
に
wolves
狼
here,
が
I
い
don't
た
really know if they would kill
本
people.
よしただ単
This
に
is
切
just
りが
simple
出て
myths, and the rest is just
誰
some
かが
sick
悪質
joke. The wolf is really
狼は
coming.
本当
Everyone was
に
surprised that he suddenly began to speak. I was pretty used to it by now, though.
いいか
Listen, wolves aren't as simple as they seem. Yomi is the
神
mountain.
は
They spread the corrupt because the mountain said so. Yomi is the
お
mountain.
前りゃ
What nonsense is that? Shinai-sama is on the human side. The mountain doesn't take side. The
山
mountain's
は
whimsical and
よ
cruel. If it's hungry, it'll eat the people it raised. We got a
俺
feast.
ら
Fuck, all of a sudden I'm hungry.
宴するしか
Not much he said came as a surprise to me, but I sure didn't expect to hear it from him. I wasn't the only one. The weird way he presented it made most people here uneasy and maybe even scared.
じじい
Old Fart's been in feast before. He might be senile, but he remembers it. The wolf's
狼
gotta hang.
ちょっといいですか
Everyone looked at me with sharp eyes.
その
How are the
か
people
つ
you
ての
hang
4人
chosen
の
from the
宴では
previous feast?
どうやって人
We
一人
voted.
一票で
I'd guess as much. Apparently the popular vote was tradition at this point.
今回もそうすべ
You
きだ
think
と
we
思い
should
ま
do
す
that
が
this time too?
皆さん
What about
は
everyone else?
どう思われます
My question caused some whispers among the people.
そんな
Can
も
we
ん
really
決め
decide
ていい
like
の
that?
か
I know what you mean.
多数
You'd be
決で
condemning
選ば
people
れ
to
たら
death by
文句
popular
言わずに
votes.
死な
It's
な
too
きゃならない
cruel.
でも
But there's no better way to
他に
choose.
一人
しっかり
We
話し
can
合って
talk
決
it
めれ
out.
ばい
If
い
that doesn't work, we shouldn't hang anyone at all.
しかし
You think we would agree to
全員一致
consensus
など
like
あるの
that?
かね
There's no way the potential
当の
victim would
本人
agree.
は
はーい
Alright, anyone who
じゃあここ
volunteers
で
to die for us,
みん
raise
な
your
のため
hand.
に死んでもいいよ
only had to use this to gain everyone's trust. Rikako-san had used this to convey to me that Mako had a guardian. Basically, it was just pure strategy. If they didn't need to take the risk this time, they simply wouldn't do it. That meant that it was likely that Mako didn't have a guardian this time. What was I to do here? I thought for a moment and concluded that if I raised my hand here, everyone would gladly hang me. Yeah, I believe it. No matter how kind-natured and reasonable they tried to appear, they actually didn't care much about me. Chiemi and Rikako-san would value me more than most, but there was no arguing that they favored their own. I could totally imagine them prioritizing everyone else and tearfully voting for me. Otherwise, if my fate had already been decided at that point, they would vote for someone else to send them a message or keep them on their toes. It was definitely a dangerous situation for me. There was one way that might have been able to save me, though. I could do what I'd done last time. By sounding like I could be an asset to them, I'd buy time for myself, and finally reveal that I had a guardian. I'd have to make sure the real one with said guardian was gone at that point, though. That meant using the time I had to find and kill them. Can I really do that, though?
誰もいないよ
Got no one.
匠に
威
You
勢
talk
のい
big.
いこ
What
と
about
言っ
you,
とい
though?
て。
俺
I
は
can't die yet.
あ、
Oh wait, here's a warning. Those with guardians should be especially careful.
どういうこ
What do you
と
mean?
兄ちゃん
He went on to give the starting warning, those with guardians should keep their status hidden. However, it was better to go against that warning when the snake and crow found a wolf or when a fake had appeared, and the monkeys were an exception to that. The explanation for the monkeys was the same as last time. The thing about the snake or the crow finding a wolf, as well as the appearance of a fake, weren't mentioned back then.
カゴ車は狙われ
Those
や
with
すい
guardians are likely to
黙
be
ってな
targeted, so it's best for them to be quiet. But those are
喋ると
situations
圧倒的に
but
有
there
利
are
な場合や
situations in which
黙ると不利な場合や
it is advantageous to speak up or disadvantageous to keep quiet.
その基
The
準
prime
としては
example of those situations
やはり
is the
偽
appearance
物が
of
現れ
fakes
た
and when someone discovered a
狼
wolf.
偽
You
物
sure
なんて
we'll have fakes? No
Don't
doubt
do-
about it. Yasunaga-kan went and briefly explained that wolves had to actively lie to win. He also added that humans should avoid lying as much as possible.
宴のことで
The
嘘を
only
つ
ones
く
who
の
lie
は
in the
狼
face of the
だ
wolves, making that a rule
そうした
should
方が
spare us some
後
trouble.
々と思うん
That's
だ
what I
けど
think, Kanto-san. What about
Kanto-san.
you?
今の
Everyone
説
got
明
it?
分かっ
This
た
was
も
the
んは
talk. Kanto-san and Yasunaga-kan spent a lot of the beginning last time fighting over the lead despite both being monkeys. With Haru-chan and Tae-san instead, the one in charge ended up being Takumi-san. If a calm and collected Takumi-san ended up assisting Yasunaga-san like the last time, the wolves would be at a huge disadvantage. Now if Kanto-san ended up in charge and controlled the feast with an iron fist, the order would collapse, perhaps to our advantage. However, that increased my chances of getting killed. I had to find a balance.
はい
I nonchalantly yet unhesitantly raised an arm. A few others followed my lead. Chiami, Rikako, Kaori, Yoshitsugu, Kiyonosuke, Takumi, Mamiya, Hashimoto, Mochi.
わしも
I'm fine with
それ
that.
で
You back down? Yasunaga-kan and everyone who raised their hands amounted to 12, a clear majority. His polite, calm explanation bore fruit. But was Kondo-san the type to back down in a situation like this?
じゃが
But we're hanging
来る
wolves
もん
by
は
vote.
一人一
So
票
we
で
had
決め
conditions
る
for his agreement.
別
Wait.
にいいじゃねえか。
What?
どうせずっとダラダラ話してても決まらね
Oh, that humans aren't allowed to lie. Fine by me, talking ain't getting us anywhere.
え。逆に
Hell,
話
all
し合い
that
で筋
talking
が
will
立っ
just
て
get
る
us
な
the
ら
same result
多
as
数
the
決
vote,
に
won't
した
it?
って。
まあ
Well, you have a point.
匠に
Takumi, what do you
ど
think?
分かっ
Alright.
た
冗
This has
談
gotta be a joke. The bartering with Yasunaga kind of made Takumi-san agree to something he'd been completely disapproving of. Chiemi had realized that she had to accept it, so she'd given up on arguing and only complained. Kanto-san had a tendency to strong-arm people to get what he wanted, but he was good at it.
で
So we got derailed a
だい
bit
ぶ
behind
話がそれ
Saishi.
てたけどよ
Things were looking bad for me.
妻子をくくろうって
Suddenly I got help from where I least expected it. If you ask me, I don't believe we should hang anyone today.
今日
Today?
はという
I
か
don't think we should do it at all.
うん
If it's a matter of kill or be
もし
killed, I would
殺
kill.
さなきゃ
His tone was
殺さ
calm,
れ
but
る
his words were
と
terrifying.
妻
I have a wife and 3
娘が
daughters
3
waiting for
人
me at home.
家で待ってる
Mamiya-san's
から
eyes
ね
widened. She must have realized just how serious he was.
前
You
に
did mention
おっ
that
しゃっ
you
て
don't
ますも
intend
ん
to die for your work.
うん
Yes, that's why I carefully listened to what everyone here said.
多
And I
分
think that lynching someone
先手
first
を
would
打っ
give the
て
wolves a reason
処
to start
刑を
killing.
行うと
That was a general observation that no one argued against, probably because they didn't have a good comeback.
大
I more or
体
less
ルー
understand
ル
the
は飲
rules
み
now.
込
Can
め
I
ま
say
した
something that's on my mind?
どう
If
も
I'm getting something wrong,
間
you
違えて
there, you
た
seem to
ら
know how things work, so please point it out. Oh, okay.
じゃあ
Now, in this process, at least 5 people will die, a minimum of 3 wolves and 2 humans killed that night.
そうですね
Yes, at least, as long as the
雲の
spider
雲に
doesn't
よって
protect the
守られる
humans.
つま
That
り
means that someone will die
今
tonight
誰
regardless
か
of
を
whether we
処
lynch
刑
someone
しよう
today.
が今
That's not wrong.
し
But if we don't hang someone today, the feast will continue without any dead wolves.
これは
That's odd. Today's lynching is to let the crows show themselves, right? It's
狼
unlikely that it would be a wolf. Would it really be effective overall? I won't say it would be worthless.
考
But
え
imagine
てみ
hearing
て
this tomorrow. I am the crow, the one lynched yesterday. Fusaishi-san was a human.
よし
Now,
も
even
だ
if it turns out he was
不
a
採
wolf,
師さんは
we would believe the crow
狼
just
でし
because
た
no
と
other
し
crows
て
spoke up against them. What would
他
happen
に
then?
誰もま
We
だ
would have
14
14
人
humans
残
and
っ
2
てい
wolves. The
て
chance of getting a wolf
狼
would
も
drop
2
from
人
about
残ってい
19%
る
to about 14%.
思
From
う
what I
に
see, the end game would be
早かろうが
after some
遅
people
か
have
ろう
died,
が
regardless if that happens
そう
sooner or later.
つくのはだ
So
か
I'm
ら
not sure if we should lynch
今日
anyone today
一
without
人
any evidence.
それは
Well, you might have a
そう
point.
それは
That's
詭弁だ
sophistry. We humans can't win if we don't hang anyone. Yes,
So
but I
no
believe that
sorry.
it's worth waiting for just one day.
ただ今
If
日
we lynch someone today, the wolves would
とりあえず
realize that they would
誰かを
that they
処
really
刑
would
す
get
れば
killed, effectively justifying the
狼側
killings.
には本当に逆に
Now, if they strike first, the
向
humans
こ
could
う
unite,
が先に
could
攻
unite
撃
to avenge
し
the victim.
繰り返し
I'll
ま
say
す
it again, someone will definitely die tonight, regardless if we lynch someone or not.
確実に
That is, assuming
誰
the
か
wolves are
一
serious
人
about this.
しかし
However, the lynching
今
today
夜
or
の
lack
被
thereof
害
would
者
change whether tonight's victim would be considered the wolves' revenge or their wild preemptive attack. Basically, I believe that we can't be
狼
strong
が
enough to
本
lynch
当
people until
に
the wolves
殺
kill
してか
someone.
まあ
Personally, I hope that
こう
such
や
a
って
straight would make the
牽
wolves
制する
hesitate
こと
not
で
to kill anyone. Is that possible?
それは
It's, no. The wolf is coming.
な
I
る
see.
ほど
Even so, whoops.
ただ
Even
そ
so,
うだ
attacking
と
someone
して
when
も
there's no victim is extremely
被害者
stressful.
の
I simply believe that
この状況で
sacrificing someone who is
ほぼ
most likely
間違い
human
な
and
い
sowing discord between us is
今
much
晩
worse than
一
simply
人
letting
に
someone die at night
団
and
結
unifying
のた
us.
めの犠牲になってもらう
As
方
a
が
general rule, it was
まだ
disadvantageous
マ
for
シ
the
だと
wolves to
思
waste
い
an
ます
opportunity
ね
to lynch. However, making a preemptive attack when you had limited information and the chance of getting a wolf was low was extremely risky. Thus, it was a good option to prioritize emotional superiority and unity. Not many people could argue against this. Hashimoto-san was just too good of a speaker, the opposite of Kiyonosuke-shi. His suggestion was beneficial for the wolves too, but only for now. It would be far more difficult for us to kill someone tonight.
今聞いて
Upon hearing him out, I believe that
僕も
Hashimoto-san has
橋
a
本さん
point. We
実
don't
際
fully know each other yet.
まだお互
Killing
いの
someone
こ
in
とを
this
よく知り
situation
もし
would
な
be
い
a
からなんで
waste.
す
それは
I thought the
私
same
も思い
thing.
ま
This
した
beast thing is controlled
おそらくですが
primarily with
この
information, right?
どういうこ
What do you
と
mean,
かな
Kyu-chan? You
誰が
decide who is
誰
a
の
wolf
味
by
方を
taking
した
time
か
to see who sides with
誰
who
が
and who
い
says
つお
something
かしな
strange.
こと人が
Since you
嘘
made
を
it a
つけ
rule
ない
that
ルー
humans
ルに
can't
した
lie,
こ
the
とで
wolves who must
嘘を
lie will
重ねてい
eventually
く
slip
狼
up.
そうやって
It seems right to
狼を見
lynch
つけて
them
から
to find them that way.
きっと一
There
人
might
の
even
手
be
がかりか
cases where a
ら
single
全ての
clue can lead
狼
you
を
to know
明ら
who
か
all the
に
wolves
する
are.
なるほ
I
ど
see, detective
つ
deduction.
いそこ
I
ま
don't
で
know
う
if
ま
it
く
would
い
go
く
that
か
well,
は
but by
わか
observing
り
what
ま
the
せん
wolves
が
do and gathering information about them, you can
狼を
pinpoint
追い
someone
それ以
and
降
eventually even avoid
無駄な
having
処刑
to
を
lynch
行
someone,
わず
letting
に
us
済む
catch
か
up to
ら
them.
そ
And
れ
it's
に
not like we won't learn anything
今
today.
夜
The snake
何
will
も
surely
わか
find
ら
out
ない
whether
わ
someone
け
is
じ
a
ゃ
human
ない
or wolf.
そうです
That's true. Maybe it's best to skip
誤
this
って
day to avoid
ヘビを処
accidentally
刑し
killing
ない
the
ために
snake.
今日
He
は見
presented
送
the
るの
likely disadvantages that can emerge and proved ways to turn them around. It was really effective. Most here didn't want to kill anyone yet, but had to balance out the pros and cons of doing so. If they were told that their negatives could be made up for, they had no reason to cling to that. Crap, I fell silent. Silent people were considered to be passive accomplices to the wolves. I had to say something.
確かに
That does seem
有効に
effective.
思いま
Just
す
another thing to keep in mind.
何
Would
か
that be?
な
The
狼側
wolves
は
would
当
definitely
然
prioritize killing
優
the
先
ones
的
that
にカゴ
guardians,
者
right?
しかし
But
今
if
日
we
処
lynch
刑を
someone
行え
today,
ば
we would lower the amount of
狼
options
側
for
が
them
カ
to
ゴ
choose
者を
from.
特に
Now, if the
本格的に
political,
容
now
疑
if the
者に選ば
potential
れた人
victim
が
of the
カゴ
lynching
者だっ
ended
た
up
りす
being
れば
one with the guardian, they
そ
would
の
have
人
no
は自
choice
分の
but to
正体
reveal
を
it.
人は
Since
嘘を
humans
つか
can't
ない
lie
し
and wolves know each other, they would
狼
instantly
は
know
互い
if
の
the
正
one
体
claiming
を
to
知
have
っ
a
てるの
guardian
で
was telling the truth.
しかし
But
現
at
時
this
点で
point, there's no
カゴ者
benefit
が名乗り
for
出るメ
those
リッ
with
トは
guardians
ゼロ
to
です
come out. None of them have used their
まだ
powers to
誰も
gain
何も
info,
ただ
and they would only die to the wolves.
そう
Yes, that is true.
もちろん
Of
カゴ
course,
者を
it's
引く
not
可能
likely
性
you
は
would
低い
land
で
a
すが
guardian, but if you
ただの
hang
人をくくっ
humans,
てしまえばそ
you
の
could
分
also lower the number of
狼が
targets
殺
for
す
the
方
wolves.
も
There are
狼でない
currently
人は
13
今
non-wolves,
13
taking
人
one away would leave 12.
一人いな
The
くなれば
wolves will
12
choose
人
one of them.
母数
And
が
the
減
lower
れ
the
ば
number, the
こ
higher
れ
the
だけ
chances
誤差
they
が上が
have
る率が
to,
高い
or that they hit one with the
やっ
guardian.
ぱり
I'm starting to
初
think
日
that
に
hanging
する
on
こ
the
とは
first day
弊
doesn't
害が大き
probably
そうに
good.
思いますね
I actually thought that this way of handling the wolves was good for the humans. From what I could tell, Kaori-san and Haru-chan would be found out sooner than later. I had my looping and was generally a scumbag, so I wasn't as shaken by the situation as they were, but my situation wasn't exactly solid. I could fall into traps set by humans too.
どう思う
What do you think, Takumini?
狼
don't
が
like that we're
絶対に
continuing on the
殺すっ
side
て
of the
前提で
wolves
話
will
が
definitely
進んで
kill
るのも
someone.
殺され
But
な
I
いなら
can't.
こ
But
っ
I
ち
can
も殺さ
understand
ない
not
って
killing
の
if we're not getting killed
わかる
ourselves.
おや
Old
すみ
man, The wolves will kill. Maybe,
そう
but
かもし
still.
れねえが
が
But I get what the big guy's
でけえ
saying.
のの言うこともわかる
Vote
今
on
日
whether
来
we
るか
hang
来ら
someone
んか
today.
で票
That'll
取れ
do.
上松
Matsu
の
record.
はい
Very well.
Ah.
Oh, I forgot.
わす
Huh?
君
You said that the monkeys don't have a
猿は
reason
名
not to
乗り
reveal
出ない
themselves, right?
理由
Yes, they can assure them one another's legitimacy,
猿
which
は
makes
相互
them
証
hard
明
to
でき
fake.
るから語
And
ら
they
れに
have
く
no
いし
powers, which makes them
それ以上の
unpopular
能力は
targets.
な
I
る
see.
ほどという
With
わ
that
け
in
で
mind, I am a monkey.
僕は猿でち
As
な
for
み
the
に
other monkey, the letters
Mo
were unclear and hard to
hitori
read,
no
but it's
kata
something
wa-
Dastan.
鴨志田の
Yeah, it's Chikamochi Kamoshida. I'm the monkey. I am the monkey. I am. Stop that.
そっ
I
か
see, so you're a
モ
monkey.
ッチーは猿だった
Pure
んだ
relief, Yasunaga was glad that his friend was definitely not a wolf. Such behavior was a good way to guess whether someone was a wolf or not. Reactions were important.
え
I guess that confirms that this Hashimoto-san isn't just a wolf acting friendly. Can we start the vote? We gotta decide if we're lynching or not.
違う
No.
今
We're deciding if we're hanging today or waiting until someone dies.
死人
Once
が
they
出
do, we're hanging
ど
people
う
no
あ
matter
って
what.
も一日
I
一
swear.
人
Yeah. Well, I guess it makes sense. We can't just let them kill us and do nothing.
絶え間
Teba, you ready?
そう
Yes.
構
No
わ
one
ん
has
のではない
objections?
僕
I'm
も
okay
いい
with
で
it
す
too. With no more counter arguments, we began the vote. The results came quick. The only ones who voted to hang someone today were the old wolf guy and Kanzoshi. Everyone else chose to wait until the wolves made a move, so we didn't hang anyone today. The dining hall was a much more pleasant place than it was in the morning. Yasumizu was a place full of decent people who readily accepted the idea that they wouldn't have to kill anyone today. The same applied to the wolves, or so I thought, but they didn't look so good.
面白
That's
そ
an
うな
interesting
学問
science.
だ
You've been to the
な
seminars?
ええ
Yes, they were
君
led by
吉先生っていう
Kimiyoshi
方で
sensei.
君よし
Kimiyoshi-san, I'm pretty sure a Japanese
一度
person
ラ
I
サ
met
で
in
た
Lhasa
ま
was
た
a
ま出
college
会った
lecturer with
日
that
本
name.
人
あその人
Well,
で
that
す
has
よ
to be him. He
専門
specializes
が
in
シナチベッ
Sino-Tibetan
ト語族なん
languages,
で
so he
たび
travels
たび
there
向こう
every
に
now
行って
and then.
なるほど
I see. What a
正
small
解
world.
橋本さんや先生にとってはですよ
Another reason was Hashimoto-san. Once he stopped being silent, he turned out to be extremely sociable and understanding. The dining hall would fall silent every now and then, so he walked around and talked to people, bolstering morale, it seemed, and seeming naturally suited to the role. He wasn't exactly a jokester, but everyone who talked to him seemed to be having fun. He'd even gotten a faint smile out of Haru-chan. I wasn't jealous or anything. I did wonder why Chiemi hadn't told me much about her specialty. And honestly, I had no right to be jealous. I'd already used my looping to get together with 2 women. No, doing what I did back then seemed the best thing to do in these situations, and putting Haru-chan aside for a moment, both Chiemi and Rikako-san were really charming. Chiemi was a bit unhinged at her core, but Mitsuji wasn't all that different. Rikako-san was fun, and her two-faced nature was kinda attractive to me. But, well, I really wasn't in a position to think about what came after the mist cleared.
春秋
I
様
wish to talk to you, Haruaki-sama.
あ
Oh,
す
sorry,
み
I'm
ま
a
せん
bit busy here.
ちょ
す
I am sorry, my apologies. I was making dinner with Kaori-san. I'd invited her to do it so we would be well fed and ready for tomorrow. Of course, this was to distract her from reality. I didn't want her unpleasant nature to take over and make her throw an aconite into the food, so I took it upon myself to cut the veggies. As I worked, I watched what was going on at the dining hall. I could see most of their faces from the counter. Last time, the first day was relatively peaceful, but this day was even more relaxed. Give me them cheeks, boy. I haven't heard that in so long. You did it wrong. There we go.
Give me them cheeks, boy.
Fuck yeah. Game was awesome. Tae-san's incessant prayers and Kanzo-san's continual state of high alert made it a bit uncomfortable, but that was it. What up, Nikolai? Welcome in. I have to pee. I'm like kind of distracted. One reason for the good atmosphere here was the fact that no one had died yet, so it was still possible that it was just some sort of sick joke. Another reason was the presence of the one who died all the previous times, Hashimoto-san. He was a master at helping everyone lighten up. I could even include Mamiya-san as a reason. Hashimoto-san was alive, and she wasn't a wolf this time, so she wasn't hysterical like in the previous loop. Though she was writing something with a troubled frown on her face.
キューちゃん
Gathering
は
material, I
取
assume?
材の
記事に
I'm
す
not
るか
sure
は
it'll
わからない
turn,
から
I'm not sure
今
I'll
のとこ
turn
ろ
this
は
into
ノ
an
ーで
article, so I'll
た
go
だ
with no
興
for
味
now.
深いことは興味
It
深い
was
ですね
interesting though.
オカル
The
ト
occult.
ええあまり
Yes, I
日
just
本
thought that
的じゃないな
the
と
local
思いま
story
して
doesn't
こ
seem
この
very
話
Japanese.
ほ
Oh, I'm a bit
そ
interested
れ
in
はちょ
that. Can I even talk about this?
これ
Won't my take on the
続けても
local
大丈
legends
夫です
upset you?
どうか
Who
な
knows? I'm kind of
私
interested.
は普通
俺は別に興味ね
でも
I don't have anything
ま
better
あ
to do.
暇だし。りっちゃ
What
んは
about you, Richan? This is your
一
thing,
応
right?
こういう
いえ
No, we're concerning the divine as the
真
Miguruma's
珠はめぐるま
responsibility.
家の役で
But I would
す
be lying if I said I was not interested.
でも
Things are going just like they had last time. Everyone was interested in what she had to say, and she revealed her knowledge about God slaying and servant
少し
worship.
興味があります
Sasano beating Orochi, Aesop's fables, Yomatsu Okami, aka Izanami. Then Taesan became upset, just like last time. The only difference was that I wasn't involved in the conversation.
OK です
Okay, let's leave it at
ここ
that.
までに
Though
しま
there's
しょう
something that has me curious.
ここで歌われてい
I want you to tell me
る
about the
わ
song
らべ
that's
歌
sung
みたい
here.
な歌について教えていただきたいん
She
です
herself mentioned it, huh? Oh, she's gonna bring up the badger now? It led to just about the same words as last time. Amiya-san pointed out how the lyrics had a lot to do with the feast. She began questioning the parts she didn't understand, such as the badger. And Kiyonosuke, she, among others, answered her.
興味深い話だけど
It's strange that the badger disappeared. I wonder why.
無
The
事
thing I
なだ
pointed
け
out
今
last
に
time was
残
not
ってい
pointed
な
out
い
by
のは
Hashimoto-san.
不自然
He
で
and
気
Mamiya-san
になるな
continued examining the relationship between prayer to Shinai and the feast. Tae-san mentioned that the badger was a servant of the Okami-sama and that there was a statue in the Shinai shrine. She also talked about the late Gensan's words, the badger's waiting for the Okami-sama to return.
なん
I
だ
have a
か
bad feeling about
い
this.
る
What
気
if
が
there's
す
a
る
badger
な
among us?
無
He
事
raised
な
the
は
same suspicions as
こ
I
の
had.
中牧島さんが前の宴に参
Participated
加
in
し
the
てたっ
previous
てこ
feast,
と
and
な
this
ら
Gensan must have
そ
been
の
there
現
too.
その時
They
に
had a
ム
badger
ジ
there,
ナ
and
が
he might
出
have
てき
left
た
that
か
out.
ら
Left
遠
that
回
as
し
an
な言い
indirect
方
warning.
で
Come on, Hashimoto,
なん
let's
で
just
す
guess,
それ
right? Well, I
そう
guess
だ
there's no
ね
conclusive evidence.
少し決め
Now
手
it
に
was time
か
for
ける
something new.
狼よもつ狼
Yomatsu
Oh.
Okami, great god. Hashimoto-san, I think I realized something amazing.
何か
I'm
な
listening.
の
This might
今
feel
更なん
abrupt,
です
but
が
do any of you know the
新内
origin
明
of the
神
name
の新
Shinai?
内という名の由来っ
She'd
て
be curious
どな
about
た
this
かご
Akami
存知ですか
Fujiyoshi too. What of it though?
新内さ
I'd
ん
heard that Mount Shinai is
公式には
officially
猿
Mount
なし山
Sarunashi.
という名らしいから
Saru
ね
probably became Saru,
猿が
while
猿
Nashi became
な
Nashi.
しがなしに置き換わったのだろ
That's wrong, Nosato-sama. Shinai-sama has always been Shinai-sama from the start. The authorities just changed the kanji and the Meiji period because it was hard to read.
う
The other way around, eh?
つまりもと
So
も
it
と
was
新
always
内だっ
Shinai.
た
Yamawaki-san, do you know where it
山脇さん
comes from?
そ
I don't.
多
It's
分
probably a
こ
kanji
れは
trick.
漢字トリックです
Mamiya-san ripped out a page from a notepad and put it on the table.
新
Shinai, the Nai kanji
内
is
の
made
漢
up
字
from
は
the kanji for
大
big
と
and
示すで
show.
なっています
So it's a big, big show. She wrote down the relevant kanji.
これを
When
組
you
み
switch
替え
them
ると
around, then she wrote down the kanji for big, then show to the right of it, and then shin to the right. And the result was
神の武士は示す
to the
編
left side of the
実
kanji
際
for
に
God, there's
給
a
字は
radical
神
for
だし
show.
つまりこれ
And
は
it's even more
狼
obvious in its old form. This means that the result of Ukami, great God,
新
Shinai-sama
内様
equals
イコー
Okami-sama.
ル
Isn't that the
狼様
intention?
ということじゃないです
Pure nonsense! Tae-san shouted hysterically. You could hear in her voice that she was shaken up. Of course she would be. According to Yasumizu's legend, the humans and servants killed the wolves, the Okami-sama. However, it reinforced my theory. I had lots of clues that led me to think the Okami and Great Lord Shinai were one and the same. His use of the corruption was one thing. Another thing was the fact that he was neutral in the battle between humans and wolves, or Yomibito and wolves. Yet another thing was the local outlook on life and death. If people went to Yomi upon death, they would go there regardless if they were hanged or killed by wolves. That was why they said, "Rise not." It meant go to Yomi and don't return. However, in the Shinai faith, the mountain was a place where corpses were buried, so it wasn't strange for it to be considered the same as the world of the dead.
ともかく
Anyway,
イザナミ
Izanami
が
lost
多
her
くの
life
神
after
を産む
birthing
過
many
程で
gods,
躍命
and
し
after a lot
知
of
ったも
trouble
んだの
ended
果
up
てに
becoming the
根の
goddess
国
in
を支
control
配
of
す
the
る神とな
Ninokuni.
った
根の国
Nenokuni?
黄泉の
Another
別名
name for
は
Yomi, the
根の
underworld. There's
片
also
す国とも言う
Nenokutatsu,
海の向こうにあると
Katatsu
も
Kuni.
言うし根の
Some
国
say
に
it's
黄
somewhere
泉と
beyond
いう
the
場
sea,
所が
while
ある
others
とも
think
言う
that
けど
Nenokuni is just a place within Yomi. Maybe I was reading into this too deeply, but Nenokuni, country of roots, gave me an image of the underground of a tree-covered mountain. Wait,
Mate,
so that's
mate.
not a stretch?
そりゃ
What's
こ
the
じつ
point
け
in
じゃね
hiding
え
the
のか
great god side of Okami
Right.
anyway? Maybe
そ
they
れ
did it
こ
so
そ
there wouldn't be
大
any
神神
confusion
社と
with
差別化を図
Omiwa
ったのかもしれないし
Shrine, or maybe they
神道
warped
に
it
組み込むために
to incorporate
難
the
解にひねったのかもしあるいは
or maybe they
信
needed it
仰を
to hide,
隠す
or
必
maybe
要
they
があっ
needed to
た
hide
と
the
か
faith.
信仰
Hide the faith.
例
They
えば
could have been in a
狼様を
situation
大
where
っ
they
ぴら
couldn't
に信
worship
仰
their
できないよう
Kami-sama
な
in
状
public,
況が
so
あっ
they
て
had to hide it.
別の信
They
仰
might
の
have
形
protected
を
the
とっ
faith
て
by making
信
it
仰
change
を
shape,
守る
like how during
例え
the
ば
Edo ban on
江戸期の
Christianity,
キリシタン
early
禁止下に
Japanese
おける
Christian
マリア
worship
観音
Maria
とかね
Canon instead.
それに
Also, it's
神様の
unusual
一
for
の
a god
使い
to
が
be
神
servant
様
to be
本人
confused
と
for the
混
god
同される
himself.
衝突を恐れ
This
ずに
might
言
not
う
sit
と
well with some of
伝
you,
説
but
や
legends
神
and
話は
myths can
よそから
change
の
not
拝
just
借
through
だけじゃなく
borrowing
政治的
aspects
な
from
要
one
因
of,
も
from
強
other
く影
legends
響
and
して
myths, but
変
also
遷して
through
いくの
political events.
古代
There was a
神
time
話
when
と
myths
政治
and
は強
government
固に
were
結び
closely
ついて
tied,
い
so
たから
myths
こ
had
そ
to change whenever
政治のあり
politics
方が
did.
変わり集落の
If
合体によっ
settlements
て
merged, their
それぞ
gods
れが
would
報
marry,
じてい
while
た
gods
神
of
様が
places
結婚した
annexed
り
through war would
戦
become
争
the
で併合さ
conqueror's
れた側
gods,
の神
servants
様
or
が
demons.
あるいは
Or
か
maybe
つて
they'd
別
merge
々だっ
separate
た
gods
神
into
様を
one,
同じ
people
存
shaped
在
them
だって
according
こ
to
と
the
にした
power
りね
balances of their day.
強力な
That's
神
why
や悪
powerful
魔ほ
gods
ど
and
異
devils have
象
many
や
other
変化
names,
化
forms,
身
and
がたくさんあるの
incarnations.
はそのため
These are remnants of
忘れられた
long
信仰
forgotten
がいくつ
faiths.
も今日残っているのはそういった事情でねじ曲がって伝えられてきた伝承や神話
The legends and myths that have lived in this day survived through countless such changes. Of course, they would have contradictions.
だから
With that in
も
mind,
ち
if
ろん
you look at
真
it
実
from
は
that
わからないけ
perspective,
ど
the
これで
meaning of
信
prayer
頼
to
モードの
Shinai
歌を
changes
読
a
み解
lot,
くと
though I don't know
だい
the
ぶ
truth,
意味
of
が
course.
何しろ
After all, the
歌
song
には
doesn't mention
狼
anything
と
about
お守り
wolves
の
or
対
guardians
立
being
関係が
opposed to
書
each
かれて
other.
ない
That was true.
例え
Now,
ば
if Okami or
狼イコール
Shinai-san
新内
were
さん
still
は
on good
いま
servant
だに
master
4つ
terms with the 4,
いや
no, 5
5つ
guardians,
怪しい
perhaps
読み
he gave
人
people
と
the powers of
人
the
間に吹
guardians
き込
and
み
used the song
加
to
護を与
inspire
え
them
る
to
こと
fight
で
Yomibito.
相争わ
In
せてい
other
る
words, among
とかかし
themselves.
ら
She went that far with this audience? Apologies, but hearing that is not pleasant at the least. Exactly, don't talk like you know more than us. Naturally, Kako-san and Tae-san had something to say about that.
ああ
Oh, we are truly
これは
sorry.
す
We
み
are
ません
inquiring into these legends and myths
僕
because
ら
they
と
seem
して
credible.
は出な
If
き
they
ゃ
didn't, we wouldn't have
そもそも
participated
こ
in
んな
this
こ
and
と
instead
に
insisted
参加
on
して
leaving
も
and
い
calling
ない
the
し
police.
私がその
That's
役
kind
し
of
て
what I'm
ます
doing
ね
right now.
芹
I'm
沢さ
saying
ん
you're
は
half trustworthy,
半信半疑って
Serizawa.
と
No
こ
one here
ろ
is
か
actually
な
suspicious as
実ただ
But it
ム
just
ジ
so
ナは
happened that
伝
the
説か
badgers
ら
almost
抜け
left
落
out
ち
of the
かけて
legend.
いた
Both the legend and the feast rules
伝
were
説
transferred
も
through word of
宴の
mouth.
一
We're
番
simply
怖
afraid
い
that
の
you
は
two, despite your
伝
extensive
承に
knowledge of the
詳しい
legends, happen
山
to
脇
miss or
さん
forget
や
something
植松
important.
さん
そんなも
It
の
is true
な
that I
い
cannot deny the possibility completely.
植松
Uematsu
様
but
まあ
well, at its
た
core, it's
だ
more simple
話
than it
はそん
seems.
なに
Yasunaga-kun.
難しくはない
Was
と
it?
思う
Oh, yes.
僕
We
らは
agreed
さ
that
っき
humans wouldn't lie.
もし
But
人
if
で
there
あ
were
る
a
にも
human that
かかわ
sided
ら
with the
ず
wolves, a
狼
badger
に
basically, he or
そ
she
の
would
人
surely lie to do
と
or do something drastic for
狼
the sake of the
様の
wolves.
ため
Don't
に
you
嘘
agree?
をつくか
そ
That's
う
true. Even if it
で
has
すね
nothing to do with any badger, we
ム
should
ジ
be
ナがど
wary
う
of
とか
such
が
a
なくても
case.
でも
嘘つき
A
や暴れ
compulsive
た
liar
や
is
つ
an
は
ally to the
たとえ
wolves,
人
even
で
if
も
they're
狼
human.
の
We'll
味
hang them on
方
the spot, right?
だから問答無
Your
用で
Tsuyu
くれ
friend, who
ば
had
いい
been sitting at the corner of
そう
the
いう
room
こ
and
とだろ
staring at a wall in boredom, suddenly spoke up. He wasn't wrong in the least, which was probably intended by Hashimoto-san.
どうや
It
ら
appears we
本
will have
格
to
的
avoid
に
doing something we would
後ろめ
regret.
それは
That's true.
言
You
わ
don't
れ
have to
ん
tell
の
us. We all live honest lives.
新内
Shinai-sama is
様は
watching over us always.
いいです
I like that.
ね
It's a
素
simplistic
朴で
faith that brings out the best of
人間性
humanity.
にまっすぐ
With
訴
that, I
える
finally
ような
understood
信
something.
仰だ
Yudai Hashimoto is the same type of person as me. He controlled people through speech and manipulated their emotions through words to put himself in an advantageous position. The difference between us was that his conscience, presence, and persuasiveness were far above mine, and he was was a human, an enemy to us wolves. Haru-chan was in a seat near Yasunaga-kun and Mochi's, not saying a word. Pretending to pick something up from the counter, I crouched down and looked at Kaori-san. With her back to everyone, she cut veggies, and though her expression wasn't as bad as before, it was still full of anguish and unease. Time passed by as everyone chatted, ate a larger dinner than ever before, chatted a bit more, then split up. The only notable thing was the moment when Mamiya-san tried to ask Kanzo-san about the previous feast. Hashimoto-san stopped her, though. I noticed Haru-chan make a face, and a part of me was relieved by that. The previous feast took her parents, and it was the same time she went into the mist and lived to tell the tale. It had been bad if she'd gone crazy again. Hashimoto-san seemed to have noticed that possibility, so he stopped Mamiya-san to prevent it. Was it really good to help him survive? A part of me actually believed that. Sure, without him I'd been a human and survived the feast, but it didn't solve anything. Becoming a wolf and making an enemy out of him was just an unfortunate side effect that came with letting him live. and I just had to accept that. After dinner, right when everyone was preparing to split up, Hashimoto-san whispered something to Takumi-san. Takumi-san's expression suddenly turned serious. Hey guys, listen up. Apparently, Hashimoto-san had told him he should say something, and Takumi-san did exactly that. We didn't hang anyone today. That's why, even if there are wolves among us, I want to believe they won't kill anyone tonight. If that happens, we won't have to hang anyone tomorrow either. That ain't happening. Maybe you're right. But if it does happen, it means that one of us here will be gone for good. These will be your final moments together. Keep that in mind and tell them everything you have to. You'll have less regrets that way. Bright mood suddenly changed. The mood turned heavy as everyone exchanged handshakes and gave their thanks to each other. Chiemi, Haru-chan, even Yoshitsugu-kun became teary-eyed as Kaori-san said these words to her son. If I'm gone tomorrow, live strong, you two. She was a wolf, but her words were so honest that they both listened without a word. The village heads here seemed lonely, giving Tae-san and Takumi-san fuel for doubt, while Mochi talked to the old wolf guy. It was a moment when their relationship became very clear. Oji-chan. One particularly impactful moment was when Haru-chan approached her lonely-looking grandfather. Her eyes were still red from her goodbyes with Yasunaga-kun and Mochi. If I don't wake up tomorrow, ain't happening. For a moment it looked like he knew what she was, but then... No way, you yourself said that wolves will kill. Are you trying to be nice to me by lying to me alone? Kanzo-san didn't know how to respond, a rarity for him. I don't need that, so just listen. If I die, try not to drink too much, even if I'm not here. Kanzo-san slowly extended his hand to her, but it was too late. Haru-chan had already turned around. A grandfather and granddaughter were both awkward beyond belief. After watching their exchange, I was actually relieved that Haru-chan didn't say anything she shouldn't have, which made me question my own humanity again. Yasunaga-kun must have been in a similar state of mind the first time. Feeling sympathy for the first wolf I'd encountered, I gave Chiemi, who'd approached to give her goodbyes to me, some half-hearted nice words. I'd done the same for Rikako-san, who'd finished the exchange with a silent but resolute farewell. I'll forgive you for what happened during the day. Don't want to leave any regrets floating around if we don't meet tomorrow, huh? Yeah. That was that with Haru-chan. The disgrace of my name was cleared, and she now neither disliked or liked me. God, that shit was wild. Sorry for taking your time. Good night, people. Takumi-san nonchalantly concluded the event. Everyone silently began leaving the dining hall. I hope you come back too, Fusashi-san. We were done with the after-dinner cleanup, so I had no reason to stay behind. I didn't sense anyone in the mist, but that was because I couldn't, not because there was no one there. Everyone was probably using this as a chance to have secret talks they couldn't, or just silently listening for those. It was probably a good idea to thank him. I'd heard someone's voices near the stairs to the dorm. Mamiya-san was talking to Hashimoto-san right where she died last time. How serious are they? Clearly, I would say that means we'll be killed if we act suspicious. Like every journalist knows, the scariest thing in the world are humans. Yes, even in occult matters, when someone dies and there's proof, it's always done by humans. Excuse me. I considered eavesdropping, but it'd have been bad if they noticed, so I called out. Sashi-kun, you scared me. I'm sorry, Hashimoto-san, thank you for what you did today. I did something? If things continued like they did, I would have been killed. Well, if that happened, we would have surely been next. That's true, but really, thank you. No need for that, you helped us when the mist came, so let's consider it even. Okay, but it is really bad to walk around at night? It seems like a good time to escape. I suggested that too. I don't think it's a good idea. I've never seen a mist so dense. You'd get lost if you went to the mountain at night. It might be small, but it's still dangerous. Also, the residents here consider that a taboo, and they're probably the bigger danger. Do you think they'd attack us? No, I don't think so. It's just that belief can sometimes make people see illusions. If we're surrounded by those who believe, we will eventually join their ranks. From my experience, the best thing to do in these situations is to distract yourself by trying to think about something else. Those are some meaningful words. You don't believe in any legends, do you? I don't think about whether I believe or not. That's something for the specialists to think about once they've assured their safety. Right, Kyu-chan? I don't know. I'm not sure if I can make an article out of this. Personally, I just want to leave this place in peace. I see. I hope that happens. That was the end. I bid them goodnight and went on my way. I hadn't met anyone else on my way back to the prefab. Yoshitsugu-kun didn't invite me to go out at night, and neither Chiemi-chan nor Rikako-san visited to have a talk. They were probably satisfied with their goodbyes in the dining hall. Everyone used to struggle at this time because they hadn't felt like they'd done everything they had to. This time was different, though. Everyone was calmly waiting for the wolves to strike, fully ready for it. The humans were in the perfect mental state. There was nothing for them to worry about. And it was all because of Hashimoto-san. Then there was the exchange just now.
Ah.
Well, if that happened, we would surely have been next. To me, that sounded like, I didn't do it for your sake. No need for that. You helped us out when the mist came, so let's consider it even. And that was like, you sure helped us at a strange time, huh? He seemed reasonably suspicious of me. Was I just overthinking it? No, that would be overly optimistic. It was clear to me that he'd made it past the first day better than anyone so far, even myself. If he was that talented, he must have already analyzed the situation and noticed that something was strange. They happened to have their tires burst, then been given rooms, and given caught up in the feast. It was clearly orchestrated, and I was the only one who stood out as a suspect. I'd been chosen by a village head, joined them in their van, and actively gave them a place to sleep. The situation was made even worse by the fact that they were right, and that I was a wolf. Since I couldn't mention the looping, I couldn't really say that I was their savior. Not only that, but he was the monkey. He'd secured a good role in relationship with the others, and had a surprisingly keen eye and mind. He'd have been an extremely reliable ally. I really appreciated it when he presented the idea that we shouldn't hang anyone today. After all, at that moment, just like Kanzo-san, I thought that not hanging anyone was foolish. Thus, I thought that he was foolish too. But now, because of his idea, everyone became somewhat ready to accept someone's death, and to unify to defeat the wolves responsible. He'd also succeeded in preventing the lynching way smoother than I. I could only create a stalemate while he actually talked the people into voting for or against hanging. Kanzo-san didn't want to look like he broke, so he didn't change his opinion, but he was still... so he hadn't changed his opinion, but he was still pretty accepting of the idea to not hang anyone. Hashimoto-san did it with great finesse, and it was something I couldn't do. We'd eventually find out if it was a good thing or not, or rather, they'd decide based on what we wolves did today. However, I'd already felt like I was falling behind him. Would I really have to defeat him? There was Mamiya-san too. She was way more stable and smart than last time. The way she pointed out that Shinai was probably Okami, or great god, showed that she would be extremely useful in finding out the truth. She'd also noticed and mentioned the badger without my help. She probably noticed it last time too, but hadn't mentioned it because she was a wolf. This time, with Hashimoto-san's suggestion, they decided that they would hang all liars, regardless if they were wolves or the badger. That was a smart move. It kept the humans from lying just for the sake of it, and countered the badger whether it existed or not. They were a pretty balanced pair. Mamiya-san was blunt and straightforward, while Hashimoto-san gently reproved her, and provided only the best solutions. They were a much better team than I'd expected, and the fact that they were enemies was pretty bad for us. As a wolf, I had to consider the other humans too. Especially the brothers. After all, their mother, the demon who tried to kill everyone and swallowed her last words for their sake, was a wolf this time. If I didn't go about this the right way, I would be the one to die. Hao-chan probably wouldn't want to kill Yasunaga Kanemochi either. Kanzo-san was her family too, but I wasn't sure about their relationship. Still, I didn't think she'd want to kill him. And finally, could I really kill Chiemi and Rikako-san? Though it was all made void by the looping, they liked me and I liked them. Would I really whisper sweet nothings to them during the day, only to kill them at night? I didn't want to do that. That thought was my last before my consciousness faded. Huh? I jumped up, throwing the blanket to the side. Why was I asleep? Didn't I have something to do as a wolf? I could feel myself turn pale and realize I just made a huge mistake. By the next moment, I noticed something that terrified me in a whole different way. There was something next to my legs. Unable to understand what was what, I let fear take control and pathetically backed away. Nothing was happening. I reached into my bag, took out a flashlight I got from the convenience store, and turned it on. What the hell was all this? It looked like the parts of a costume, particularly the kind used in action hero shows. No, that didn't seem right either. It was like some sort of traditional ritual clothing. Racers, tabi, straw zori, a faded kimono, and a hakama. All of it smelled awful, like half-dried laundry being boiled. There was something that stood out more than the rest. It was a kimono underskirt with some blurry sutra-like text on it. There was another piece of cloth with similar text on it, and it was connected to something weird. Oh, was this a mask?
我だ
A noble giveth you. You shall wear this and cleanse yourself. Right. This thing had told us to wear this. We were supposed to put this on and cleanse ourselves. The bad smell made me really apprehensive. Didn't they have the order wrong? Didn't cleansing come before putting on sacred clothing? That reminded me that I hadn't cleansed myself before sleeping. Wasn't that bad? Remembering the situation, I checked the time again. The phone I charged with the battery showed it was 10 o'clock. Great Lord Sheena had momentarily put me to sleep to bring this thing here. What if I hadn't woken up? Man, were they treading a fine line here. That aside, I was basically being told to put this on and go outside. I gathered my resolve. Jesus. Was this good enough? Though the lighting here was poor, there were fewer pieces than I thought, so I could put it on without much trouble. It was unexpectedly well designed, and from what I could tell, it was hand sewn. The mane, did wolves even have those? Seemed to be made of rice straw. It didn't seem cheap at all, and though I couldn't be sure, it seemed to be designed to look divinely imposing. The mask seemed to be a wooden carving with an insane amount of detailed work put into it, a true masterpiece. By the time I put it on, I didn't care much about the smell. It wasn't hard to move it or anything. The inscribed cloth on the bottom was connected to the belt, and I put it on like it was a traditional grass skirt. It wasn't a big hindrance on running or anything. The cloth connected to the mask hid the face like some kind of stagehand's clothing, and I could only see ahead through the gaps between them. The wolf-like mask itself was simply resting on my forehead. As I put it all on, I found a bucket with a ladle amongst the items. It was full of water, and I knew I had to cleanse myself with this. I was a bit apprehensive about this, but I took some water and poured it on my head. It jumped off the rice straws, making my shoulders wet and spreading across the area. Was I doing it right? I was still worried, but just putting it on was meaningless, so I put my hand on the door and sent something bad outside. It wasn't anything vague like bloodlust or evil mojo. It was sounds I could actually hear. It was grass being parted. I heard the sounds of something walking through the sand. Shallow breathing, low growls, distant roars full of malice. It reminded me of the time I was locked in the outhouse and I sensed something bestial inside. This was exactly the same as last time. There was something outside. Lots of them, in fact. Last time I'd only survived because I held the door shut when something was about to open it. And I had to go outside this time? They'd be okay just because I was wearing this? No way. It seemed like a sick joke. Oh, but I really wanted to see it. What a familiar sensation. Just then the doorknob clattered.
妻子
Are you awake?
起きてるの
I still heard beasts outside, but the voice clearly belonged to a girl, Haru Makishima.
春
Haru-chan.
気安く呼ばないで
安全
Is it safe?
ちゃんと路
If
面
you
つ
wear
け
the
て
mask and
み
cleanse,
そぎしてれば
was she telling the truth? Was it really her outside? Even if it was some sort of illusion, if I didn't open, my presence in this flow of events would be pointless. I fired myself up and unlocked the door. Whoa. The moment I opened the door, I saw a short wolf that scared me like
う
hell.
るさいな
You're too loud.
春ちゃんで間違い
そうですよ
Yeah, look.
ほら
She moved the cloth covering her face, and sure enough, it was Haru-chan. She was clad in a wolf outfit and had the bucket and ladle in her
あな
hands.
たもそれ
You need to
持
take
たな
yours
きゃ
too.
これ持ち運ぶ
Bringing
の
these?
うん
Yeah, we need to spread
常に
water
巻
as
か
we
ないと
go. She took some of the bucket and spread it behind her. This action was followed by squealing sounds. I felt something squirm and run off.
何
What
が
was that?
汚れの運
Bringers
び
of the
手
corruption. She spread some more water. This time on me. Ah, it's cold. Hey, what are you doing?
何すんの
She repeated it a couple times with great intensity to boot.
何って
Because they haven't cleaned herself at all. I was
そ
supposed
ん
to
な
be
に全
completely
身
drenched.
びしょびしょにならないとま
As
ずい
if
の
she felt that explaining it was pointless, she just touched the cloth near her waist. Sure enough, it was completely wet. Can I ask something?
何
What?
それが
Assuming
正し
that's
いや
how
り
you're
方だ
supposed
と
to
し
do
て
it. How did you know that?
なぜか
I'm
な
not sure why, but I just
わかる
know.
何か隠してない
隠してない
同じ狼な
Both
ら
wolves. You
隠し
shouldn't
事
hide
は
anything.
何が
What are you
不安な
worried
の
about? Those words shut me
ま
up.
あ
Well, I get how you
気持ちは
feel.
わかる
I've
けど
calmed down already, so you'll soon
私は
be
もう
used
落
to
ち
this
着いた
too,
か
I
ら
think.
分かった
Alright. I wasn't satisfied, but I backed down anyway.
ところでデスマス言葉
By the way, if
慣
you're
れて
not
ない
used
な
to
ら普
talking
通でいいよ
polite, you don't have to.
慣れ慣れ
Please
しか
don't
し
act
ない
like
で
we're close. Let's go.
ください。
Kaori-san is waiting. Yeah, the
行きましょ
chasm
う
between us is wide.
香織さん
Or
待
maybe
ってるし
Chiemi and Rikako-san were just too easy. Apparently, Haru-chan had walked through the mist without any light. I took out my small
何
flashlight.
それ
What's that? It's so
かっ
cool.
こいい
And was met with a weird reaction.
あげる
You
よ
can have it. I have another
一応
one.
2つあ
I'd
るし
prepare them in case I'd ended up running away with someone at night. I sure as hell hadn't expected to be a wolf, though.
嘘
Whoa, really?
うん
Yeah, it's dangerous in the dark. How did you get to me anyway?
安水の
I
道
know
なんて
Yasumi's
覚
passed
え
by
てるし
heart. Made sense. It was dangerous regardless, so I just gave her one and showed her how to use it.
ただ
Just make sure
み
no
んな
one
に
knows
バレ
about
な
it.
いよう
It'd
に
be
ね
really bad for us to
夜
find
出
out
歩
we
いて
walk
るなん
around
て
at
バレ
night.
そうで
That's
すね
true. Alright.
分かっ
She
た
spread some water again, then put the ladle back and took the
代わ
flashlight.
りに
You
時
spread the
々
water
撒いて
now.
ください
She led me through the dark path. I could barely see anything, but I did sense something bestial in the darkness. It was clearly hostile towards us, and several of them were surrounding us from a distance. However, they didn't come any closer. They also backed away if I spread some water. The flashlight could barely make it through the mist, so it didn't help to see anything in the distance. It was pretty useless, to be honest, but Haruchan seemed to like it. She also swung it around like a sword, or rather, a lightsaber. Who are these bringers of corruption anyway? Actual Japanese wolves, perhaps? Every now and then I saw eyes light up in the mist. Besides that, I also heard growls and the sounds of something stepping in the sand. Dogs, right? That had to be it. Yasumizu is completely full of dogs right now. That expression made it seem adorable. But, seriously? No way. If my assumption was right, this situation was way scarier than some simple supernatural phenomenon. I continued spreading water, too much of it, all the way here. All the way there. That explains why,
久石さん
Yoshitsugu had a mouthful of hair as he bit a dog. Usaishi-san! A wolf of the same stature as Kaori stood up from the chair in the dining hall. It was very surreal.
久石です
Yes, I'm Fusaishi. You're
Kaori-san.
Kaori-san, right?
え
Yes, I was
ちょ
a
っ
bit worried.
ともう
By
着
the
替
time
え
I
てて
came, he'd
出
already
るところ
changed
だ
and
った
was
み
about
た
to
い
leave.
差し支
You
え
didn't have any
なく
problems?
え
Not really.
えなん
Did
と
you
か
also know how all this works?
Eh.
Yes, I have no
ど
idea
うし
why,
て
but
か
I just knew.
まあ不思議
It's
だけど
strange, but I probably had something to do with Shinai-sama, with what Shinai-sama
あ
said.
れ
There were
3
three of
人い
him,
ま
right?
したよ
Is
ね
it supposed to be like that?
それ
I don't
は
know.
昼
The journalist
記
said
者の
that
人が言っ
Shinai-sama
てた
was
で
a
しょ
kami-sama. Maybe that's
シ
why
ナ
we
イ様
have
は
three of them.
私らは
That means that there are
狼様から
guardians,
直
one for
接
each
か
of us.
それで
Good
君
enough
ら
for
はな
you?
だって
I mean, you saw them,
見たじゃ
right?
ない
Right. That strange experience did actually seem supernatural. People tend to accept anything they can see.
では
Then shall we
行き
go?
え
Huh?
ど
Where?
こにです
殺し
To
に
kill. Wait, what?
香織さん
We have to decide
誰
who to
殺す
kill
か決め
first.
ない
Oh, that's true.
そうだ
I
っ
guess
た
I'm in
な
a bit of a rush.
今日の
Looking at
宴の
today's
感じ
feast,
見たらや
Oji-chan is probably the best
っぱ
choice.
匠
I
さん
think
も
the
危
Kumi-san
ない
is
と
pretty
思う
dangerous too. Damn, they're instantly like turning on their own people? Wait, are you two
待ってくだ
serious?
さい
About what?
肉
You
親
have
を
to
殺
kill
すん
your
だぞ
family. Aren't your sons important to
息子
you?
のことが惜
She
しくないの
switched
か
and she twitched and tilted in an unnatural way. I know that. Of course they're important to me, but I have no choice.
でも
I must do as Shinai-sama says.
香織さん
Kaori-san.
君もだハ
You
ルちゃ
too,
ん
Haru-chan. Do you really want to kill Yasunaga Kanamochi?
それ
Well,
は
I don't, but
じゃあ
what else can
どう
we
す
do
れば
to
いい
run
の
away from here?
3人で逃げ出
That
すとで
really
も
wasn't the way to go. We'd get lost or killed by the monsters. The mist would just send me back to square one. All I could do here was pick one or the other. 17 and 18. I actually had to pee. So, we'll leave it here for a second. feel like there's 3 choices here because both of these are going to lead me to the wrong way. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want to look at my keys. I feel like I'm still missing a ton. 1, 3, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get 2 right here, I think. If I kill no one, I absolutely die of corruption. So I have to massacre.
僕らは
We're
狼
wolves.
だ
Wolves must kill the Yomi
狼
Biru.
は
結局
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
そうでしょ。
僕はいい
I'm fine with it. Just
あなた
wondering
た
what
ち
you
はそれ
are.
自分
You're
の
not
大
gonna
事な
stab
も
me
の
in
が
the
手に
back
か
if
か
I'm
る
about
瞬
to kill
間
someone important to you,
背
are
中
you?
僕はあな
I
た
don't
方
question
の
your faith and
信頼
your
の
Lord Shinai,
しかし
but I don't think you're inhuman
神の
enough to
一
throw
声で
away
一
your
切の人
humanity
間
just
性を
because
失え
God
るほど
told you to.
もう一度問い
Us
ます
again, we're killing them for
本当
real.
に
Are you
殺し
sure
ます
you
よ
want to do this?
いいんですね
わかっ
Alright, I'm fine.
た。いいですよ。
She went and said it.
では
What about you?
わかった。
Alright.
じゃあ
Then my words are cut off, and so is my breathing. What?
私たち
We have
は
to kill ourselves. Dude, I knew she
自
was a
分た
fucking
ちで自
psycho.
分たちを殺す
An
べきだっ
intense
た
heat
んだ。
or cold in my back.
そうすれば
Then we would rise from Yomi and I'd get to
読
see
み
them
より
again.
落ちて
When the sensation was pulled out of my body, I began to feel my life leave me.
そうすれ
Then
ば
I won't have to hurt my sons.
母
I
た
understood that
ち
she was stuck between a rock and a hard
あ
place,
の子たち
but I
を
didn't
手に
expect
か
it to
け
be
ず
so
に
bad that
済
she'd
む
resort to such drastic measures. I collapsed forward. Now, Haru-chan, hold still. Traitor! That was the last thing I heard as I choked on my own blood and breathed my last. Had I chosen the wrong way to go about it? How could I have convinced her? Well, I knew both of them would lead to death. My questions faded with my consciousness. That's like key 17. That was the name of that achievement. Moms are strong. Nice. Okay. Well, in not killing, we're gonna die of corruption, so and that'll be key 18.
殺
We
人なん
shouldn't
て
kill. Can we just not
す
do
べきじゃ
this?
ない
The rule was 1 kill per night,
殺すのは
just like with humans.
やめない
That
か
was the limit. Basically, we couldn't kill 2 or more, but there was no rule about not killing at all. Thankfully, we had the perfect situation for that.
香織さん
Get a grip,
しっか
Kaori-san.
り
This
するん
isn't
だ
something divine. It's
こ
just
れ
a
は信
terrible
託でもな
conspiracy.
それに従
You
えばあ
regret
なたは
listening
絶
to it.
対に
Your
後
body
悔する
proves it.
から、
Body?
そんなに
You're
震え
shaking
て
and barely talk.
まとも
If
に
it's
喋
so
れな
hard
くな
for
っ
you,
て
you
ま
don't
で
have to force yourself to be
信
Shinai's
頼に
servant.
幸い
Thankfully, Takumi-san
匠さん
created
は
a situation where they
こ
won't
ちら
kill
が
anyone
殺さ
if
な
we
い
don't
限り
kill first.
僕らが殺さ
No
なけ
one
れ
will
ば
have to kill anyone
殺
if
し
we
合いは
don't
起こら
start it. Really? Is that true?
え
Yes, and as long as
互い
neither
に手を
side
出さ
harms
ない
the other,
限りは
we can find a solution to
え
this.
もちろん
Of course, it'd
こ
be
の状
hard to
況で
maintain mutual
正
trust
体
in
を
this
明かして
situation,
も
but this isn't
息子
much
を殺すより
better
は
for you than
あ
killing.
なたはきっ
Wait,
と
but
前
isn't
向
this
きに
much
臨
better
め
for
るん
you
じゃ
than
ないで
killing
す
your
か
own sons?
それは
That's you're right, of course.
そうよ
I did it.
もち
Yasumizu's
ろんだ
laws weren't
わ
absolute. I just proved it, or so I thought. Felt a light impact on my side, and when blood started pouring out, I thought I was living out some kind of sick joke. A moment later, my consciousness quickly began to fade, making me once again realize that death could come out of nowhere. As I collapsed on my back, my eyes met with those of the smallish wolf, Haru-chan. Even though the cloth, I could tell they were cold, stern, and full of disgust and hatred for powerless vermin.
やっぱり
I shouldn't have expected anything from an outsider. Those words were even colder than the encroaching shadow of death.
山の
The
掟は
mountain's
絶
laws
対
are
だという
absolute.
のに
In her hand, she had a bloody grass sickle.
香織さんは
You know that, don't you,
分かって
Kaori-san?
るよね
My vision soon faded
兄
completely.
ちゃん
We must put Nii-chan and Yoshi-kun out of their misery.
私たち
At
は
first, I felt the taste of blood in my mouth, but even that was gone now. That's our mission.
私
I
らの
couldn't
使
feel
命だ
warmth or cold anymore.
いや
No, no, I won't.
じゃあ
Alright, then die.
死ね
Oh, so now it's my turn to kill them both? I stopped hearing whatever they were up to, and as my consciousness faded, I realized that I failed. Man, the wolves this time were just awful. Yeah, this is pretty rough. And that's 18. Trick them. If I insisted on killing, the mother snapped, and if I insisted on not killing, it was the girl. That experience made it impossible for me to choose either. The locals could have at least had the decency to harbor the same kind of madness. If I continued this with little tricks, it'd lead to problems in the future. And I also wanted to find a scenario in which I didn't die. Thus I decided to spend this timeline fulfilling the role of the wolf. Also, it seemed easier to create a full fanatic out of a doubter than to correct an unwavering zealot. I'll have to make Kaori-san kill her sons. For that, I needed a good story.
ね
I'm not sure if
信じて
you
もら
will
えるか
believe
どう
me.
かわか
She
らない
needed
で
a
すが
story that can match the absurd legends.
僕は
But I
ね
actually came here to
こ
save
の
this
村を
village.
救いに来たんです
It had to be like entertainment and seem like fiction, like something Rikaku-san would like. Excuse me?
救いに来た
They lended an ear to me. I had it in the bag now.
信
You
じ
might
られ
not
ないか
believe
も
this,
し
but
れ
I
ま
can
せん
see
が
things most people can't.
そのせいで
This
いろい
power
ろ
gave
面
me
倒
some
もあり
trouble,
ま
but
した
now
け
I
ど
use
ね
it to solve certain problems.
じゃあ
Then what was
要
that
は
about
お
giving
墓
up
な
on
んだ
life? A
嘘
lie.
です
A young man seeking death
若
to
者
show
が死
sympathy
のう
and
としてる
murderers.
って
I
話
often
は
needed to
田
blend in
舎
on
で
my
は
jobs.
今回は
This time I came
上
on the
藤
request
吉
of
の
someone
とあ
from
る方
Kami
の裏で
Fujiyoshi. Who, a village head?
え
Yes, I can't say
誰
who,
か
though.
詳しくは
I
言い
was
ませ
told
ん
to
けどね
investigate the supernatural phenomenon in
安水という
Yasumizu.
そこで
I
潜入
infiltrated
してみたら
Yasumizu, and sure enough, everyone is barely human.
誰も彼もが
Kaori-san
人な
gasped.
る彼らに
None of
は
them
そ
know
の
it.
自
The
覚が
boundary
ない
between Yasumizu and the
この
afterlife
安
is
水という場
indistinct,
所
so
は
neither you
あ
nor
の
they
後
realize it.
だけど
But now that the
一度
mist is
霧が
here,
出
the
たら
false
もう
peace
お
is
しまい
over,
だ
and now we must fight those
偽
who
の
fell to
兵
Yomi.
それが
That's what the
山
mountain
の
god,
神
Great
信
Lord
頼明
Shinai
神の望
desires.
み
Last night we saw what the
僕らが
wolf-faced
叫
god
ぶ
ど
wants.
うして
Why is this happening?
そんなこと
The
に
truth was less important than the ties of the real story.
元より安水は
That's
そう
the
いう
kind
場
of
所だ
place Yasumizu is.
ここの
Anyone
食
who
べ
eats the
物を
local
食べ
food
ていれば
eventually becomes a part of
いず
Yomi
れ
in
身も
both mind
心
and body.
信
That's
頼
what's
明
happened
神
to
の
Great Lord
かつ
Shinai's
てのお
guardians
守り
too.
もそうなった
They resurrect whenever the
か
mist
の
comes,
神
and
は
this god must defeat
霧
them
が
every
立つたび
time.
それならなんで
Why is he so indirect about it all?
かの神が
Because he's weak right
ひ
now.
どく弱
Let's
くなっ
arrest
てい
them
る
both.
信頼様
Shinai-sama
が
is weak?
え
Yes, after all, the mountain is
何しろ
controlled by the four-head
落ちたお
families who
守りを
worship the
奉
four
ずる
deceased
よ
guardians.
彼らも
They probably don't know
真
it
相
though,
は
and
知
they
らないん
probably
だろう
wouldn't believe you if you told
自
them that
分
their
たちの
ancestors
祖が
had
すで
already
に
betrayed their
主
god
神
and
を背
sided
い
with
てい
Yomi.
ずれは
Someone will have to deal with them too, but for now we just have to
対処しない
survive.
亀藤吉もみんな
Is everyone in Kami Fujiyoshi Yomibito
い
too?
や
No, apparently
あ
it's
く
just
まで
everyone in
安水
Yasumizu.
あなたたちは
You're the only
その
humans
中で
here. I'm not
唯一
sure
の
why
い
though.
や
No, wait.
香織さん
Kaori-san, you're not from
あ
here,
なた
are
も
you?
ともと
There's a connection
ここの
pulling you to
人
your
間じゃない
homeland
です
somewhere
ね
north of here. How did you
なんで
know?
一瞬
I just saw it.
見えたんです
That
よ
was a lie, but as someone experiencing these loops, I can easily simulate the supernatural phenomenon of knowing things before they were told to me.
じゃあ
What about me?
君は
You.
君は
I honestly don't know if I
正
should say
直
it. Huh? I was honest this time. She'd survived going to Yasumizu 8 years ago. That alone was special enough. But would she be okay to hear it? I would just buy time.
とりあえず
I'll take this, thank
これ
you. I took a small, sharp grass sickle from her hand. It didn't seem like a supernatural power exactly, but I just needed to look skilled.
よそ者
You
であ
would
る
have
僕
killed me
が
if I, an outsider, went
信頼
against
明
Great
神
Lord
の掟
Shina's
に
laws,
背く
right?
どうして
How?
荒ごとにも
I'm used to rough
慣れ
stuff
て
too.
るからね
Kari-san, you also plan to go wild with that life over there, didn't you?
そんなこ
That's
と
not true.
いや
It is. I can see a demonic
あな
goddess
た
who
の
loves her
心の
children
中に
within
は
you. What the
そ
hell
のよ
was
う
I
な
saying? They were intently listening to me at
君
least.
強く正しい
It's a
神
strong
だ
and
が
righteous goddess, but you're
今は
currently
あなたを
blinded by
盲
her.
目に
She's
している
keeping you from hurting your children
子
and
供
facing
た
the
ち
truth.
それは
外
I
来者であ
understand
る
if you
僕
don't want
が
to trust an outsider like me,
信
but
頼
as
で
you
き
can
ない
see,
気
I
持
am
ち
your
は
ally.
読み人に
I have the
こうす
skill
る
and
ための
experience needed to deal with the
スキルと
Yomibito
経験
and
もあ
know
る
it
し
must be done for that.
香織さん
Kaori-san.
い
Oh no,
や
without them,
私
my
の
life
人
would be
生は
would have been meaningless.
今
I understand that it's
言うべ
not
きこと
something
じゃ
I
ない
should
のは
say right now,
織部
but their
香織
lives
さん
don't belong to you, Kaori Oribe-san. They
旦那
aren't a
さんやその
replacement for
他
what Fujiyoshi took from you
藤吉
and what
村
you
に奪
lost
われ
here,
たもの
especially your husband.
あなた
Just how much do you...
あ
Your
なたの
husband is
右
right
肩
behind
に
your right shoulder. He's a lot like
旦那さんがい
Yoshitsugu-kun,
ます
isn't he? She began crying loudly. What a cliche act this was.
彼らは
They don't know that
自分た
they
ちが
don't know
読む
that
に
they're
落
with
ちたこ
Yomi
とも
now,
知
and
ら
they're
ず
unknowingly tainting their
ただ
souls.
彼らの
Their souls
魂
are
は
silently crying.
あなたは
As their
母
mother,
親
you
とし
must
て
rescue them. Can't you look at
彼
it
らを
that way?
あなたは
You need to survive. Leave this
生きて
place and
ここを
live
出
your
て
own life. Your husband seems to think
自分
that too.
私は
I haven't done anything willingly my whole life.
誰も責め
No
は
one
し
will
ませ
blame
ん
you.
分かっていたわ
I knew that I was only raising them and tying them down out of
私が
selfishness.
義継
I had Yoshitsugu protect protect me and wish for Yasunaga to take me away from here. I have no talent and I can't leave this place on my own. I looked at Haru-chan, worried she might pull something, but she just shrugged a bit. It's my fault they don't get along, well I know. What can I do about it? I had no idea what Kaori-san was hiding such weakness under her motherly strength. I had to ignore my guilt over taking advantage of it.
彼らだって
It's not their fault either. The
悪くは
peace
な
in
い
Yasumizu was brief, but they
仮初め
survived
の
and
平
grew up
穏
to
も
be
で
great
も
boys. But that's over now.
もうお
We
しまい
must
なん
end
で
all
す
this before the dream becomes a nightmare.
誰も悪
No
くな
one's
い
at fault. No one would hold a grudge
誰
against
も恨めない
anyone. This is more like a natural
こ
disaster
れは
than
いわ
anything
ば
else.
世
It'd
の
be
言
horrible
葉に
if
巻
that
き
were
込まれ
true.
た
Honestly, I silently
災
hoped
難
that
で
my
す
lie wouldn't become reality. I also felt that the root of all evil for her in my story were the Higuchi. They'd sent her here after all. but I kept quiet about it. Anyway, my story seemed to have captured her completely.
一つだ
One
け
thing.
一つ
Can
だ
I
け
ask just one thing?
何
What
で
is
しょ
it?
う
I had to give her something to help her gather her resolve.
どうせやるなら
If I will have to kill them,
あ
let
の
me
子
do
た
it
ち
early.
を
Let me put them out of their
早く
misery. That wouldn't be good for us. If we
楽
made
に
the
してあ
killings
げたいの
personal, someone would notice. Taking out Yasunaga-kun at the start was one thing, but following it up with Yoshitsugu-kun, would she even stay sane with them gone?
でも
But
香織さん
that's-
いいじゃない
I'm
です
fine
か
with that.
それで
Haru-chan had just silently listened for most of my story, but now she made herself an obstacle.
香織さ
You
ん
won't kill with us if we don't let you, right? I just want to put them out of their misery. That's
so
it.
you-
They've always been it. I just realized it.
そうして
If
く
you
れ
don't
な
let me do it, I will do it myself.
らしいけど
See? If Kaori-san let her emotions take over and acted independently, she'd most likely put us in a terrible situation. She'd probably prepare food with aconite. Kiyonosuke she would notice, and she'd be hanged. That'd be of no use to us. She could also use more messy methods, but no matter what they were, they'd have minimal effect. Violence needed to have a perfect timing and force behind it. In that sense, Shiemi's rampage last time was perfect.
あなたが市
If you
場
make
で
it
息子を
personal and
殺
kill
す
your
ことで
sons, you would be suspected.
構わ
I
な
don't
い
mind, even if it gets me hanged.
あなたは
Your
外に
husband
出る
wants
べ
you
き
to
だ
leave
と
this place.
いく
Even
らあ
if
の
my
子た
sons
ち
or
あ
husband
の
want it,
人
I
が
don't
そう
think I can
願
bear
ってく
killing
れ
them
て
with my own
も
hands.
僕らも困る
It'd trouble us. A single wolf's
狼が
death
一
mean
人
that
減
a
れば
third of us would be gone.
命が3
But,
分ただし
however, if
あなたの
if you
死に
leave your
方
death
を
to us, then
協力
we
し
will
ましょ
help
う
you. This was awful.
ええ
Yes, all right. It was awful.
構わな
I
い
was awful. This team was awful.
今
I don't see your
あなた
husband anymore.
あなた
Dear, I'm so sorry. Crap, Takari-san, her sons are basically a replacement for her husband. What she wanted now is basically a forced group suicide alongside her sons. That was the compromise, the overlap between the laws of the mountain and her ego. Why were humans so hard to manipulate?
それでは
Then let us start with
今日は
Yasunaga-kun today.
ええ
Yes.
Haru-chan
Haru-chan,
は
are you okay with it?
仕
Does
方
it
ないじゃ
matter?
ないですか
Ni-chan is a Yomibiro.
兄ちゃんは
You
ハ
liked
ル
him,
ちゃん
didn't you?
はお兄ちゃん
Like a
として
brother, that's it.
Ne.
If you want to slay him tonight, I won't be selfish
Kaori-
about it.
いい
What
子
a good
ね
girl. Thank you. Everyone in
ごめんな
Yasamizu
さい
was a
ね
good person. I wasn't, and to me they seemed completely insane. Mamiya-san had probably felt similarly last time. That's why she died like that. And I had no intention to follow her footsteps. I decided that I would survive, and if that required me to become the best wolf, so be it. The three of us went through the mist. The wolves parted the gray, cloudy air. It felt like I was in a plane that had flown into a cloud at night. We were careful, spreading water to keep the beasts at bay, trying not to trip or fall into the fields. Haru-chan and Kaori-san were probably just being considerate of me, though. Without me, they might have gone ahead quickly and without hesitation. Not just because they were familiar with the land, but also because they seemed just about dangerous enough. They seemed like if they decided on it, they could march straight to their grave. We were heading to the dorm. The disgusting deal with Kaori-san left us a few options to choose from. Though getting rid of Yasunaga-kun wasn't a bad choice. He was extremely supportive of Hashimoto-san, so without him the cameraman would lose some of his influence. And by shutting Hashimoto-san up, we would damage Mamiya-san too. I already knew Takumi-san and Kanzo-san's weaknesses. I had to worry about Chiemi's hidden true nature. As for Ikako-san, honestly I felt that if I did the same things as last time, she would side with me again. The rest weren't very influential though. I just had to be careful that they didn't go hysterical or on a rampage. My biggest concern right now is Mochi. It seemed entirely likely that he would know who the wolves were on gut instinct alone. Wouldn't he do something weird if he found out Haru-chan was a wolf? Though right now I was merely considering the kind of people they were, not the guardians they might have had. I could only hope that they'd went to Mako or the old wolf guy. I could only hope that they'd went to Mako or the old wolf guy. That have made them harder to control. Oh, the guardians. Something about Takumi-san was bugging me too. I can't die yet. Oh wait, here's a warning. Those with the guardians should be especially careful.
カゴを持ってい
I
る人
can't
は
die yet. He
注意
was
した
attached
方
to
がいい
Yasamizu because of Tei-san and Kaori-san, and he had his sense of responsibility as a local young leader. When you considered that, him saying that he couldn't die right now didn't really make sense. That meant he had a guardian. Yasunaga kind of realized it too, so he jumped into the conversation, just like he had done for me last time. On the first loop, Takumi-san had revealed that he was the snake on the very first day. What if that was about to happen again? Mochi was a monkey back then, and he was one now too. Though everything else was different, back then the other monkey had been Mako. However, if there was some sort of rules for deciding who would get guardians, it wasn't unlikely that they would get the same ones. If he were the snake, I'd kill him and pass myself off as his guardian. We would gain a huge We would gain a huge advantage. It was worth considering at least.
着きましたよ
We're here for
久石さ
Saishi-san.
ん
As I thought to myself, we arrived in front of the dorm. I could see the misty moonlight accentuating the building's outline. For whatever reason, I already smelled blood. It reminded me of Haru-chan and Kaori-san's brutalized bodies. That sure was terrible. Those murders ridiculed and laughed at humanity to the fullest extent. I wanted to have my boundaries when it came to that, at least. That sentiment came to mind.
ち
Blood. And faded as soon as Kaori-san said that. She was pointing at the stairs to the dorm. There was blood all over the rusty metal stairs. Why? Why was this here? Whose blood was this? Did someone forget the shelter? Where was their corpse then? Visibility was as poor as ever, but I looked around for something humanoid on the ground. A few seconds later, I finally noticed that someone was standing just a few meters ahead. I gasped, and the other wolves only noticed it a few seconds later. I quickly realized that the person there was Chami Serizawa. She had something in hand. It was a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun. When you considered her madness, it made sense. She could totally underestimate the corruption and put herself on the line to kill all the wolves by herself. It was also worth mentioning that she had a gun, a rarity here in Japan. She stood a way better chance than Yoshitsugu Oribe, whose courage only got him torn to pieces. We were only human, and that gun could instantly kill us. I hadn't predicted this. I was off guard. Right as Haru-chan and Kaori-san squealed, she raised her arm. Honestly, I was impressed. She managed to stay unpredictable every single loop. I wouldn't have stood a chance against her if I didn't have my looping. She was a joker to me. A bloody, merciless joker. Alright, I had clearly lost this time. I had to do better next time. At that moment, her lips moved. A flash. What I saw wasn't the Reaper, but a smile, lost to a crimson explosion. At that moment, I wasn't able to do anything but stand in place, completely frozen. The two behind me shrieked and clutched my shoulders, but I ignored them. Chiemi had just committed suicide. Jesus Christ! With a mischievous smile, she pulled the sawed-off shotgun in her mouth and blown her head off from the jaw up. It was insanity. This time she'd gone way beyond whatever I could imagine. What was this? What was this feeling of loss? Was I feeling it because I couldn't see her ever again in this loop? Was it despair at the fact that part of my brain was actually thinking, crap, we wasted one night's worth of murders? Or
春明さん
was it the fact, don't become, I would never be able to ask what she said? What's going on? Hey, Saishi-san, Shieni, she just...
も
We
う
can't kill today. Huh?
人
The
よ
law
り一
says that
人
we
の
can
起
only
きて
kill one per night. She probably didn't
も
have
う
a
殺せない
guardian.
自
By
ら犠牲を
sacrificing
買って出
herself,
る
she
ことで
protected the humans from losing
今日
anyone more valuable.
おそらく
She was probably just a
彼女
human
は
and
た
she
だの人
decided that this was the best way for her to
おそら
contribute
く
to her side.
自分にできる
That's
最大の
not how
貢
the
献が
rules
これだ
work.
と判
We
断
didn't
して
kill her. She killed herself. That's like corruption. So we can still kill somebody.
じゃあ
Then we
安永
can't
君
kill
は
Yasunaga-kun today.
そん
Oh
な
no.
仕方
We have
ない
no
よ
choice,
香織さ
Kaori-san.
ん
If we kill more than one, we won't be able to
二人以上の
fulfill
血
your
を流
desire
せば
either.
して
She
やられました
outplayed
ね
us completely.
乾杯です
Or did she really? I felt like I still couldn't match her in cunning no matter how hard I tried. I stayed still for a decent bit, but looked at her immobile remains within the mist.
それでは
Let's do what we have to. Yes, be careful where you walk. Good
み
night.
ちみち気をつけてお
We
や
couldn't
すみ
just
な
stand
さい
stand here, so for now we returned to the dining hall and talked. My body was completely wet, but since I'd worn the costume for so long, it actually began sweating, so taking off the mask was way too refreshing. Then, when it was time to return, Haru-chan and I once again put the mask on and left the dining hall, fully equipped. There was almost no water in the bucket by this point, but honestly, since our costumes were so wet, it wasn't like the bringers of correction would attack us.
ここまででいい
Here's good enough. The
そこ
construction
の
site
坂
is
から
right up
登っ
that
た
hill.
ら工事現場
Haru-chan
だ
said
か
that
ら
right in front of the dorm. Her tone was as uncaring as always, but her words seemed to express some consideration.
大丈夫か
You
い
okay? You're gonna walk by
知恵姉の
Shani's
死体
body.
ああ
Yeah, you sure you can handle that?
苦手だ
I
け
don't
ど
think I can. It'd probably be
という
worse
か
if I could though.
得意だっても
But it's night,
夜だし
so what? I didn't get her reasoning, though I could kind of relate to her.
じゃあ
Then let's stick with the plan.
分かった
Alright.
ちょっとは頼
Think
り
you
に
can
なりそ
trust me?
まあ
Yeah, well, maybe.
うん
Was that
そうか
enough
も
to ensure that all went fine from tomorrow onwards? I was worried, but I had no choice but to keep
Ja.
going. By then, I turned around.
あ
A voice from behind stopped me. I turned back at her. She was standing there, still clad in a smallish wolf outfit. Like before, I couldn't see her face, but I felt that something was off. at the core of it was the fact that she was laughing. Was this the... What a masterpiece. I could hardly contain my laughter when you were acting out your role. And to think you even said that Great Lord Shinai was weak. How thrilling and enthralling. You are the very opposite of God-fearing, aren't you? You're... What? Why not use the special powers you mentioned to see what I am? If you stay true to the lie, I might even become truth. Are you Haruchan? If not, then the wolf possession? My oh my, what a boring thing to hear from someone like you. You saw Great Lord Shinai within the red mist, did you not? That was just an illusion. An illusion you could see. What have you seen so far? You have breathed so much of the mountain's energy, yet you still cannot comprehend it, city dweller? You still do not understand what God is? God. Perhaps you will, when you fall, rise and see this hell many more times? Please tell me. Throwing away my shame and honor, I grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her. What are you? What's happening to me? What's causing this weird phenomenon? I do enjoy having a gentleman rely on me so intensely, but this girl might start to hate you. You're not the same person? Being questioned this much is tiring, so I will give you a single answer. There are 3 gods. Huh? I know that. The Okami-sama are 3 wolves, the parents and a child, right? You do not understand. Great Lord Shinai is a warped god made by smashing the 3 with a mallet and mixing them together. There are 2 more gods beside him, though one of them is a worthless goddess that is as good as dead. And the last one is your enemy. With that, she shoved my hands away. Looks like a fine gentleman has joined us on this dark, long evening party. Let us meet again tomorrow, city dweller. The girl dashed away and disappeared into the dark mist. I didn't hear a single sound after that. What the fuck is going on? I woke up feeling an overwhelming exhaustion. It was 5 in the morning, a time when Kanzo-san was already active. I wanted to sleep some more, but I couldn't let them suspect that I was a wolf based on the idea that I didn't get enough rest. After returning here last night, I changed my clothes, wiped my body, and wondered how I was supposed to hide the costume parts. In the end, I hid it under some newspaper, which was very cartoonish. If the humans found it just like that, I'd feel like the butt of some bizarre joke. A part of me did hope that it would be gone by the time I woke up, though. I'd gone to sleep at 2 in the morning, and sure enough, the costume was gone by the time I woke up. Well, of course it would be. If the costumes remained, you could easily find the wolves by just checking everyone's homes during the day. Last time, when I'd infiltrated Chiami's room to mess with her guns, I hadn't seen anything like this. Also, if the humans found out there was something so artificial involved in the whole wolfing business, the Omibito side of the story, that the monsters had transformed into humans, would have been rendered unbelievable. No matter how much the locals revered Yasumizu's legend, I felt like the feast wouldn't get anywhere without the fear caused by the idea that they were dealing with something supernatural. Was the thing I'd seen the first time actually Yasunaga-kun or Tae-san wearing the wolf outfit? That didn't seem far off the mark. The mist and the darkness made the costumes look extremely convincing. Maybe that was Great Lord Shinai himself as he appeared in the red mist that one time. According to Haruchan, that was a god, but... Forget that. What was Haruchan herself? How did she know about my looping? It actually seemed like she knew even about its cause. Possessed by the wolf, by the Okami, by the great god. There were 3 gods, and that had nothing to do with the Okami-sama being a group of 3. Was Great Lord Shinai a tripartite god? And one of the other 2 was my enemy? What the hell was that supposed to mean? She'd given me a lot of information, but it was all vague and uncertain. Were there mysteries and legends I still didn't know about? That'd make most of my current investigation completely off the mark. Was I missing or misinterpreting something crucial about the info I already had? God. This made me want to rely on Mamiya-san, Tae-san, or Ikako-san's knowledge, but this time I was their enemy and had to kill them all. Though this time Mamiya-san was in a decent state, so I would ask her before I got rid of Hashimoto-san. She wouldn't know the true motives behind that. Why was Chiami's face flashing through my mind every now and then? I went outside, intentionally avoiding looking at the dorm, and headed to the plaza. Kanzo-san and Takumi-san were already there, and they told me about Chiami's death. No one else was missing. Then all that blood was... Oh, well, it didn't matter. As we waited in the plaza, we were eventually joined by Kaori-san. She seemed a lot better than yesterday. Had her mind stabilized a bit once she started looking at killing her sons in a positive manner?
食事の準備をしています。
え
Yes. Oh, fuck. I'm hungry. Yesterday, we'd agreed on 5 things. We would focus on information control and gathering, as in we would avoid having secret talks and instead try to listen in on any of that the humans had. We would avoid talking about things we weren't supposed to, like the cause of Chami's death. Haruchan would contribute to the feast once, then continue being as anti-elder and anti-outsider as possible. Kaori-san would declare that she would follow Yasunaga-kun's vote and do it even if he was voting for a wolf. And finally, we would fake our guardians. However, I would be the first to act and only from the 3rd day onwards. The plan was focused mostly on keeping them from looking suspicious or doing something they didn't have to. I was apprehensive about trying to get them to go wild like Chami did and having them kill more humans. After all, I didn't have the trust or charisma for that. Of course, my final goal was my own survival, not theirs. There would probably be situations in which I had to use them as human shields, or just situations where it was an option, but I didn't want to become just a murderer. A situation where I, not Haruchan or Kaori-san, was the one suspected was the best path to lead us to victory. Also, as an outsider, I had to gain their trust and make them certain I wouldn't betray them at this feast. And on top of all that, I would survive. There had been many unexplained deaths during his turn, but there was no denial that he'd survived as a wolf. I thought about those deaths, especially Yoshitsugu-kun and Mochi's, many times so far, but I couldn't really believe that Yasunaga-kun was the one who organized them. He didn't get rid of his allies, and he stood up against Taisan, even if not as blatantly as she had when she was a human. Personally, I thought that was the right way to handle it. I had to prepare for anything while trying to make sure all wolves survived. Anyway, I was silently preparing the food. By the time it was 7, everyone besides Chami had gathered in the dining hall. Yasunaga-kun's face was pale. Apparently she'd committed suicide right in front of his room. Seeing that right after waking up certainly wasn't my idea of a good time. Especially when it was the girl you liked and respected. Mochi didn't seem too fazed by her death. He was too busy helping Yasunaga-kun cope with it. As for Haruchan, don't push yourself, sit here. Do you need a cushion or a blanket? It's fine, I'm alright. You know any herbs that make you feel better? Oh, I guess I'll look for some garlic or something. Garlic? No, stop. She was overdoing it. Wouldn't she appear unnatural? Wasn't she supposed to act even more shocked than Yasunaga-kun? Feeling uncomfortable about this, I continued prepping the food when Takumi-san spoke up. As you already know, someone died yesterday. It's Chami. Our girl died, and so soon after coming home, there was some silent noise. Kaori-san muttered Chami's name while I created a gloomy expression. You did, but I think this is weird. Can a human kill like that? It seems animalistic. Huh? Dumbass. What's wrong, Riga-san? Nothing, it's just that the only local wildlife that attacks people are boars and moon bears. Did something like that show up? That's saying it. You know anything, old man? No. That was the end of the exchange. Had she mastered blunder well? Making the wolves say things that only they could know is a good way for the humans to find them out. Mochi had fallen for it last time, and there was no guarantee I wouldn't slip up while I talked. I had to make sure I didn't fall into the same situation as she did. But beasts? Badgers? Was her body attacked by the bringers of corruption afterwards? I did take a photo. I'll say it again, delete it before you leave. If that's necessary, if you wish to see it, go ahead. I don't recommend it to sensitive people. We're about to eat after all. I really don't think any of you should look. You could tell by her expression that she'd seen it. She looked like she wouldn't touch food for the whole day. Whether we liked it or not didn't affect our chances of being found out, so I just raised my hand. Me too. He and I were the only ones who looked at it. The others surely believed looking at it would do no good. I took a look at the black monitor of Hashimoto-san's camera, an expensive digital eye model from just last year. Yeah, it was completely different from what I'd seen. It was actually pretty close to the results of the corruption I'd seen in the previous feast. It was a mountain of chewed up and torn up meat and bones. Chewed and torn up meat and bones. It made me nauseous, or at least I acted like it did. I was used to it at this point. That's awful. Oh, this isn't wolf. He'd actually said something other than the wolf was coming, even asked something. In response, Kanzo-san just grunted, clearly displeased. He wanted to use this as evidence to hang the wolves in the feast, but there were some problems. One of them was that Chiemi seemed to have died to the corruption. It didn't make sense. Chi-chan received the corruption. Yes, it appears that she had broken the law of sheltering.
でも
But there's no way Chiemi couldn't have known that. She was scared of the stories too. Indeed, how did this happen? Did she have some business with me? Was that why she was standing in front of my room? Anything come to mind? Nothing. I even felt like she'd been avoiding me. What? Was the idea that she committed suicide about to be glossed over? Was it because they didn't find the gun? That would be... Lying right now would be dangerous. Anyway, we didn't expect this. Let's eat, clean her up, and talk about what to do next. Wait, I'm not an expert, but shouldn't we preserve the scene of the crime? Would it be bad to not clean it up? To us, it's more important to get rid of the corpse in front of us than finding whoever did it. I see. Hashimoto-san. Let's just listen to them. Oh, will the cleanup be done by Muro-san and Makushima-san? Yeah. Then Kyu-chan and I will watch the dining hall surroundings. The rest of you try not to wander too far away from here. Isn't that for the best? What do you think, old man? You're the monkey, aren't you? Yes. I'll leave the patrol in Dia. Bring whatever bites. I see. Very well. Hashimoto-san pointed out the necessity for patrols. Came out as reliable. Hashimoto-san pointed out the necessity for patrols, came out as a reliable volunteer, and became even more trustworthy. On the other hand, he was giving himself away to talk to Mamiya-san in secret. Was this his way of separating her, whose identity wasn't confirmed yet, from the rest of the group? I had to calm down. The first part of his move was obviously great, but I wasn't sure about the second one. Hashimoto-san was an active player, but I couldn't tell which of his actions were intentional and which were coincidence. So anyone who can eat should just do that. I would like... So anyone who can eat should do just that. I would like to have some too. May I? Yes, certainly. Would you like some too, Takumi-san? Yeah, of course I'll have some. Can we really eat this? He had to say that now of all times? Huh? The hell are you saying? I'm not trying to be needlessly considerate. Someone died today because of superstition at that. That's why I believe we should throw away superstition and act appropriately. The hell are you talking about? You suspecting the hag? Oh dear. Unlike how he was so far, Kiyonosuke she spoke those words without any sarcasm. Had he read the mood and chosen to become the resentable but not wrong kind of character? No, he wasn't that considerate. Yoshitsugu, stop. Nosato isn't wrong this time. We're gonna mope around and shut up. Mom, you tasted it, right? Something wasn't right here. Why was everyone so sharp so early in the game? Of course. Good, Kaori-san understood what they meant. But I think I should try again. Nice, good job. No, I'll try it this time. This was my time. Everyone wanted to suspect me over everyone else, so I had to eat before they did. This was the only way to make them understand that I didn't add any poison to the food. Unfortunately for them, we weren't pulling anything like that this time. I tasted the food, then gave everyone a show of me re-washing the dishes, making them finally agree that the food was safe. We then had breakfast. Mamiya-san and Yasunaga-kun refused, while Haru-chan ate quite a lot actually, and then Takumi-san and Kanzo-san left the dining hall. Alright, I'll walk around and keep watch. There might be dangerous beasts here, so you should stay inside as much as you can. But shutting yourself in isn't good either. Consider this free time. You don't go anywhere, you can't hear anyone.
私も行くんですよね。
Anyone else want to come? Okay then, it's just the two of us. I didn't understand what his final words meant. What if accepting the offer was the right choice?
片付けましょう
Let's
か。
clean up. Okay. This is my job, so this is the right thing for me to do, right? By the time we finished cleaning up, only 5 people were left in the dining hall. Don't say offer homage! Mako, your hair is a mess. Come, I shall come in. No, don't wanna! Shut up. Tei-san was in her praying mode. Rikako-san was busy caring for Mako, who seemed in a foul mood. Kiyonosuke-san seemed to want to call her out to her, while Yoshitsugu-kun just seemed pissed. The journalists were outside, while Takumi-san, who returned for a moment, had left once again. Old man said he's gonna widen his patrol range. He basically said we're doing the feast in the afternoon. Got anything against that? Just like yesterday, no one argued. People needed reasons to not follow an already established process. Yasunaga-kun was the one who pointed that out, and... Alright, Takumini. You look really drained. Wanna talk, Yasu? Huh? Haru, Shikamochi, I'm borrowing him. Saishi, Kaori-san, I'm going back to my place. Alright. Sorry you had to be so considerate of him. It ain't that. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Aniki, dumbass, did you forget? You were prepared for this shit yesterday. Yoshi, everyone has weaknesses. If your mom was gone, you also. No, that's way too dark. You guys said that. You too, Kaori-san.
いいね
No, I was the one who had to say
私は
that.
俺は
I'm ready.
覚悟してる
Takumi-san and Yasunaga-kun left.
はるちゃ
Haru-chan, let's go grab
んその
something
辺で
nearby.
な
Huh? Okay.
霧が
You're
怖
not
かった
scared
り
of
し
the
ない
mist?
うん
Yeah, I got used to
もう
it.
平気よ
Haru-chan, acting as weird as always, left alongside Mochi. The situation was clearly set up by Hashimoto-san. Everyone split up and were free to have secret talks. What was the purpose of this? Was I just overthinking it? Were they just taking the opportunity given to them with no ulterior motives whatsoever? That's enough for now, Saishi-san. You have a rest. There's still time until noon.
休んで
A rest? Guess I'll go outside then.
みんな出て行ってしもうて
Everyone left. Don't they know that
Yomi no
Yogi's
kiri
mist
wa
is where corruption comes from?
え
There's that too. I'm
だか
kind
ら
of
ちょっ
worried, so I'll have a
と
look.
みんなが心配
Now,
で見てき
how
ま
would a
す
good wolf spend this strange time? I couldn't think of anything. Was I a dumbass? Well, I did have some ideas, but they all seemed like bad moves. Traps, basically. Could I eavesdrop on someone's secret chats? It worked when it was dark, but during the day you could see anyone within a whopping few meters. Could I just join one of their conversations? Was it best to just avoid secret chats in the first place? Was it normal for wolves to be so paranoid? A part of me couldn't help but suspect that Mochi or Hashimoto-san was hiding in the mist. I couldn't see or hear anyone, so my brain perceived this world as empty. But the unease and loneliness took over. Such situations made you feel all powerful. No one would blame me for anything I did. I could lay down in the road, go commando, shout out that I was a wolf, but all of that was just an illusion. Was this also some sort of trap to get a wolf to do something stupid? Or was this some sort of filter that caught those so paranoid that they actually believe stuff like that? Crap. I wanted to just scream and run around. I wanted to do something no one could predict. I looked up at the sky, and suddenly the ground vanished beneath my feet. Whoa. Ow. Basically, I'd walked over a small cliff. Since I was unstable and fell feet first, I ended up hitting my legs, ass, back, and head on the ground below. Even if there was no feet, someone could actually die in the mist by accident. I now knew that better than ever. As I tried to get up, I felt an intense pain in my leg. Crap, it's twisted. That was so stupid. Also, the area below the plaza was clearly out of bounds, so I was breaking the rules here. Though this was an accident, I hadn't planned myself, so I probably wouldn't draw any more suspicion than I already had. As I stood up, what are you doing? I heard a voice behind my right side, and along with something metallic. I instantly raised my hands, but the pain that came over me made me groan. I nearly fell to my knees out of pain, but I was afraid that he wouldn't tolerate any sudden movement, so I just slightly bent my body. Fell? Yes. Twisted it? Yeah, sorry, that was clumsy of me.
すみません
Another metallic sound, followed by a few different ones. I had no idea what they meant, so I just became more tense. I took out the bullets, it's fine. I slowly turned to the right. Kanzo-san now had his gun over his shoulder, not ready to fire. That let me finally relax, but my legs still hurt. I might have sprained it. Can you walk? After a little rest. Left side? Yes. Here. To my surprise, he rested the gun in a more comfortable position, then came up to me, crouched, and lent me his shoulder. He seemed much shorter than me, but that was probably an illusion caused by his posture. We were probably about equal in height. Also, his body was a whole lot more solid than mine. Every part touching me seemed to be covered in hard muscle. I wasn't too fond of the idea of being punched by this beast. Now that I thought about it, all the wolves so far were physical weaklings. They even needed guns to make it through a direct confrontation during the day. Sorry for the trouble. If you're not used to it, don't do it. Okay. Who do you think are the wolves? That wasn't like him either. He really didn't seem like the type of person to ask that kind of thing here, of all places, and from the person he trusted least. From everyone's perspective, it's me. I came at such a suspicious time.
僕なんじゃないです
You all
か
know nothing about me. You're shady, but that's got nothing to do with being a wolf. A considerate response from him? Something wasn't right here. What was I to do here? Got it. Dang, more keys. Oh! Oh, Haru-chan.
はるちゃん
The moment I said that, he stopped walking and made me put weight on my left leg, making me groan in pain. What about her? Dude, is he asking me because she's into me or some shit? Am I actually going for a third woman? I'm also pretty sure she's underage. His grip seemed to become unnaturally stronger.
いえ、
Well, she was really
昨
afraid of the
日
mist
あれだ
yesterday,
け
but
キ
now
リン
she's
に怯
not.
えて
It
たの
doesn't
に
seem like her.
しょうもない
Nonsense.
そうなんです
So it is like her?
女いうもん
If it's for men and children,
男と
women
子の
throw
た
away
めな
their
らこだわ
hang-ups.
りを捨てる
For a moment, that sounded like sexism, but then I realized it could be interpreted as criticism of men who clung to their biases no matter what. That aside, analyzing his words made it clear that Haruchan's change was because of a man.
あ
Oh,
あ、
Yasunaga.
安永くんですか。は
Does
る
she
ちゃんは
like him?
みな
Everyone's saying
そう
that.
言うとる
Everyone, huh? That was the countryside for you. Love stories had nowhere to hide. Poor Haru-chan.
でも安永
But
くんは
Yasunaga-kun was very
ちえみ
shocked
ちゃん
that
が死んでしょ。
Chami-chan died.
若い
Youngins'
者
hates
と
and
つ
loves
い
are a
た
bunch
素
of
人
trouble.
は
That never
面倒なも
changes.
んよ
He resumed walking. Basically, he was wary of any suspicions directed to his granddaughter because of some worthless, childish soap opera stuff. I could totally understand. The truth was that she was actually a wolf, and she was acting like that because she was overdoing the plan I'd set up, so the suspicions were completely right. In other words, those suspicions could fade even quicker if someone presented an even simpler story as an alternative.
あの、 実
I
は
actually
僕
was
も
kind of falling for
ちえみちゃんの
Chimi-chan
ことが
too.
少し好きに霧が
Before
出
the
る
mist
前ですけ
came,
ど、
I asked her if she was seeing
彼女に
someone,
は
and she
お
said
相手
that
は
she
いるのか
was.
で、
I didn't ask if
当
he was
然
in some
外の
other
町の
town,
方
but her
にいる
answer
のか
wasn't
と。
clear.
ただ、
But she also said that
そ
he
の
was cheating on
どう
her.
やら
So she was
相手
thinking
に
of
二
breaking
股
up
をか
with
けられ
him.
てるか
What
ら
a
別れ
sudden
ようかな。
change.
本
That true.
当か
He gripped my arm really hard, and I, grimacing from the pain in my leg, looked straight into his wrinkly face.
おい
Hey,
と、
it's true that she told me that,
聞
but
い
I
た
don't
か
know
ど
if
う
she
かな
was
ら、
telling the truth.
それに
Also, I don't know who the boyfriend is. Could
彼
be
のこと
someone
とは分
else.
かりません。違うか
After
もだ
looking
し、
at nothing in particular, he turned away from me.
安永くん
I
は
do think Yasunaga-kun
いい
is
子
a
だ
good
と思い
kid.
ますよ。
He didn't give any sort of response. Alright. I'd just sown the seeds of malice. Once I returned to the dining hall, Taeson took a look at my injury.
じゃ
He
から
told you not to go
外
outside,
出
you
ん
foolish child. I'm
すみま
sorry,
せ
it
ん。
really is dangerous. I'll just stay put now.
それ
As
が
you
いい
should.
わよ
Taeson brought a handsaw from the counter and skillfully bandaged my leg. She even put some weird leaves on my skin. Apparently they help with sprains like this. She then took a wet towel in a plastic bag and applied it to the wound. It was a substitute for ice and it worked better than you'd think. Despite this being a medical matter, Kiyonosuke refused to get involved. Orthopedics weren't his specialty apparently. The empty pride he displayed when saying that he actually calmed wait. The empty pride he displayed when saying that actually calmed me down. It was very like him.
お怪我は
It pains me to see you injured like this, but I'm glad that it does not seem so bad.
すみません。
Sorry for
ご心
worrying.
配をおかけし、
Did you break your leg?
難
So
しい
you
言
know
葉
what
を知っ
broken
てる
bones
ね。
are, huh?
で
Anyway,
も
no,
これ
I
は、
sprained it.
ね、
Sprained?
ね、
S-P-R-I-A... S-P-R-A-I-N-E-D. Sprained. Strained? Was I that bad at talking? Does it hurt?
うん、
Yeah, a
す
lot.
ごく、
It's a punishment. Punishment? Did I hear that right?
草雪さんに
It's a punishment. You did something very bad. No, I
濡れ衣
didn't.
だ。
What's gotten into you
あの、
today?
すみ
I
ま
am
せ
sorry. I
ん
do not know why, but she has been like this all
今
day
日は
long.
どうしてか
She really did seem like she was in a
ず
bad
っと
mood. Had she seen
こんな
something?
調子で
I was worried for a moment, but Mako didn't say anything before. She just continued being sulky. What was her deal? Eventually, everyone returned, and this ended up being nothing major. My injury was actually the biggest event. Some were worried, some picked on me, some scolded me for not being careful. Their reactions were varied, but it didn't look like anyone suspected me because of it. Yasunaga-kun was in a better mood today. When Haru-chan and Mochi brought some foraged goods, he thanked them with a smile. There was debate about whether we'd actually eat the stuff. Taeson said something about the corrupt mist. Kiyonosuke, she considered the possibility of there being poisoned plants, etc. We chopped it all up, put some sauce on it, and the volunteers, the children, Hashimoto-san, and the industrious food critic, Mamiya-san, ate up. Nothing happened, of course. Because of my injury, no one wanted to go outside anymore. An hour after lunch, Kanza-san said it was time and we began the feast.
痛むなら
Drink
もっ
more,
と
it'll
飲め
hurt less. Half grinning in response, I drank more of the divine sake than usual. As far as I knew, though, alcohol wasn't good for you when you were injured. Thus, the feast started. First of all, let's talk about Chiemi. What happened to her? Got anything, Yasunaga?
なんであんなことに
Takumi-san started out by giving the lead to Yasunaga-kun, who readily accepted it. They'd probably decided on this during their secret talk. He gave several ideas. Chiemi could have accidentally wandered outside on some errand. She also could have not returned home for some reason. And lastly, Chiemi could have been killed by the wolves who wanted to make it look like the corruption did. This was when Takumi-san mentioned that you couldn't stay awake even if you wanted to, and Yoshitsuru can vouch for that. With that, everyone agreed that it was unlikely that she'd accidentally gone outside. Their talk was similar to the one we'd had about Mamiya-san's death last time. However, unlike this time, it had been a given that Mamiya-san had returned to her room once, so we'd reached the conclusion that she, a person who ended up sleeping, was a wolf. The idea that Chiemi didn't return back home to begin with had me forming a certain theory. According to Chiemi from the first loop, you could be outside until 8 in the evening. Yesterday I'd woken up about 10 p.m., meaning that anyone in the rooms between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. would go to sleep, or rather be forced into sleep. That was when the wolves would be woken up, get the wolf outfit they were given during the night, and do their deeds. From what I could tell, the humans would stay asleep. That was why they were always killed without putting up a fight. After that, the wolves would return to their homes and be forced to sleep again. Then the wolf outfit would be picked up and they would wake up the following morning. The feast of the Yummy Purge wouldn't work without the sleep function. However, I knew for a fact that people could die by just being outside their rooms. The first time it happened to Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san, who'd wanted to spend the night in their van, while Yotsugu-kun was torn apart because of his own recklessness. Last time, if you excluded Mamiya-san, a wolf, Yotsugu-kun suggested going outside right after everyone went to bed. The first time, he'd probably gone outside long before everyone was forced to sleep. Basically, if you were in a room at a certain time, you would be forced to go to sleep. That was probably the true meaning behind the shelter taboo. It was just a prerequisite for the main factor in controlling the feast, dreaming, or in other words, sleeping. That was why those who didn't shelter would be eliminated by the bringers of corruption. Looking at it that way, I felt I could see the cunning, logical truth behind Great Lord Shinai. Anyway, the main matter right now is Chiemi. I had no idea how she could survive outside until she committed suicide, but I would just assume she did. I also didn't know if she was waiting for the wolves or just happened to encounter us when we went to the dorm. However, it was clear that she had been outside the whole time. Yasunaga-kun also believed that and said so to everyone. His own idea was that actually a murder made... His own idea that it was actually a murder made to look like a rule violation was dismissed because Chiemi's futon wasn't even spread out in her room. That meant she hadn't even attended a dream last night. So you're saying that you don't know why, but Chiemi's death was like an accident, and that the wolves still haven't killed anyone, right? Yes. After Yasunaga-kun explained his position, Mochi interjected. He was a passive participant, but really good at it. Most of his few words were on the mark. He was also the monkey, so no one had to worry about him trying to mislead the people. So you're saying that the wolves themselves hesitated to kill? That's what I think. That misinterpretation was actually good for us. Though we didn't plan for it, we got rid of a human, and there wouldn't be a hanging today as a retaliation. At least a part of me hopes so. I don't think so. Kanza-san argued against it, of course. Why? It's too good for the wolves. Sharp. I see where you're coming from, but we must know what really happened to Chiemi before we can say that. It's the other way around. Say it, Yasu. Huh? Someone died at night. Normally it's the wolves do it. Just say it. But Teiba, the old wolf man, said it was the corruption. That's what I thought, but it's difficult. The wolf is coming. Ain't good enough for me. And how do you explain why Chiemi's futon wasn't spread out? Don't matter much. Yes, it does. Yasu, shut up. Kanza-san's words were full of irritation, if not anger. It brought a change to everyone's expressions. I was the only one who could see this rationally. After all, I was the one who caused this. I presented him with an unproven personal matter between me and a deceased girl, maliciously giving him several ways to view it. One of them led to the conclusion that Yasunaga was a dirty cheater who played both Chiemi and Haru-chan. I'd led Kanza-san to that convenient idea without putting myself at any risk. I wasn't expecting us to avoid today's lynching to begin with, thus I would instead gain their trust by just leading them to the truth. There's another possibility. Chiemi-chan could have committed suicide. The idea shocked everyone, but it was actually easy to explain. It was true after all. Someone who'd commit suicide wouldn't prepare their futon, and since the suicide was enough bloodshed for the night, the wolves didn't kill anyone else. It was an answer that let people combine the idea that the wolves didn't kill but planned to. Then why was her body in that state? What kind of suicide leads to that? The wolf saw her body after she committed suicide and just left it there, letting the local beasts have it. What? Oh, does that make sense? We got beasts that can do that in this area, old man? He wanted to prove that the wolves were out for blood, but his knowledge as a hunter denied the possibility of there being such beasts here. So I helped him out. This isn't something that I wanted to consider, but it might have been a monster, or maybe a god. Think about it, there's definitely something that brings the corruption. There were lots of dead dogs the first day, right? If there was a being that could do that around the area, it could easily find Chiemi's body and do the same. It could be Yomibito, Badger, or a real wolf. Well, if it's Well, it is true that there might be something spreading the corruption. How terrifying.
久石さんいたずらに不安を煽らないでください
Fusashi-san, please don't needlessly frighten people.
いや
It's not my intention. I
その
actually
つ
do
もりは
think
ない
there's
んだ
an unidentified menace around these parts and we should be wary of it. It
死
could
体
be
が
the
損
reason why
壊
the
した
corpse
理由
was
にだって
destroyed.
なり得
Shouldn't
る
we keep that in mind?
それは
Well, you're not wrong.
待てって
Wait, even if it was a suicide, there's no proof that the wolves wanted to kill, right? Also, I don't think that Chiami's the type to commit suicide. Yeah, there's no way she would kill herself. She was probably the badger. Please calm down, everyone. So he joined in. How would he handle this? Can I give
僕
my
の意
opinion?
見
Go ahead.
もちろんだ
僕
I might not look like it, but I used to be a cameraman in a war zone, so I've seen many gruesome things. Seriously?
うん
Yes, and I'm not an expert, so I can't be sure. But
彼
it
女
looked to me like your head was scattered in a strange way. Some piece even reached high up on the wall. I even took a photo. It
空
looks like
想
a
っ
gun
ぽ
would
く見え
be
る
a
んで
large
す
gun
よ
at that,
ね
and from point blank
大
range
口
even.
径の
Sharp.
銃の
A few people look at Kanzo-san. It was a fitting reaction considering he had a gun and he grunted in response.
あ
Oh, I
あ
don't
いえ
believe it has anything to do with
牧島さんが
Makishima-san.
どういうこ
What are you
と
getting at? The
上
only
に
real
吹き飛ぶ
situation
状
with blood and
況
other
っ
things
て
can fly up high is when someone puts the
はい
gun in their mouth and shoots
口
it.
に
It'd be
加
pretty
え
hard
て
to
撃
do
っ
it with a
たの
large
か
gun.
な
A
誰
murder
か
would
が殺す
likely
な
be
ら
at an even or
水
downward
平
angle.
となると
That makes me
は
think that Fusashi-kun is right. It was a
武蔵君が
suicide.
言
Did
う
she
よ
have a
うに
gun?
いや
No.
聞い
Not
ちゃ
that
い
I
ね
know of. Never heard if she did, but she said she's got a hunting license. Huh?
マジか
Seriously?
それじゃ
Then
あ
she
散
could
弾
have had
銃
a
なら持て
shotgun.
地位は
She had guns,
筋
and
が
if I was
分かっ
gonna have someone go hunting, it'd have
た
been
量をや
her.
らすなら
Kanzo-san's
She
tone
that
grew
don't
lower
want
as he
that.
displayed an unexpectedly high opinion of her. The story that she was cheated on must have hit even harder than I thought. Chiami really did have a place here. She must have gotten a license because she thought so herself. That can only mean that the gloomy talk from last time.
だってここ
But
に
there's
も
no place for me
私の居
here.
場所なんてないも
It's
の
just nonsense from a wolf.
いや
But
待て
that
お
doesn't
か
make
しい
sense.
そ
Why
れならなぜ
didn't
銃
she
が
have a
残っ
gun
てね
then? We didn't find anything
知恵
in
み
her
の
room
部屋
either,
に
not
銃弾
even
なんてなかった
bullets.
ぞ
I was curious about why there was no gun too, but there were no bullets either, or shells. They were with the rest of her stuff last time. Did they mess up while searching or something?
部屋には
The room was
鍵は
unlocked,
か
so
かっ
anyone
て
could
な
go
かっ
in, right?
それは
Right.
そうだ
一
I
番危
believe
惧
we
すべ
should
き
fear
は
the worst that the
狼
wolves took
が
both
銃
the
と
gun
弾
and the
丸を持
bullets.
ち帰ったということだ
That
と
was
思うん
when
です
Mamiya-san took over. I do understand that it doesn't make complete sense to fear a
必要
gun
以
that,
上に
for all
恐
we
れる
know,
の
might not
は
exist.
それでもこ
But
の
I
後
believe we should check
各自の
everyone's
部屋
rooms.
うーん
I'm not sure if they would hide it
これ
somewhere
で
so
見
obvious.
つか
What
る
do
よ
you
うに
think?
探す
I
姿
think it's
勢を見
important
せ
to
る
show
こと
that
が
we're willing
大
to
事
search.
やろ
Let's
う
do it.
構わ
Fine
な
by
い
me. Wait, I don't think you should
待ちたまえ
look around my house for
うちの
some
そん
reason.
な
There
理由
might
で
be
荒らさ
hunting
れるの
rifles
は
that had
少々
nothing to do with this.
後ろぐ
Do
ら
you
い
have something to hide? Honestly, I don't think he'd take a gun with him. He's probably already had one or two, and he's got no spine. Chikamochi, you... But he's not wrong. In fact, the very idea of taking something like that from a corpse is making me nauseous. Ah, chicken. Afraid of corpses, huh? I heard that's why you can't make it as a doctor. No, I... Stop being such a Masato-san, please forgive him. So he really was afraid of corpses. Man, the guy sure was hard to make use of. So there was no reason for us to be afraid here. After all, you weren't the ones who took the gun. I can only assume it was Great Lord Shinai again. Thanks to Hashimoto-san, just about everyone now agreed that Chiami had killed herself with a gun. Proof was a very important thing. The people of Yasumizu really had to realize that. By cleaning up the corpses right away, they made it harder to find out the truth. Even Yasunaga can accept that Chiami had committed suicide. He was now muttering something like, "Chiani, why?" Kanzo-san looked at him with extremely intense eyes. If you connected the story from before with the suicide, you could assume that it was a result of the love triangle drama. After all, she committed suicide in front of Yasunaga-kun's room. With that settled, Takumi-san spoke up again. So what do we do today? Do we hang it or
今日は
not?
どうするんだ
After a moment of silence.
多
She
くの
wasn't killed by the wolves, that's why we shouldn't lynch anyone.
死に
We
が
said
出
we'd
たら
hang if someone died. It
狼が
wasn't
殺し
the
たんじゃない
wolves. May I say something?
なんだ
What is it?
上
私
I believe that Serizawa-sama was acting on the spider's mentality. Huh? What do you mean?
なんだ
She took the corruption in herself. She protected us by acting like the spider. Wise and brave as she is, Serizawa-sama could easily do something like that.
詳しく
Tell
教え
us
てくだ
more.
さい
Last night she might have drawn her own blood to protect those who guardians among us.
もち
She might have committed suicide after witnessing the arrival of the wolves. Chi-chan, she might have been violent, but she was honest and gentle too.
そうい
It
うん
ain't
じゃね
that. Chani just had guts. Then were the wolves really planning to kill her? Sure you're not overthinking it? But honestly, I can't think of any other case in which Chiani would commit suicide.
悩みがありゃ
Haruni,
そ
if
の相手
Chiani
を撃
didn't
つ
know
方
what
が
to
知
do,
恵
she'd
だし
shoot
ってん
someone
だ
else
よ
for
ある
herself.
ね
She knew exactly what she was doing here.
そして
And she always stood up to protect us in school, didn't she?
急に
Chiani,
どうするんだ
what do we do? It's looking like they still want to hang someone today. I
最
would want to
低
vote
限
on it
す
at
るか
least.
橋本さん
Hashimoto-san,
僕
we
も
must
君
survive.
も
This might be necessary to accomplish
で
that.
も
But
もし
if
そ
that
う
was really
いう
her
理
reason,
由
then
なら
Serizawa-san didn't have a guardian. The snake must still be alive, and he or she has
芹沢さんは
information for us. And if
加え
everyone
て
here
み
could
なさ
band
い
together against the wolves, the situation is very different from how it was yesterday. I'll still listen to my conscience and vote against killing, but I'll accept the results. Alright, we'll raise hands for
挙手
it.
でいい
Anyone who's voting on
来
who
る
to
者
hang,
を投票で選ぶことに
Raise your
賛成の者は挙手しろ
the old wolf guy, Yamawaki-san, Kanzo-san, Kionosuke-shi, Takumi-san, Rikako, Mochi, Yoshitsugu, and I raise their hands. That's to hang somebody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The only ones who didn't were Kaori, Yasunaga, Haru, Mako, and the journos. I thought it just said Mako did. Mochi, not Mako. Mochi? Sorry, Yosun, but I feel like I avenged Chiani.
そう
Oh, really? If she really wants that, then she could have showed up in our dreams or
本当
something?
にそ
Yeah. 9 against 6. Choose who to hang. Guess we have no choice. Oh, if we pick and lynch someone, do we just go our own ways then?
どうなんだ
How is it, old man? The feast ends when someone's hanged.
じゃあ
Before that, I
こ
would
の
like to
前
say
に
something about the snake. If
も
they
し
found a
エ
wolf
ビが
today, they
い
should
よ
come out with it.
そうで
That's a
す
good idea. It would make it
誰を
easier to
作る
choose
か
who to
選べる
hang,
し
and the spider could protect
その後
them. I hope we don't get multiple.
出
Just
て
like
くるよ
Yasunaga-kun pointed out yesterday, we're bound to have more than one,
No.
right after the first
堀
comes.
部安
Yeah,
永
if the real
君
one
が
came out
指摘
now,
し
I
た
would
通
have to play
り
the fake. But the real one
一人
wouldn't
目
come
が
out
名
just
乗り
yet.
狼を見つけたヘビはいないか
Doesn't
いねえ
look
見
like
て
it.
くださいじゃ
That
あ
means that the person they found
昨日
yesterday
調
was
べたん
probably
だ
human.
人
ふむ
I see, I see. Now, does anyone
ち
here
な
want to
み
be
に
investigated
今
before
日の
anyone
夜
else? For a moment, I
優
almost
先
ignored that
的に調
nonchalant
べら
question.
れたい
But a
人
second
は
later, I
い
almost
ます
stopped breathing. This was an attack. I had no idea why I thought that, but this was a deadly attack. What was I supposed to do about it? Damn, dude. What was the right choice? Oh, fuck. Damn, dude, this is actually fucking genius. I feel like if I raise my hand, everyone else will too. All the other humans will, so it'll just, like, delay. God damn. But if I raise my hand and I'm the only one, they're gonna find out I'm a wolf. As a wolf, I didn't want to be investigated before anyone else. Even so, I raised my hand. Not raising it might have seen as asking that I not be investigated. A total of 6 people raised their hands. Kanza-san, Kionosuke-shi, Yasunaga, Mamiya, Yoshitsugu, and me. Upon seeing who raised their hands, I instantly understood the nature of the trap. Those who wanted to have a voice in the feast simply had to raise their hands here. Being a proven human was necessary if you wanted to have influence and a voice here. The feast was a game of politics disguised as a game of logic. Since the murderers couldn't be scientifically investigated, you had to present possible suspects purely on circumstantial evidence. However, whether the others believed that or not was up to them to decide. And since circumstantial evidence, no matter how much of it remained circumstantial, it was entirely possible to make a fool of yourself by treating it like direct proof. There was also the fear of death as well as religious faith. Not many people were capable of deciding everything for themselves in this situation. Those who didn't have confidence in their own decisions left the choice to others, specifically the popular, capable leaders. They were the ones who didn't raise their hands. They were slow to realize how to react to this because they needed explanations and guidance from their leaders. Those who wanted to be leaders, on the other hand, were constantly waiting for opportunities to consolidate power by proving themselves right. Wait, what are you getting at? Imagine that we all agreed that the snake would investigate you today, and tomorrow we would ask them to reveal
あな
themselves
た
if
を
they found a
調
wolf.
べる名乗
If
り
they
出
don't
が
reveal
なけれ
themselves,
ば
it would mean you are safe,
あ
even
な
if
た
you
は
needlessly
安
suspected.
全
あ
Oh,
あ
I
な
get
る
it.
ほど
The snake found a human today too, but until they reveal themselves, that won't be any use to us.
僕もそれ
I
は賛
approve
成
of
で
this
す
too. Then please investigate me as well. Can,
私も
Jesus,
調
I
べて
fucking
も
knew
らって
everybody
い
would
い
want
か
to.
ね
Can you investigate me too? I would like that too. Me too. Everyone else now raised their hands like the followers they were. Huh? Besides the monkeys, the ones who weren't raising their hands either didn't understand the situation at all or missed the right time to hide their hope that they wouldn't be investigated. But we didn't have any of those. Both Haru-chan and Kaori-san knew what they had to do. However, my only option in this situation was to raise my hand at the first opportunity. I had already done something to assert my wish to take a political lead. Besides that, I was a newbie who no one trusted, so I was likely a lynch target. Everyone probably assumed that I knew my situation. Situation. That was why I'd put myself ahead before anyone else. Otherwise, it would have seemed extremely likely that I was a wolf. Hashimoto-san slowly looked at everyone. He stopped the moment his gaze was directed at me. It wasn't stern or cold, it was as calm and gentle as always, but I couldn't help sensing a powerful will behind it. The will of a cameraman and observer who wanted to know the true nature of his subject. This wasn't a battlefield, the wilderness, or some restaurant selling unusual cuisine. But he was, as always, remaining an observer. He stayed at an appropriate distance, blended in with the environment, and focused solely on observation. And if he noticed something crucial, he would simply call it out. It wouldn't be that his words would prompt some other event. His attack would be over the moment he spoke. That was just how precise his observations were. Was I being paranoid? Oh, he was the real deal. A true threat to me. He tested me just now, suspected me. In that case, what came next would be... sorry about that. Please put your hands down. Of course you would raise your hands. If you have nothing to hide, you would obviously want to be investigated and prove your innocence. So who do we investigate? Personally, I'd be more at ease if you were the first. We outsiders are easy to suspect after all. But that's just what I want. Otherwise, what about Saishi-kun? He seems pretty smart, so it'd be good to know if he's human, right? I actually had to avoid being investigated by the snake. I see. That would mean that he wouldn't be an option in today's lynching. Yes. If I wasn't a wolf, this would be nothing but a kindness from a fellow outsider. I wasn't certain if he was doing this on purpose. However, I was certain of one thing. Yudai Hashimoto was my enemy. The most formidable among everyone here, in fact. All that hard work to save him, and now I had to kill him. But I had to do it to survive. I wish I could say that's a good idea, but there's someone who should be investigated before me. Oh, and who would that be? Takumi-san. That was how I'd handled it. It was a setup for a future attack. Takumi-san will continue to be an important figure for the entire feast. It will be harder for everyone to decide on what to do if we don't know whether he's human or wolf. Well, he's not wrong. The outspoken ones often stand out, which draws suspicion. In terms of importance, Takumi-san is roughly on the same level as Kanzo Makishima-san. I do want to feel secure, but I don't want to be criticized for prioritizing myself over the group as a whole. I don't mind if you're going to investigate me regardless. Do what I say. Or if I seem suspicious to you right now, you can even vote for me. I don't mind getting hanged for the sake of your victory. I prepared for that possibility last night. Chiemi-chan displayed impressive courage in what she did, and I would like to follow her example even if I wouldn't be nearly as cool. Haruaki-sama. What do you think, Mochi? Takumi-ni, huh? Well, he's not wrong. Hey, can we just not hang him? I also don't think he's a wolf. That way. Well, Haru-chan was kind of overdoing it, but as long as she didn't take it any further, I'd be consistent. It'd be consistent with her act so far. I see. Let's have the snake investigate Takumi-san. Any objections? Silence. Are you okay with it yourself? Yeah, I don't mind. Then it's decided. He couldn't push any further. Now it was time to vote. This guy's fucking dangerous. What a waste of time. Uematsu, we're voting. Yes, I shall write them down. We continued talking for a short while after that, but it was mostly pointless chatter about what we should do and if anyone had any ideas. They're gonna hang the old wolf guy. Hey, we can't find out who the wolves are by setting up some cameras? If you say that, then the wolves are healed too. It would be pointless. Oh, right. Haru-chan did as I told her, displaying dedication toward contributing to the feast. A decent amount of time had passed since we'd started the feast, and it'd probably end right before the evening. Takumi-san was silent. He seemed against hanging people on a whim at first, but something had changed him somehow. Chiemi was like a fellow pillar of the community, so it must have hit him pretty hard. At this point, the only one clearly opposed to the vote was Mamiya-san. But even then, she only had her hand on her forehead, and so the vote began. You first, old guy. You listening? You, huh? Me? Like a demon. Scary, scary. Whatever. Old man Kanzo, your turn. One for Yasu. Did I push things too far?
処刑に反
Is
対
it
す
that
る
weird to be opposed to the lynching? You got a good head. Could be just an act.
おやすさん
Yasu ain't your enemy, old man.
横領期間
Can't trust that without
国
reason.
にいいから
Takumini, it's fine. Move on.
じゃあ
Then Bachan, your turn.
困
What
っ
a burden.
記者
One
の
for the journalist.
待って
Wait, have I done anything suspicious?
橋本さ
Hashimoto-san
んが
is a
猿
monkey,
なの
but I
は
don't
い
know
いけ
about
ど
you.
Q-chan.
Calm down, Q-chan. It's fine, I should have seen this coming. I was just surprised.
次は
My turn. One for the old wolf guy. I don't want to say this, but if you're just gonna say random stuff, even in this situation, you're a nuisance to all of us. You suspected someone else, right? You sure?
何言っ
I
て
don't
る
know
の
what you're
かわ
talking
からね
about. Kaori-san, you're next.
Yasunaga.
Yasunaga, what do you think?
誰に投票す
Can
る
I
か
say who I'll vote for before it's my turn? It ain't a problem.
僕は
I can't vote with certainty at this point. With that in mind, I only pick someone who doesn't
ここまで
contribute to
宴
the
に
feast,
貢
so
献
don't
して
just
いない
follow
人
me
を選
without
ぶ
thinking. Just say it.
狼
I'm
じじい
voting for the
に
old
投票
wolf
する
man,
つも
but
り
Mom, I want you to decide for yourself how to vote. Okay, so I will. One for Ikaku Umatsu. Not mine, but may I have a reason?
ちえみち
I
ゃ
have
ん
a
のこと
problem with how
を
you presented
いい
Chiami-chan's
よね
death.
あの子
After
が
all, it's
狼だ
possible
った
that she
可
was
能
a
性
wolf, right?
もあるわよね
Of all people, she was the one to say that? Then again, I was actually planning to mention it too. That was a smart move.
どういう
What do you mean?
狼
I'm
同
saying that
士
it could have been a
が
fight
仲間
between
割れしたの
wolves.
かもし
Maybe
れ
they
ない
argued about whether they'd
Mm.
actually kill or not. Wow, that was almost as if she was there herself.
そういう話
Kanza, she was nodding. After all, in the feast, it was common sense that humans weren't the only ones who could die at night. By creating the possibility that Chiami was a wolf, we would mess up their assumptions about how many wolves there were left.
ちえみち
Maybe
ゃん
Chiami-chan killed herself because she didn't want to kill.
待ちなさい
Wait,
オリベの
Would that
ご無
really
事
count as a murder for the
これ
night?
だと
See, what the
一人分
fuck?
の
Like,
血を流したことにはな
this
らない
game
のじゃ
doesn't
ない
make
か
any sense.
いや
We actually can't be sure, but it's
わかりません。
entirely possible that death due to
少なくとも
discord between wolves counts.
それで死体はあ
They
の
then
場に
left the
残っ
corpse
て
there, and then the beast or something else came and made a mess of it, just like Fusaishi-san
獣
suggested.
そうだった場合
In that situation, any
Chiemi-chan
capable
は
wolf would want to insist that Chiami-chan was human, right?
狼が主
She
張す
said
る
that
んじゃ
while
ない
looking
で
at
しょうか
Rikako-san, who praised Chiami's actions on the basis that she was human. But
違います
no, I simply wanted
いい
to
か
beautify Chiami-chan's actions. Fully aware that my comment was unnecessary, I took the
自
stage.
殺なんて
Suicide is sad no matter what.
Doya
It's hard for
だって悲しい。
everyone left behind.
でも
But if we look at it
そ
in
の
a
死が前
positive
向き
way,
な
we
理
can
由
stay
だったな
positive
そう
too.
いう
I imagine that
実のところ
Rikako-san was just showing
僕ら
consideration
に
for
対
us
する
all.
ケアだったん
I
じゃ
took
ない
her
ですか
side this time. She was an important person with special powers. It was better for her to die later. I couldn't deny that a part of me didn't want to kill her, but I ignored it. After all, following the betrayal, the only one suffering would be me. Right now, the important thing was to pretend to be human fighting the good fight against the wolves. Kaori-san was a wolf and would probably be outed eventually. I had to make sure I wouldn't be suspected based on anything in support of her beforehand.
そう
I did think that, but most of all, I simply thought that Serizawa-sama displayed amazing bravery by trying to protect us.
一番は
I didn't doubt that. Rikako-san might have been more traditional than anyone else in Fujiyoshi, but her heart remained good-natured.
分かった
Alright, I'll let the rest decide for themselves. You're next, Kyo.
不妻子
One
春
for
は
Haruaki Fusaishi-kun.
一票
Just like last time, you voted for me on the first
理
day.
由は何でしょう
Can I have a reason?
君自身が言った通りだ
I knew I'd vote for you the
率
moment
先
you
して
took the
蛇に
initiative
調べ
and
られるこ
refused
と
to
を
be
拒否した
investigated by the
時点で
snake. I understand, though I don't think I should have
分
been
かりました
selfish there.
次
Next, like I said, I'm voting
僕
for
は
the
さ
old
っき言
wolf
った
guy.
通り
He
狼
was
じ
the
じいに
first
投
one to
票
get
す
2
る
votes. Chikamochi, you're next.
発
Hassan, I guess?
かな
なんでしょう
Why?
真面目す
He's
ぎるな
acting
って
too serious. What do you mean?
いや
Nothing really.
Oh,
Hassan's
so
usually
that-
more relaxed, that's it.
もっとヘラヘ
The
ラして
scary
る
thing
方
was
が
that such
発
random
散っぽい
thoughts
か
of
ら
his often hit the mark.
よしどうする
Yoshi, who are you voting for?
上松に投票す
Uematsu, my
る
reason's that I think the hag's got a point.
あなたも自
You
分
should
で考
think for
えな
yourself
さい
too.
考
I
え
did,
た
and I'm
上で
sticking
言
to
って
what
ん
I
だ
said.
何
Also,
よ
I
り
don't like it how
死
it
ん
really
だ理
ties
由まで
into
長
one of
者
our
に
deaths
利
to
用
our
されるの
advantage.
が俺に
Haru, you're next.
私
I'll
ね
vote for Uematsu-san
上
too.
松さんに入れる
Why must a woman who grieved for your loss be suspected so much? Is this how you repay her? Shut up, let's just get this over with, Takumini.
あんただ
You're next, Rikaku
Uematsu.
Uematsu.
降りる香
One
りさ
for
ん
Kaori Oribe-san.
お返し
Retaliation, I suppose?
はい
Yes, I know I am human, and I find your reasoning unjust.
Oh,
You're
Ika.
done? You're next,
じゃあ
Mako.
次
Oh! What?
最初
You mean Fusaishi? Why him? Everyone's bad, but there's an order. Huh? What's she saying?
それ
I do
が
not know either.
私にも
Could it be that she was...
みんな
Everyone needs to,
なんとかなの
something. It's, hang. Mako was the Batcher! Crap, I couldn't use her no matter how hard I thought about it. Hell, she could totally give it away and ruin us.
まあ
Oh
いいや
well. Next,
不妻子の番だぞ
Fusaishi. Damn it! Right now I had 3 votes, as did Rikako-san. The old wolf guy had 2, while Takumi-san, Kaori-san, Yasunaga-san, and Mamiya had 1 each. To survive, I had to vote for Rikako-san or the old wolf guy, and my vote would affect those remaining 2. Would affect those of the remaining 2, the journos. If they both voted for me, it'd be game over. But if I was right about the nature of Hashimoto-san's actions, he was trying to decide whether I was clean or not. And if he decided that I wasn't, he would have surely mentioned it before the vote began. It was possible that he would vote for someone else. I had no idea if Mamiya-san would follow his vote, but even if she didn't, it was likely that she would vote for me. Basically, if I voted for Rikako-san, she would get 4 votes and most likely be lynched. If I voted for the old wolf guy, he would have 3 votes, and depending on who the journos voted for, I could end up in the final vote. None of those with just 1 vote were particularly suspicious, so it was best to just disregard them altogether. I had to vote between Rikako-san and the old wolf guy, but honestly it wasn't much of a choice. Kaori-san's words about Rikako-san relied a decent amount on the assumption that the village heads were anti-Yasumizu, but that wasn't very credible. It would be strange for me to base my decision on that. We already had Haru-chan agree with Kaori-san's words. She didn't even give her own reason. I didn't want to be considered an ally of those who'd given up on thinking for themselves. Now all that mattered was who the remaining 2 would vote for. This could lead to another final vote, but I think about that then. I'm voting for the old wolf guy. Why? I had to say something justified and useful to the humans. You're all well aware of how he behaves, but I think it's all an act. My words surprise everyone. Why would you believe that? Naturally, I couldn't say I'd seen him make a decent play when he was a badger. I don't believe that a senile old man could survive multiple feasts like this one. He's sometimes unresponsive and doesn't say a word at the very end, but when asked directly, he tends to answer immediately. When you look at it like that, you might just be ignoring or dancing around questions that have badgered him. It's a clever strategy. Wait a second, I voted for him myself, but don't you think you're overthinking it? Also, if that were true, don't you think he'd have avoided being in this dangerous situation? I think he might know a loophole. A loophole that doesn't kill you? I can't say for certain, but from what little I've seen, the place he sleeps at is basically a dilapidated wreck. I hadn't seen it this time around actually, but no one would find that claim fishy. It didn't even look like it qualified as a shelter, and yet he's alive. Now that you mention it, Kanzo Makishima-san, has he ever survived things he didn't seem capable of surviving? Can't say if he did or didn't, but I don't trust him. Guy's been a freak for as long as I've known him. He decided to ignore it all, apparently. If you know how to avoid the fees, please do tell us. If you do, I'll retract my vote. No one escapes the mountain. He's basically saying he won't cooperate with us no matter what. That's the basis of my vote. Alright, you're next, Mamiya-san. Can I just not vote? I don't want to be complicit in murder. We can't have that. We need to know who you doubt and support. Alright then, you, Haru Makishima-san. Huh? Haru, your reason? It's nothing major, I just picked the most suspicious one of the ones who would definitely not be lynched today. I considered voting for Yamawaki-san at first, but there's no point in such petty revenge. You're saying that Haru-chan's more suspicious than me? If I have to choose between you... Yes. She didn't say why she suspected Umatsu-san, and her general attitude is strange. There's nothing certain there. Saw through Haru-chan's act, huh? I don't have any preferences here, but I don't believe that all the wolves are so cunning, cruel, and gutsy. There could be one who's just cowering in fear of any votes that could come their way. It's a genuine issue to consider, and that's why I'm voting for her. Seriously? That's it? That's so cool. And so is this whole thing you're all doing. Let's not make a big deal out of this. You're right, your last Hashimoto-san. This is difficult. But even so, I will vote for the old wolf fellow. We're settled then. Can you give us a reason? I believe I understand what kind of people you are now, and I believe nominating you at this point in time would be strange. That's it, really, a simple reason. I see, alright then. That gives him 4 votes, it is decided. Bring the rope. I need time, and just like every time he's been hanged, shut it! I'd seen this before. Kanzo-san punched the old wolf guy, shocking some people. In the end, upon getting the rope, Kanzo-san tied him up and went to hang him on the pine all by himself. I'll hang him myself, you go back. Old man, what's gotten into you? The conditions for it were different, but this event unfolded the exact same way as last time. This was just my assumption, but I believe that Kanzo-san had some sort of unfinished business with the old wolf guy. Perhaps he too suspected the old man would try something strange here. The first time he said he needed time, everyone accepted it, and soon he and Mochi, who'd accompanied him, were found dead outside. Was he planning to do something before his execution? That something led to murders and made Kanzo-san forcefully drag him to the tree. It seemed significant to me. Dragging my feet in the line heading back to the dining hall, I thought about the old wolf guy. Was there some sort of way to make him talk? Maybe I could loop back and... No, he probably wouldn't react to anything I said. For now, I just had to be glad that I'd survived today's feast. I couldn't show it, of course. If there were any holes in anything I'd said today, it could prove trouble further down the line. Even so, I'd cast aside my doubts and taken a step forward. I could win this. I would win this as a wolf. Like last time, we ended up spending an awkward evening in the dining hall. Tae-san invested that something bad could happen in the mist again, so she told us to stay inside. After that, Kanzo-san and Takumi-san came back. The former ignored all warnings and left again, but everyone else stayed inside. Takumi-san said that he didn't see Kanzo-san kill the old wolf guy. Just what was happening between them? What if he didn't actually kill him? Was there some secret agreement between the locals where they agreed that the old wolf guy had to live? Was someone hiding him somewhere? No, that couldn't be it. He definitely died the first time. I just didn't get it. Soon enough, we started making dinner. I had to check for poison again. Clean up, and then we all went back to our rooms. Another one of us might be gone tomorrow. Be prepared for that at least. After a short silence, everyone gave each other some brief goodbyes and began going their own way. Oh, one last thing. Hashimoto-san stopped them. I advise against trying to stay outside and have secret meetings. Unlike during the day, we're all spread out. It's hard to tell if someone's nearby. That's how it is. Big guy's right, just head back. Crap. I'd hoped to get a chance to eavesdrop. That meant that the secret chat he had at noon only happened because he figured that the wolves couldn't do much during the day. However, it didn't mean that Hashimoto-san had anything concrete. In fact, he would probably deal with potential eavesdroppers by not saying anything important if he met with someone privately. I was more curious about Takumi-san. The exchange between him and Yasunaga-kan might have been extremely important. What? Late at night. We passed out, then put on the wolf outfits, passed through the beast-filled mist, and arrived at the dining hall again. My injury had healed shockingly well. Healing herb power sure was something. I had to remove the taping to get into the wolf costume, though. That aside, that's not what we agreed. Oh, they're trying to kill Hashimoto now. There was a strange tension between the three monsters here. But it's really not the right time to kill Yasunaga-kun or Yoshitsugu-kun. But if we don't, I know, I don't mean to ignore your wish, it's just that, who do we kill then? There's two candidates, Takumi Muro-san and Yunai Hashimoto-san. Because they're good at controlling the conversation. Yes, especially Hashimoto-san. He's doing an amazing job convincing everyone to handle this rationally. Also, he's a lot smarter and sharper than he looks. Let your guard down and he'll instantly expose us all. I told them about how dangerous he was, citing the secret chat thing in the morning and the trick question during the feast. You sure you're not overthinking it? And why Takumi? He might be the snake. Huh? I was already suspicious yesterday, but now I'm almost certain. Yesterday, when asked whether anyone had volunteered to be lynched, he said he couldn't die just yet. I thought about it a lot. I thought a lot about it, and the yet part really bothered me. Couldn't die on its own would have seemed natural. Also, he met with Yasunaga secretly today. At first, I thought he wanted to cheer him up since Chiyame was dead and all. But looking at how they behaved, it seemed likely that they met up to talk about the feast. That seems possible. It was a bit strange how he just called Yasunaga-kun to talk. What about it? He's a pretty open guy, isn't he? Not the type of guy to hold the secret meetings, right? He probably knows full well that you can't keep any secrets here at Yasumizu. And if you still take Yasunaga-kun to meet in secret, that requires a lot of trust if you ask me. That's why I think that he's the snake and that he investigated Yasunaga-kun yesterday. Another thing, he didn't raise his hand when we volunteered to be investigated by the snake. Oh, that was okay, right? I didn't raise at first. It's fine, you raised later and that's natural. However, considering his position, he should have raised his hand and agreed to be investigated before anyone else. He didn't do it because he's the snake and already figured that raising his hand would have been pointless. I just think he wasn't paying enough attention to act like a normal human rather than a snake. That was also why he was slow to react to the idea that we should investigate him, and he accepted it without any argument. I guess so. It does look like his words were a bit strange back then. I understand you're worried, but why today? Takumi-san won't investigate himself, but there's no guarantee he would be one of us, right? That was a naive thing to say. I don't really trust myself. If he's a snake, and if he was suspicious of me to begin with, my words might have made him even more suspicious. But if your theory is true, it's possible that Takumi-san told Yasunaga-kun that he's the snake, right? That's possible. Then we should get rid of him, shouldn't we?
そうですね
We should within the next few
彼も
nights.
早晩殺す
わかり
Very
ま
well.
し
As
た
long as we go for Yasunaga tomorrow, I'll let you pick today's victim.
私は
I really don't care which.
ありがとうございます
Thank you. However, we killed one, we couldn't go for the other one for a while. Today's choice is bound to be greatly... Oh, fuck, dude. We either leave the snake or we leave Hashimoto. Oh, damn. Today's choice is bound to greatly affect what happened next. Now, which one? God damn. I have to pee. I'm like fairly certain if we kill Hashimoto, Takumi's either going to investigate me because I'm technically next on the list. I think it has to be Takumi. Because if he is the snake and the snake quote unquote agreed to investigate him, he knows it's worthless. So he's just going to investigate me because I was the next one in line. So like it has to be Takumi. Personally, I found Hashimoto-san to be the biggest threat. I didn't see any openings or weaknesses on him. However, I knew full well just how influential Takumi-san was. Though he sometimes lacked confidence, once he found some, he could kill off the wolves through his initiative and popularity alone. Then there was the fact that he might be the snake. I really couldn't ignore him.
室匠さ
We'll
ん
kill
を
Takumi-san.
わかった
Very well, but
はい
yes, we'll go for Yasunaga-kun tomorrow night. About that though, Haru-chan.
何
What?
おそらく明日
Yasunaga-kun will probably be in a state of shock again
再
tomorrow.
びショックを
So
受け
do
た
your
状態
best to
になる
console him.
できる
You
だけ
need to
避けた
prevent
い
him
の
from
は
declaring that
彼に
Takumi-san
匠
told
さ
him
ん
he
は
was the
実は
snake
ヘ
and
ビ
that
で
confirmed that
彼が
Yasunaga-kun
人の
was
証
human.
明をもらっていたと発言さ匠さんは
With
殺されているわけ
Takumi-san
で
dead, most of
彼
Titus
が
were
本物
trustworthy.
それ以後
Pretending to be the
ヘ
snake
ビを
can
語
become
るの
really
は
difficult
極めて
to
難しくなる
understand.
わかるけど
I do, but how do I even do that?
正
Honestly, I
直
don't think
私
I could pull something like that off.
うーん
Well,
私が
I'll
や
do
り
it. I'll
ま
just
しょ
have to
う
make sure Yasunaga doesn't
Yo.
talk about that in our out
Yasunaga
and or
を
outside the
宴の席
feast, right?
それはそうなんです
Yes,
が
basically. Can you
で
do
きます
that?
か
母
I'm
で
his
す
mother. No one would suspect
親
us
子
if
の
we
会話
talk
を
as a
持つ
family. There's also the fact that,
Takumi-san.
well, Takumi-san isn't a stranger to me.
それで匠さ
And if
ん
he
が
tells me
ヘ
that
ビだと
Takumi-san
い
is
う
the
ことを
snake, I
聞
will
き
tell
出
him
し
that
た
I
ら
suspect Kanzo-san.
自分が
I'd say
調
that he
べ
killed
ら
the
れる
snake
のを
because he
恐
was
れ
afraid
て
of being investigated.
ヘビを
It's
殺したの
possible
だ
that Kanzo-san realized what Takumi-san was, right?
え
Yes, now that you mentioned it, he acted weird in
そう
front
で
of
すね
everyone there.
よね
Exactly.
そ
Well,
れ
I'll
で
also tell him to keep
あ
quiet
なた
about
が
it
そ
because
れ
he
を
could be
口にし
next.
たら狙われるから
I might have severely
黙っていて
underestimated
く
her.
れと
I'd
頼
assumed
む
she
で
was
し
a
ょ
timid person without much of her own opinion on anything, but oh, was I wrong? I didn't know whether she was holding back or just using her imagination and proactiveness in a negative way. But she was really dependable in a situation like this.
狼ゆえに知り
Please
得たこと
avoid
や
saying things only wolves
先
can
回り
know
し
or
て
claim that
匠
Takumi-san
さん
is
が
the
ヘビ
snake
じゃな
before
い
he
かと
does.
いうことは絶対あなたが安永
It
君
won't
に
be good
疑わ
for
れた
us
ら
if Yasunaga-kun
元も
starts to suspect you. Oh, but suspicion is
疑
no
われる
problem. He will
程度
die
な
tomorrow
ら
night
いいでし
after
ょ
all. I had to hold back from
どう
cursing
せ
at her.
明日の
My
夜
mother was intending to kill her own child, and it made me feel unpleasant. That
死
was
ぬ
the
ん
right
だ
thing to
ぞ
feel, wasn't it?
じゃあ
Then I won't have to do
私はいい
anything, right?
そうだね
Yeah, for now. Her sudden grin was so out of nowhere, I had no idea what to make of it, and neither did Kaori-san. Takumi-san's place was close to the plaza. There was nothing out of the ordinary around it. This meant this would be our first real murder. Our first kill as wolves. Was I really gonna do this? Would the door really open? Would I really open it and carry out the deed? More nervous than I appeared, I put my hand on the door. Click. I felt it unlock. Seriously?
ちょっと
Let me check something. Huh? Hey!
ちょっと
I ran around checking several houses. A detached dwelling where Yoshitsugu-kun lived. Meiko's place, Kanzo-san's place, and Kako-san's place. All of them were unlocked.
どうやら
Apparently, you can
最初
only
に手を
unlock
か
the
けた
first
家の
door
み
you
が開
touch.
く
It's
の
best
で
not to touch the knobs without
軽い
thinking.
気持
But
ち
all
で
of
ログ
them
に
were
触れない
locked.
方がよ
なる
I
ほ
see.
じゃあも
So
う
you've got no choice but to kill
Takumi-ni.
Takumi-ni.
そういうことだ
Exactly, I'm opening it.
では開けます
This would be my first time here since I'd investigated his corpse during the first loop. It was a simple room. There was a futon in the middle and his large body was right there. He was sleeping, defenseless. He wouldn't wake up, right?
ね
Hey, how will we
えど
kill
うやっ
him?
て殺すの
I was actually curious if we were going to be provided some means of killing. The murders I'd known so far had been outside the norm, but they weren't something beyond human ability. But I also thought that they'd been a bit excessive, assuming their sole purpose was murder. I still didn't know if there was something that compelled them to do that, but apparently you had to come up with your own method of murder.
この場にあるも
Let's
のを
use something here.
使おう
Thankfully, we had lots of options. There were various old farming tools nearby. The edged one, sickle, hoe, etc. looked extremely fitting for the purpose. There was even an axe. It would make it really easy. An axe could destroy a human body in no time.
念のため聞き
I'll
ますが
ask just in case.
やりたい人
Either
は
of you want to do it?
いますか？いいでしょう。
Alright, I'll do it.
僕がやり
I
ま
raised
す。
the axe overhead and hesitated. This memory, the fact that I'd committed murder, would probably stay with me even if I looped. I'd keep this moment, this feeling, until the day I died. That was hardly a problem. What? My aim was true and the axe sunk into Takumi-san's neck. Blood burst out of the wound, then started bubbling out ceaselessly. That was definitely lethal. However, the blade wasn't too wide or large. This wasn't a broad axe or anything. Then I swung it down again, and again, and again. His head left his body before the 10th swing. I took his head in hand. His eyes were open wide. His expression was full of anguish. At this point, I wasn't sure if he'd been completely unconscious. I nonchalantly showed it to the two behind me. Applause. They actually applauded me. Well done. Good job. Pure joy and words of praise. My earlier sense of disgust returned. Why? Why did these people suddenly cease having a conscience the moment they became wolves? This was wrong. They were supposed to show disgust. They needed to. If they didn't, to whose standards was I supposed to adjust my conscience? Sense and right of wrong and good and evil. I tossed the head on the floor. Then I held it in place with my foot. Cut it with the axe over and over. Struck it over and over. It was almost completely unrecognizable now. I kicked away the damaged skull, still covered in flesh and hair in pieces. It was heavy, so my leg hurt, and it left a pool of blood where it rolled. Before even looking at it, I took a random farming tool and thrust it into his torso. Then I took another tool and sank it into his shoulder. I opened his stomach. I cut up his limbs. That's enough. Stop. By the time someone stopped me, the corpse was in such a state that you'd think the corruption was responsible
こ
for
こ
it.
までしなく
You
て
didn't have
も
to go this far, did you?
よかったん
Not
じゃ
even
ない
those
か
words
し
were out
ら。
of disgust or guilt. They simply thought it was a waste of
帰
time.
りましょ
Let's go. Still pissed, I went to the exit, not even looking back at them.
急ぎをしないと
You need to cleanse. I felt some water hit my back, but I was too pissed to even react before leaving. I took off the bloody wolf outfit and just threw it on the floor. I had learned yesterday that it was best to wear the costume without any upper clothing, so I was able to relax after just wiping off the sweat and changing my underwear. The room began to reek of blood, but Great Lord Shinai would probably clean all this up anyway. Shit. I was pissed. Even though I knew they'd lose their sense of guilt, I was still pissed. Shit. I just wanted to sleep, but I couldn't really do that with someone knocking on my door. Who could it be? Kaori-san? Haru-chan? Shinai himself? It was still late at night, so it couldn't be anyone else from the village. Police then? That'd be a laugh. I ignored it though. I was too pissed. More knocking, more ignoring.
Oh
My, you certainly are easily offended, city dweller. Now that I couldn't ignore. I jumped up and leapt to the door so quickly I almost tripped. This was the mystery surrounding Haru-chan. The brutalization had distracted me from my primary goal here. I hadn't expected her to come to me. Upon opening the door, I saw something I really didn't expect. This was the wolves cometh to the smell of Yomi, find shelter and dream, daughter of Fusuyoshi. That was Haru-chan? Now that I got a better look, the physique, hairdo, and even the voice were similar. But why would she wear that? No, forget that. How did she make it all the way here without her wolf outfit? No need to be surprised. These are my kin. Consider them an extension of me. Behind her, I felt the beast closer than at any point today or yesterday. No, I could actually see them. Countless eyes glowed in the darkness nearby. She gently extended her hand. A few of them looked at her, and a few even came close. The weak light from outside the prefab lit them up. Dogs. They really were dogs. Some were white, some brown, some had long ears, some didn't have a tail. It was a pack of countless feral-looking mid-sized dogs. All of them had blood and filth on them, as well as severe wounds here and there. Their clenched teeth, furrowed noses, and widened eyes spoke volumes to the rage and perhaps even hatred within them. Their girl clad in aged cloth didn't seem to care, standing still even as they surrounded her. Not only that, but she reached out to pet one of them.
3つの神のう
Are
ち
you one of the three gods?
おう
Oh yes, apologies if that did not seem obvious before.
かくのごと
As you
く
can see, I am a lonely,
獣と
powerless
触れ
god
合
who
う
cannot
他
do
に
much
よるで
beyond
もな
playing
い
with
上が
bees.
ってください
Please come in.
おや
My oh
おや
my. Do you
Oh,
not
yeah,
think
oh,
it
yeah,
dangerous to
oh, yeah.
invite a god to your home?
神隠しに遭わ
What
れ
if I were to spirit you away?
すみま
Sorry,
せん
but I
が
don't understand your rules. Reasonable. You study duelists worship a god called science, do you not?
科学は
Science
神
is
じゃない
not
です
god.
神でござい
Oh,
ま
it
す
is.
ぞ
You do not know.
ご存
Oh, but
知
wait.
貴様は
You do not believe in anything, do
何
you?
も
I
信じて
truly,
おられる
sincerely
のじゃない
apologize. Okay, this really
こちら
was.
から
Should I step
出まし
outside?
そ
No
れ
need
に
for
も
that. You
及びま
cannot
せ
leave
ん
that
ぞ
place without that filthy costume on to
そ
all
の
these
うちで
children.
敷居は
The edge of a territory is a
Keep
boundary,
closer.
and talks between men and gods can be had through them.
そういうも
I
のです
see.
か
Okay then.
あなたは
What are you?
それはもう
I have already
答え
answered
て
that,
く
have
れ
I
る
not?
神
A god.
力
A
なき神
powerless god. That's not enough.
それだけじ
The
ゃ
legends don't say anything
待
about.
て
Wait,
よ無事な
badger. For the first time, she simply nodded instead of saying it. It made me uneasy.
不快な呼び
Do you
名
hate that name?
別に
Not at all. It is not wrong in the least. It is a fitting name for someone wearing the marks
信
of
頼
Great
名
Lord
字の
Shinai
印をつけて
and acting as a leader of these muds.
かつては
You used to be a different god,
別
right?
の神だったのですね
衝突を
This might
恐
not
れず
sit
に
well
言
with
う
some
と
of you, but legends
伝
and
説
myths
や
can
神話は
change.
よそから
Not
の
just
拝
through
借だ
borrowing
けじゃな
aspects
く
from other legends
政
and
治
myths,
的
but
な
also
要
through
因も
political
強く
events.
古代
There was a
神
time
話
when
と
myths
政
and
治は
government
強
were
固に
closely
結び
tied,
つい
so
てい
myths
た
had
か
to
ら
change
こそ
whenever the politics
集
did.
落の合体に
The
よって
settlements
そ
merged
れぞ
their
れが
gods
報
and
じてい
married,
た
while
神
gods
様が
and
結婚
places
したり
annexed through war
戦
would
争で
become the
併合
conquerors'
された
pets,
側の
servants,
神
or
ある
demons.
いはかつて別
Maybe they'd
々だっ
merged
た神
separate
様を
gods
同
into
じ
one.
存在だっ
People
てこ
shaped
と
them
にしたり
according to
ね
the power balances of
強
their
力
day.
な神や悪魔
That's
ほ
why
ど
powerful
異
gods
象
and
や
devils
変化
have many
化
other
身がた
names,
くさんあるの
forms,
は
and
そのため
incarnations.
忘
These are
れられ
remnants
た
of
信
long
仰が
forgotten faiths.
今日残って
The
いる
legends
の
of
は
faiths that have
そう
lived
い
to
った
this day
事情で
survive
ね
through
じ曲がっ
countless
て
such
伝えられて
changes.
きた伝
Of course,
承
they would
や
have
神話
contradictions.
だから多少の矛盾があるのは当然よ
A mountain god besides Great Lord Shinai. With the creation of the Shinai faith, she was woven into it as a servant and left mostly forgotten. That was the entity possessing her.
まあ
Well, this is what I am, but I did not come here to speak of myself. Personally, I had a whole ton of questions, but since I didn't want to make her upset, I let her take the field, take the
何を聞
lead.
きたいと
What do you want to know?
何故
Why
あ
the
れほど
rampage?
なん
それ
You
は
don't know?
貴様
I
が
understand that you're
こ
upset
の
with this
娘と
girl,
女に
but I
不
cannot
満を
read
持
any
た
other
れた
color you
ことは
display.
殺すの
If
が
you
嫌
did
な
not want
ら
to kill, you could have stopped
一
after the
撃で
first
やめれ
hack,
ばよ
and
ろ
if
しかろう
they
し
did not deem it
怠
sufficient,
慢
you
を
could have
咎め
handed
る
them
な
the tool.
危機とし
Yet
て
you joyously cut the
大
large man up
男
into
を切り
pieces.
刻みまし
二人には
I
ね
need those two to stay normal.
ふむ
まともじ
I
ゃない
can't be
人間の
normal
中
unless
で
I'm
は
surrounded by normal people.
人間として
As a
の
person,
芯
I
がない
lack
人
any
間
kind
の
of
も
real
のでね
foundation, so I lose myself
ま
without
とも
some
さの
source
定
of
義を入れ
normalcy
替え
to
られる
ground
と
myself
自
with.
分で立ち位置
I
を
don't
変える
actually
のは
mind
構わない
losing myself and having to create a
他
new
人
me,
に
but
強制
having
され
one
ると
forced on me
腹
pisses me off.
ふむ
No real foundation, you
真
say.
おか
How
しなこ
curious.
とを申
Is
さ
that
れ
not
る
itself your foundation? That is, a man who is frustrated when outdone by others?
そうかも
Perhaps you're right.
なれ
Then
ば
why are
な
you
ぜ
afraid of me?
怒りが
Those
全て
seized
で
by
ある
anger
も
hold
のは
neither fear nor reverence, do
恐
they
れ
not?
うや
僕は
I'm scared of things I
わ
don't
からない
understand.
それは
That
ど
does
う
not
も
seem the truth to me.
ふむ
I
な
see
あ
how it is.
貴
You
様
cannot
は
differentiate between fear and
恐
excitement,
怖
can
そ
you?
して
And you do not like it
他
when others
人に
control
より
that,
そ
am I
れを消
correct?
されるのがこれ
We are even now.
お相
She
手
took
じゃ
my
なく
displeased expression as silence as a yes, and silence as a yes and
あな
laughed.
たは
You can read
宴
minds?
会芸じゃ
It's a little more than a it is little more than a parlor trick
そ
to
れ
me.
で
You also read my
僕の
memories,
記憶
so
を
you
読み
know
まし
about
た
my
ね
looping.
おう
My oh
おう
my, you realized it already.
おう
I expected to
おう
keep it a secret a bit
つ
longer.
まり
In other words,
あなたや
neither
はる
you
ちゃん
nor
が
Haru-chan
死に戻
experience
っ
what
て
I
いる
do.
まあ
Well, that is a good way to look at it.
そういうご
Unfortunately,
理解でよろし
even
く
I am
よ
but a jester dancing atop another god's
くや
palm.
その
Can you tell me about this
黒幕だという
god, the
神
one
について
behind it all?
それ
I
はで
cannot.
なぜ
Why?
それは
Because I am
これ
too
は
weak.
教え
If
て
you
いた
tell
だ
me,
ければ
I'll turn it all
全てを
around.
をひっくり返してみせま
I'll
すよ
even help you regain your former
あな
glory.
た
出過
Know
ぎで
your
やられる
limits,
ぞ
city dweller.
町の
I gasped at her sudden intensity.
勘違い
Allow me to correct you. A
力の
powerless god is one that is of no use to mankind,
人の役
not one
に
incapable of calamities beyond their knowing.
そし
I am
て
powerless now, and I behave like
無
such
力
a
が
normal
ゆえ
maiden.
にこうし
But
て
I used to be more feared than any.
我
You believe you can bring that glory back? Do you believe you would honor me by burning several nearby villages and hanging all the people?
こうして話す
Speaking
の
on this dreary night is only
この
meant
つ
to
ま
ease
ら
my
ない夜の無
infuriate.
料を
There is
許
nothing
さ
to
ない
be gained from it. So this was just
そ
a
れ以上
diversion
の
for
も
her.
の
I couldn't
得
consider
られ
it
はしませぬ
significant.
ぞ
Was that what she was telling me?
少々
This has grown dull.
夢
Keep
に
my
も
words in
信
mind.
じ
Maybe we meet again on the following evening.
あくるが
She turned around and I felt the peace rush away.
待ってください
Please wait.
なぜわざ
Why
わ
did you
ざ
come to me anyway? Oh, that is something I would gladly reveal.
まあ要する
Essentially,
に
this girl was concerned about you.
はるちゃんが
Haru-chan, she was.
あんなに激高
Fusaishi's
して
son was so mad what's gotten into him. As a servant of Great Lord Shinai and one who detests the mark of Yomi, she was considerate of you, her partner. Even if you do not understand this, do show care for her. She is powerless as well, so seeing her can be vexing at times.
あなたのことを
Does Haru-chan know about you?
どうだ
Maybe.
あなた
So
に
I
こと
can't
づて
expect you
は
to pass on a message to her.
我が
I am
父
too powerless even for that. I can try to show up in her dreams though.
じゃあ
Then I will tell her myself.
ふむ
Farewell. Ah, one more thing.
なんじゃ
What?
神様
You're a cute god. I
な
see, I
る
see.
ほどおっしゃ
You
る通
truly
り
are as warped as you claim to be.
ひねくれておいでじゃ
With those words as her last, she disappeared into the night mist. Okay.